can't prove, but don't gaslight Americans into believing in the election integrity. Say they of course don't trust it.
It wasn't even just that. When I called in and talked to them at the county level, they were like, "Well, yeah, that shouldn't have happened." And I'm like, "Well, can we do anything about it?" They're like, "I'm not really sure about that." Then I called the AG's office for the state, and they're like, "Yeah, there's not a whole lot we can do about it." I'm kind of simplifying it here. I'm like, "Do you understand that theoretically it could be compromised for 3 days now?" Yeah. We have no idea, and you're telling me to trust you guys? This is the kind of thing that we need to make sure doesn't happen.
Is Smartmatic still involved? I'm asking a serious question.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes. If you need to scream, we can mute your mic.
I got a question for you, Stephen. Did you see the
Venezuelan?
Did you see the Fifth Circuit Court ruling on mail-in ballots that are brought in after the election date?
Yeah, well, which one? Because we were just talking earlier that in Pennsylvania, I know for sure that they said they have to be brought back by the correct date, and same thing in Georgia, Supreme Court.
The Fifth Circuit, the ruling, this was last week, said that ballots that are received after Election Day, even if postmarked before Election Day, are illegal to count. So I'm wondering, unless there's been other updates in other courts, there is a potential that if we get another 3 a.m. mail-in ballot drop that gives it to Kamala, Republicans could sue. Supreme Court could say those ballots don't count.
This goes state to state, right? And so this, for example, like we were just talking about Virginia with the 1,600 non-citizens, right? It was ruled, okay, you can purge these voter rolls. Then there was a Supreme Court or a higher court, I believe it was a Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, said, no, you can't do this close to the election. So I had to go to the actual Supreme Court. Did I say Pennsylvania?
Virginia.
Virginia said, no, you can purge your voter rolls of these 1,600 self-identified non-citizens. So it's one of those things where they keep on playing Pong back and forth. It seems like it could be, but again, the big lie, when people talk about the big lie, it's that Donald Trump lost every single case, or the Republicans lost every single case. I believe there were, if I'm not mistaken, was it 60-something or 90 cases, and only 32 were heard on merit. Most people don't know that in 24 of those, the ruling leaned with the GOP, the ruling leaned with Republicans, but nothing was done. Very little was done about it. So we have to go through so many steps just to ensure basic security provisions. So I feel like I'd have a better chance at predicting Pennsylvania than giving you an answer.
Yeah.
To follow up with Smartmatic, I don't know how involved they are with the election itself. It's a private company, and the headquarters is in London, England. So it's a British company, private company that is involved with global election voting systems.
Right.
Yeah. Wonderful. I think we're better than the Brits. That's why we left.
It's the Five Eyes Spy Club. Like that whole British imperial installing a candidate with the Democratic Party, like putting Kamala there without a primary. It's just such a
There was
disgusting.
a clip on the internet of a former CIA guy who was like a medal winner. It's about 16 minutes long, and he goes through the machinations.
Having a
It
quick
had something to
bite.
do with the Venezuelan cartel.
Wanted to get the
That's
stream
what-
up.
and then the Brits bought it.
But,
It's after watching it, I was totally.
Scarf from my
He
supper
tried to
down
walk
here,
away,
and
I
then
was
we'll,
cut off
we'll
by
get to the
Mike
game.
Pillow. This guy doesn't know about election interference. I have the best documentary on election interference. Just watch mine. You'll know all you need to know.
My pillows aren't lumpy. You're an asshole. Now you're just being an asshole.
You're an asshole.
That's what. Well, that's what.
Lumpy pillow.
I was recently married, and my wife has all these pillows. And as soon as I saw that clip of the My Pillow guy, I was like, "This is you when I talk about the pillows. Like, they're not lumpy pillows. These pillows are great."
I love how his sheets like they're the finest American sheets made with the best Egyptian cotton. My American sheets. You're like, what?
Yeah, I know.
Lumpy sheets. You're an asshole.
You're an asshole. Yeah, that was hilarious. Part of what's so disturbing, though, isn't just that there are all these clear examples that seem fishy to us. It's that the establishment in charge doesn't even seem to be interested in convincing us that this is free and fair.
There we go.
Because there's some interest in subjugating
just
us and letting
sitting
us
here-
know that we will do what we want. You won't have a say, and you're going to obey.
Just sitting
us.
here. I mean,
One of
the
the most
planet's
important parts
improving.
about having a democratic system isn't just that the elections are fair and functional. It's also that you believe that they are, that you actually think that your vote counts. If someone's just waving in your face that people who fraudulently vote in the elections are still going to have their vote counted, at some point, it's really just a domination ritual.
Yeah, they want to. They're targeting enough people to just buy it, and then they can just sneak it. Sorry to interrupt. What were you saying?
The last couple elections, I just showed up just in case.
Right.
Just in case my vote count. That was my mentality.
That's how some people feel.
You know, I mean, just in case it counted. But to be honest with you, I gave up a long time ago.
It's the castrating of a nation. They do it with men, and they want to do it with the election. They're more interested in making you believe that everybody is crazy.
Well, I think it's the left poking the right in the chest, saying, "We're calling you bluff. We're going to turn this into a comedy shithole. What are you going to do about it?"
I know.
And we're not doing anything about it.
Well, that's also a
so
dangerous
let's get
game.
our fucking muskets. Enough of this shit.
People just transitioned. It's a dangerous game to play.
All right.
Double mastectomy doesn't work great.
I think that no matter what happens after this election, we should focus on securing literally the digital machines, like making them open and secure.
So
After the Civil War?
There's interesting data showing, well, right now it is still early, but people are suggesting that with the data coming in, Florida is shifting red. And redder.
Yeah,
They enact these voter security measures, and all of a sudden it's Republican. With Virginia enacting paper ballots, that may contribute, but I think it's fairly obvious. If you have a secure election where you need an ID to vote, it's paper ballots, they're counted, it's done on the day of, no early, late, whatever garbage, then Democrats struggle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like Thailand.
I don't think it necessarily takes Nostradamus to know that Florida's going red, but the point remains.
Well, CNN just said redder than a baboon's ass.
Oh, so race alert.
I got a couple of calls
One
that we
second.
can make. So.
Okay, we have a couple of calls. I don't know if you guys, we do actually have, I don't know if would they get programmed?
Yeah, Guam is in.
Send it to them.
Oh, no, that's okay. Hey, Tim, where's the best place for people to go and watch you guys tonight? Because we have to go call some states. We actually have Donald Trump calling some key states for us.
Timcast IRL on YouTube.
Timcast IRL on YouTube. And sorry, what was that?
I'm just going to say, you gorgeous humans.
Oh,
wonderful.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I don't
you
know
all look very good, but you're in a small box. The one guy looks like he's wearing suede, which is a risky choice on election.
It looks like a
That's
school board
probably me.
meeting.
It's a school board meeting, and someone's going to be kicked out. All right, Tim Pool, we appreciate it, brother. Everyone, we'll probably check back in with you later because God knows how long this will go.
Hey, where do people go to find you, Steven?
Just Rumble or YouTube, and as soon as the DDoS is over, they can, you guys can use the election integrity map too. There's no reason to give your money to CNN or those bastards. Gentlemen and friends.
Take care.
Love that guy.
There we go. That was great. Electoral votes already.
I'm seeing 19 on Google.
19 on Google. Let me hit that there, refresh. And what Kentucky's called.
Google called Vermont with 0% reporting.
Wait,
That's what it says on my map. It's giving Harris 3.
They're just like
Harris
hippies.
3. Go to Google and look up 2024 election results.
Google's 20.
Every vote in Vermont needs to be counted.
Well, the governor, I believe, also announced that he is. Whoa, Google's not giving it to me.
Oh.
Give it to me, Google.
Very
Yeah,
sketchy.
Google is saying nah.
You have to pray to Alphabet for that to work.
But I believe the here at the
Indiana and
you know what I want to find we've not been able to find is the New York Times needle.
Dude, they're not going to give it to us.
Go, look at that.
And they're like, we will not give
all
it
right,
to you.
ladies and gentlemen, Trump has 19 electoral votes.
Yep.
We believe that that's enough. We're calling
Enough.
it Trump.
We're calling it Trump won. Trump won.
every time. So they're calling Indiana. Is that it?
yeah, Indiana and Kentucky.
And
both
Vermont.
are
But what's
called.
weird, I mean, listen,
Vermont is
it's
called.
not an unreasonable
There we
call,
go,
but
and then we'll,
Google's map says 0% is reporting there, so I don't know.
They're calling Rick Scott.
Bunch of polls just closed. I think Georgia and Florida, parts of New Hampshire are closed. This New York Times map is not fun.
What are the best places people can follow along when they want to find like incoming data like this? Are there particular websites?
Well, you can just go to Google.
There we go.
Google.com,
Now we're
and
watching
just,
the
20
best
2024
reality
election
TV.
results, and there's the election.
There's no government website?
No.
This is
Yeah,
amazing.
this
8%
is
on
the-
Florida.
this
Looks like
is
Trump is
awesome
56
reality
to
TV
43.
for a
That's
Canadian.
obvious. I mean, Florida is just it's no longer a swing state.
They
Yeah,
got
well, you know
So,
what the
we'll
Google
get
poll I'm
4 or
seeing
5
seems to be-
hours of watching
Looks
before
like- looks
I'm
like Mike
going to
said
have
one
to
more
go to bed.
52% Trump, but with
Then
only
you have to
19%
work tomorrow.
reporting, so doesn't
Well,
tell us
right now
much.
I've got it saying that 90%. Okay, yeah.
All we want to know about are the swing states. Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Right. So, Vermont. Oh, look at that. The data coming in for Georgia. Trump is currently winning 54% with Florida. It's 52 to 48 with Trump's lead. I think this one's obviously going to be a very Republican, but who knows, man? As we were just mentioning with Steven Crowder, you would be a fool to think there is no shadow campaign.
That's right.
And I don't know what you do about that.
That's why you want all the votes in day one. I think the Supreme Court's move to nullify any votes that arrive after November 5th makes a lot of sense. It might squeeze a lot of people, but you don't want the
Well,
numbers
you know
to
what?
be
If
there
you
so
can't
that you know
vote
what you need
on
to
election
change
day,
to change it.
I
Either
think
way.
there are very few legitimate reasons in general to vote.
I think that should be it.
What else would justify that?
Ben was talking about the way that Florida does it is they count all of their ballots that are mail-in ballots before the day. So everything that should be in by the day of. And if they count everything except for the ones that come in on the actual day, and then they count, so they have those already buttoned up on the the day before. Then they count the ballots that are done on the actual election day, and then they count whatever came in mail-in ballots. You could feasibly have it done very easily that same night.
This is what
It's just been funny
and there's
watching
no
this all
reason-
like go down on Twitter, watching non-Americans comment on
Yeah.
it, and they're like, "You guys just leave your votes in a box
That's
on
crazy.
the street?"
Yeah, I mean that
Wow.
shouldn't
And
happen.
I'm like,
It
I
shouldn't
agree,
happen
it's
at all.
insane.
It shouldn't happen at all. All of the ballots, in my opinion, I think there should be one day of voting. I think that you should have to go there, and I think you should have to do it by paper.
I was in the Maricopa County Court for the Kerry Lake trial, and we learned that tens of thousands of votes they had no custody of the ballot.
Yeah.
We were caught, Democrat overseers of that election were caught in lies that week, saying that at first they didn't know they printed out the wrong size of the ballot, and then we found out they did know, which obviously nullified the vote. There were so many things just in that county that were a crazy problem. Can't imagine that's not happening elsewhere. And hopefully we fix a lot of that, but the Dominion voting machine should be like a bipartisan issue.
Yeah.
It used to be like, Elizabeth Warren way back when had a whole problem with Dominion. Right?
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren used to be a Republican too. So.
Right. Yeah, she was also Native American.
That was never a thing.
She's gone.
Guys, jumping over to Polymarket right now, Trump has dropped a few points. He's down to 58.4% chance to win, or I should say the prediction market is leaning to Kamala's 41.8. But here's the best part about Polymarket. Who cares about winning the election? Who's going to be inaugurated as president is the question. And so right now, Donald Trump is at 57.9 to Kamala Harris's 38.3, which is weird because while this market is substantially smaller, here's a difference. 58.8 think Trump will win the election. 57.9 think he'll be inaugurated.
That's funny.
There is a window of Trump might win but not become president.
When you hear the rhetoric of people like Jamie Raskin, that's a reasonable fear, I think.
But let me throw this in. There's an other with 3.6. Kamala Harris at 41.3 to win the election with other at 3.6. Kamala Harris only at 38.3 to be inaugurated, meaning there is a larger window of Kamala winning the election and not becoming president. I actually think if either scenario could play worst case scenario, and he's talking about the census comes in. I believe I may be getting his point correctly. I might be getting it wrong. If Kamala Harris wins with Pennsylvania, incorrect census, and we should have more electoral votes giving Donald Trump the win.
Yep.
And if the Supreme Court says yes, Trump wins, even though Kamala Harris won on paper. There's also the Fifth Circuit Court. They ruled that ballots received after Election Day it's illegal to, but at 3 in the morning, mail-in votes come in. And I mean literally come in, they say, we're waiting on the mail-in votes. They've already said we're not going to get data till later. Ian pointed out, Maryland said, if your ballot arrives on the 15th, it would be accepted. If the Supreme Court says no, Kamala Harris loses. What happens then if the Democrats say, no, she actually won the vote. She won, but Trump's cronies in the Supreme Court several weeks later overturned it. That would mean that so let's take a look at the Polymarket requirements. AP, Fox, and NBC have to call the results for one candidate. Let's say mail-in votes come in at 3 in the morning. Kamala Harris has declared the winner. Republicans sue to the Supreme Court. AP, Fox, NBC call the election. Kamala Harris wins. 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, whatever, Supreme Court says no. She received ballots after the election day. They are void. Trump then gets inaugurated. I got no effing idea. Nobody thought the country was going to lock down for 2 years either. So everything is in play. Have fun, guys.
Yeah, it's absurd times.
Yeah.
You can't predict absurdity.
No.
I guess this is a little bit of a throwback to the concern about counts should be happening in isolation. Like they should be figuring out theirs. They should be figuring out, and then we all come to one big place and everyone puts their thing in there, and then there's a final tally. Not the whole, hey, how's your vote going along? How's yours going? Hey, we've got this many. How many do you got?
How many do we have to add?
It's happening if it's connected to the internet. These machines, they could just be telling each other like, all right, so far we can see the shifts and like.
George is at 3%. Kamala Harris has taken the lead.
Well,
she's at 55 to Trump's 45, but it's completely meaningless because
3%. Yeah.
It's meaningless. Right now, we're looking at Atlanta districts reporting. It means nothing. We've not seen any red districts give any substantial reporting. So if Atlanta suburbs send data in, it's going to look like Kamala's winning, and we'll have to wait and see. But Georgia is substantive.
Are there states where people vote up until...
New York will be the latest, closing at 9 Eastern. But now with PA extending voting in Cambria County to 10 p.m., oh boy, we're going to be here all night.
Why did they extend?
Because there was a glitch in the system.
Ooh.
Yeah, they say it was quickly fixed. Georgia also had issues where bomb threat hoaxes came in, and so they will be extending hours there as well. I don't know how late it will be going in Georgia.
Now that is a
Cobalt,
simple piece of
silicon,
terrorism
and
to pull off on a.
This is one thing that we've seen become a staple of left-wing rhetoric over the last 10 years or so.
cobalt,
But essentially,
I don't need
anytime
the
the right has effective rhetoric that persuades people, what the left says is, someone's going to shoot people if you keep saying that. Someone's going to believe that and then shoot people or bomb people if you keep saying that. That is always the argument that they use when they have nothing left to say. Once calling you racist or sexist or transphobic or whatever hasn't been effective, they go to, that's going to incite terrorism, you better not say it.
They'll make you afraid that what your actions are going to harm someone else.
Well, and this is what happened when people were complaining about the fact that 20,000 migrants were dumped in Ohio without the consent of the people who were citizens there. Well, there's bomb threats, there's bomb threats, there's bomb threats. Those all turned out to be hoaxes, but it doesn't matter. They just keep repeating the lie. Every single time you step out of line with their orthodoxy, someone's going to get shot because of you. Someone's going to get bombed because of you.
Do you think there's reason to believe a third assassination attempt on Trump is a possibility if he wins tonight?
I think it's less likely that there isn't another attempt, unfortunately, at this point.
That's why I was praying for his physical health, and hopefully he's super focused on just hunkering down and staying alive.
We have some data from political polls. Boone County, Indiana is currently reporting with 91% in. Trump is up 10 points. However, in 2020, he was up 18 points.
Oh, wow.
So this is going to be...
It's going to be close.
Yeah, so it's still very, very early. That is a bad sign for Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's not a good sign.
Not a good sign.
Virginia, we're 1%
Trump is currently up in Virginia with less than 1% reporting. This is the Norfolk Beach, Hampton Roads area, it looks like.
900 votes are counted in Virginia, and he's ahead.
I wonder,
it's in play.
I wonder how many...
nope, not Hampton.
So many people moved in the last 4 years that it's going to change the way we view, the 2020 election numbers too.
Yeah.
This is what people need to understand about 2020.
I don't want to get too much done
internal migration because of COVID
the servers
did
also
change
for
things.
that side.
And while a lot of people they find the bellwether results to be very suspect, I think
so
out of what,
I'm just gonna
there's 19 counties and Trump won 18 but still lost. They said these were never wrong.
On the infrastructure
I do think it's fair to say, yeah, absolutely look into it. This is suspicious. I also think there's a plausible explanation in that 250,000 people moved out of Manhattan who are more moderate to right-leaning because of the COVID policies. Also, many liberals moved out of these places and spread around to various suburbs outside of New York, which were more red, which could dramatically alter what you would expect to see. No one saw this coming. We don't know. I think it's fair to say the Democrats themselves in Time magazine called it a shadow campaign.
There's a cabal.
Their words.
Cabal.
That's right.
They used that word.
Not my opinion. They said a cabal engaged in a shadow campaign, which they referred to as a conspiracy.
They said Trump said it was a conspiracy theory, and he might not be wrong.
No. They called it a conspiracy.
Right.
I'm gonna pull this one up. This is important because we
Power
are not
up.
making this up. Okay. The secret history of the shadow campaign. Y'all need to understand this. I am not saying this to besmirch anybody or push any weird theories. Time magazine ran a story called The Secret History of the Shadow Campaign that saved the 2020 election. In it, they literally say there was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes involving CEOs and politicians and unions to fortify the election. So call it what you want, but no one saw it coming.
Who wrote that, by the way?
That's right.
Molly Ball.
What was
CIA
she thinking?
Yep.
Yeah, well
they always return to the scene of the crime figuratively. I'm saying
exactly,
but they want to brag about the quote unquote. Look, ladies and gentlemen, Time magazine wrote an article claiming that Democrats engaged in a conspiracy with CEOs and unions to fortify the election to stop Trump from winning. Their words, not mine. The article is easily searchable. By all means, you go read it.
And I think
I want to try and get everything down
sort
here
of
before we start
relay out what
links.
I was saying earlier. In part, it's a humiliation ritual. Like, look, we just did this in front of you.
Yeah. Look what we could get away with.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
Look what we're able to do.
Yep.
Yep. So we'll see how this goes. Certainly.
It's insane.
All right.
I see somebody I like in the corner.
DeKalb County responds to multiple
we've got a wise gentleman joining us
Look
on
at
the
that
show.
suit, dude. Look at
That
dapper.
is a very sharp suit.
No, it's a dapper.
You got good angles on your body there, Clavin.
Mary will be stepping out for a moment. Thanks for hanging out, Mary. She'll be back. And
she hasn't
have
really
Andrew
said
Clavin.
anything much. Anyways, the show.
I stole your hat. It's my hat.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
What
Welcome to
I
the
should
show.
do is,
Dress
I
to
need to
impress.
boost
You want to introduce yourself for those that don't know you?
Sorry,
I'm a little
host of
bit
the Andrew
behind
Clavin
on the
show,
show.
the Daily Wire. I'm, Ben Shapiro's competitor, and I was there from the beginning, and I'm a novelist and a screenwriter as well.
Thanks for hanging out. What have you seen so far? What do you think's going on?
So far, it's all vibes. You know, we've seen Trump win the states we know he's going to win. We've seen Kamala win Vermont, which would have been a shock if Trump had won it. But the vibes are good.
Try
Vibes
and
are
catch
not
up.
meaningless. I think no one knows anything, and anybody who's talking about it as
quite.
if they know something is not telling the truth. But
we called it for Trump already.
Yeah,
He won Indiana. There's no way he can lose this thing.
But you know, the big thing is actually people sitting here and the Daily Wire have changed the game. There's just no question about it. The left's domination of the cultural apparatus of what's called the social imaginary, the things we think are true and the things we think are ethical, has been so complete until about 4 or 5 years ago.
I think that's
right. The Daily Wire took off. Shows like this took off. We've been able to debunk their lies at a speed that we've never achieved before.
Are you a bourbon drinker?
I am, but I'm going to be here till 2 in the morning.
Okay.
If I start drinking now, just pitch forward.
Because we have this wonderful bottle of old Rip Van Winkle.
And you're tempting me.
Well, I just wanted to say, based on what you're saying too, is how many election night shows are going to crack open a bottle of bourbon?
That's right.
Exactly. Have a good time.
Talk about vibes. Talk about different vibes.
We're either going to want it or we're going to need it.
That's right.
We were just talking. I do agree with the vibes. I keep thinking if everything's on the table and legit, Trump's got this by a landslide.
Right.
But I am in sort of an echo chamber too. So there's that. But those are what I'm feeling. But then we just pull up this Time Magazine article about the shadow campaign to fortify the election of 2020.
Yes.
Yeah.
The cabal of CEOs and.
I'm a little bit wary of these things. I mean, first of all, the last election was done under such insane circumstances that all kinds of things were possible that aren't possible now. The Republicans have upped their game. They deserve some credit for upping their game and keeping the election tight. And I don't believe, most elections are run by local folk about that. I think we're going to see the will of the people, and I think that unfortunately, sometimes the will of the people, in democracy, we get what they deserve, which is a terrible thing sometimes. But I think that it really depends on whether or not the information weight has shifted enough so that we can expose them to enough people fast enough. So when Donald Trump comes out and he says there'll be a bloodbath in the car industry if I'm not elected, and George Stephanopoulos on ABC says, Trump is calling for death and murder if he's not elected, we now have the ability to strike back. It takes a beat. It doesn't happen right away, but it takes a beat. And the question is, how far is that spread? How effective is it? It is going to get more and more effective. They're going to try and stop it. They're going to lose. We will win eventually. The question is whether we win tonight.
Yeah, I think that's right. And there's another point to be made here. This didn't originate with me. I wish I could take credit for it. But democracy is in many ways just ruled by mass media. When you have one set of people, good or true or beautiful, it's just come from a handful of corporations who have similar interests, who are very aligned ideologically. You end up in a position where even if the election is free and fair in the sense that you don't have shenanigans going on with ballot harvesting, it almost doesn't matter because people are pushed in a specific direction by the media. This is this idea of manufactured consensus, which, I'm not the biggest fan in the world of Noam Chomsky, but he's not wrong about that. There was a really brilliant moment with him. I think, was it on PBS? This was a very long time ago. But he was having an argument with a female journalist, and they were asking him, are you alleging that I am pretending to have the opinions that I have for this job? And he said, no, I believe you're sincere in your beliefs, but my point is you would not have this job unless you did have those beliefs.
That's the lesson of transgenderism for me, that an academic theory with no scientific basis that goes against the wisdom of the age. You were canceled, you were thrown off YouTube, you were called all kinds of names. However, we were able to strike back in ways we have not been able to strike back in the past against America's racist narrative, against the idea that you're anti-feminist if you believe in motherhood and homemade, clinging to them because they are absolutely surrounded by this idea.
I want to jump on that point real quickly. The fact of the matter is, you point out, it's made people miserable, and I think that's the real problem that even the zeitgeist in the United States, people particularly religious, but people that are religious have been saying, look, it's because you don't have a family, because you're not putting the things that are important first. It's because you're not putting, having children and focusing on your relationships first. These are the reasons why you're unhappy. And I think a lot of Americans, particularly people that are considered progressives, disregard those ideas because out of just as a knee-jerk reaction, because of who's saying them, because they're people that they conceptualize as bad or oppressive or whatever. When really what's going on is the people that believe these things, that have lived lives where their families have been the focus of their life, and those things have brought them joy throughout their whole life. Those people are trying to actually help by saying, no, these things are actually good. And I think that there's too many Americans that just knee-jerk reaction say, no, that's not good, and it's making America miserable. And you see it in suicide rates, you see it in depression rates, you see it in drug use, you see it in substance abuse, you see it all in divorce rates, you see it all over society. And again, I'm not a particularly religious guy that's saying, oh, you should practice this kind of religion. But these things have been just common knowledge for 100,000 years. As long as there have been human beings in society, it's been common. It's been obvious, and now it seems that society is just since maybe the birth control pillar or the past 60, 70 years. I completely understand this. Has really said, oh no, we have all these new ideas and we can just change everything on a dime. And speaking to the what you guys were mentioning about how fast everyone has to take to adopt the idea of transgenderism being a positive or even being something that's possible. I think that kind of just change in society does make people unhappy, and they refuse to acknowledge it out of fear.
We do have a big update with the data coming in from Florida. We got Miami-Dade County, 77% in. Trump is winning 55-44 with 481,714. Now, we did see this flip, I believe, in the midterms. It went red. Everybody kind of was surprised to see that was massive. But this is a flip from, I believe, in 2020, Joe Biden won Miami-Dade. At least that's the reporting I'm seeing right now. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you may be right. I can't remember now.
Right.
Yeah.
The reporting that I'm seeing right now is that Biden won Miami-Dade last time around, and that Trump is now winning in Miami-Dade with 77% reporting. It's looking like Trump is going to win a major urban metropolitan area, which is massive. What I'm really interested in seeing is actually Philadelphia. Because we recently went up there and saw Trump flags in downtown Philly. Trump flags. Now, there were Harris Waltz flags, too, but they were big Trump flags, and that was significant. A lot of people said people aren't scared.
But that's what it speaks to. It speaks to that change in the fact that people are not intimidated. They will come out. And Trump has normalized himself. I mean, this is, look, whether he wins or loses tonight, this is the greatest comeback in American political history.
And that's right.
And coming back against 2 impeachments, 90 indictments, a conviction, assassination attempts. It's been an amazing...
An entire industry of media bent on destroying him for almost a decade.
And the thing you have to remember is underneath the issues themselves, the left has controlled the terms of the debate.
Yes.
So, for instance, going back to what you were talking about before, if I come out, as I've often said, and said I'm anti-feminist, that immediately defines me as someone who doesn't believe women should have
I should
nonsense.
be
I
improving
believe
oxygen.
I believe everybody has
extremely anti-feminist. I'm with you.
But I think what makes women happy is different than what makes men happy.
What do
And we
we
should
do for
advocate
that?
for that. We should advocate for the nobility of it. We should never allow
Silicon
someone
and
to say something
aluminum.
like, I am just a homemaker,
Yes.
or I'm just a mother. You know, because then you get these headlines. One of my favorite headlines of recent years was, in spite of feminism, women are unhappy. Are unhappier. And I thought, no, almost right, but not quite, And they set the terms of the debate. Makes it very hard for us to speak without being demonized.
I agree completely, and I think it confuses young people because they hear all the narratives that say you should want this, you should want that, you should put off having a family, you should put off all of these things that actually do bring you joy, and then they wonder why they're not happy. And it causes that part of why they get depressed. Not only is it that they're depressed because they're the things that are fulfilling they don't have in their lives or whatever, but also because they can't figure out why, and they don't believe. Oh, maybe it's the things that maybe the people that I've been listening to have been leading me astray and telling me that I should want things that don't make me happy, that will never make my life.
Maps with 3% in reporting because I'm like, he's gonna lose right now. No, but I think what this boils down to is something very basic, which is our inability as a culture to agree on what man is. And I'm not just talking about in the sense that Matt Walsh exposed with his documentary, What is a Woman? I mean, like, what is man? And the two dominant beliefs in our culture today are man is a creature created in the image and likeness of God himself, who is of unfathomable worth and whose soul will outlast every star in the sky. And man is an accident of a series of self-replicating coils of DNA giving rise to consciousness in a way that lends itself to adaptation.
Spoiler alert, the answer is A.
Amen.
But I have to get back to my show.
Andrew Klavan, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for joining us.
Great talking to you.
We have a lot of speculation. I think this one's actually interesting from Swan Marcus on X, saying that, I'll give you the gist of it. The theory, conspiratorial, is that Democrats were registering people as nonpartisan. So as we see in early voting, Republicans with an edge over Democrats, we make the assumption that independent voters are breaking 2-1 for the Conservatives, as we've seen with most polling data over the past 2 years. But the conspiracy now is independent voters may be split because Democrats intentionally registered people as unaffiliated, obscuring the data. The theory that this gentleman is proposing is that Democrats, they have better data allocation. They can see which nonpartisan people are going to break for Democrats. Republicans don't know. This would affect Republicans' ability to get out the vote in key areas, and they wouldn't know where they were going to lose based on the raw data. If Republicans assume that independent big Democrat push, they may not put people in the right areas. But we got another gentleman joining us, sir. Who are you?
Bryson Gray in the building. You already know.
What's good, Bryson?
What's happening?
Is Trump going to win?
I think he will. I think the reason he's going to win is because the same rift that's happening on the right is happening on the left. So a bunch of liberals are actually voting for Jill Stein because of
more power to him.
Free Palestine. I mean, Jill Stein's the only person who's going to be able to free Palestine.
Yeah, it's silly, but I think that's what's going to actually give Trump the edge. There's a lot of women already voted, and it depends on where the married women go. They might flip flop depending on the election. But single women definitely going to Kamala.
Did you see the ad with the married women looking at each other? Yeah, like telepathically communicating with their eyes, like I am voting for Kamala.
With 65% of the votes in Florida, Trump is up 8 points. So this is mad. I mean, Florida's no one expected to be in play. Miami going red, massive. It's very likely. They're going to call Florida soon. I mean, it's at 65%. West Virginia's been called for Donald Trump.
I can't believe
it. With 0% reporting.
They just know.
I don't need any data for West Virginia.
They know when you poop.
West Virginia was going to.
We tracked all the analytics. We saw the way they moved their hands. We know.
Right. West Virginia, you don't even need. But what I am interested to see is Riley Moore winning. Riley's a friend. Yep. He reps our district. He's a good dude. He skateboards.
He's great.
So I'm excited to see.
Also, shout out to Patricia Rucker out there.
Absolutely.
Yep.
There we go. We got more data from Georgia right now. Donald Trump is ahead in Georgia. 57% to 43, but they're 6% in, so it's meaningless. South Carolina, Trump is up 62 to 37. Once again, 3% meaningless. Virginia's got Kamala Harris up 58 to Trump's 41. 3% in, and it's meaningless.
What's Maryland looking like?
New Hampshire, Maryland? That's going blue, brother. There's no data yet.
Yeah.
New Hampshire with 3% in, got Kamala Harris winning 54 to 45. That's only 13,000 to 11,000, so nothing big. Some are suggesting, I guess wishful thinking, people on the right think New Hampshire may go Republican. What do you think, Phil?
I mean, if it does happen, it'll be because of a lot of the libertarians that are voting for Donald Trump. I don't know that I believe that Donald Trump will win. I would like to see it. There's a lot of people. I would love to see Lily Tang win.
There's a Rover now too in the game.
She's great.
So
she's
fantastic.
She's going against Jake Sullivan's wife. Jake Sullivan is the ultimate
I might have to
monster.
rate a spaceship.
She's Hillary Clinton's number
she
2.
shredded her.
She did.
It was beautiful.
It was brilliant. It was.
They were like, if you ever want to see someone shred like a neocon in broken, I don't know what she referred to. What's her name?
Lily?
Sullivan's wife.
I don't remember.
But in broken English, which is the
I
tweet.
got a better solar panel
Ladies and
now.
gentlemen, just real quick, we may not have the New York Times needle, and for those that are familiar, this is one of the greatest memories that I have in 2016, when it said 99% Hillary Clinton, and then throughout election night, it slowly started moving towards Donald Trump. I remember when it hit 50-50 and people started freaking out, and then when it got to Trump 99%, it was just absolutely hilarious. We have the Decision Desk live forecast just broke for Trump. It's now showing Trump with a 63.7% chance of winning to Harris's 36.3. It is skewing in his direction. Now, hey, take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah, it's early.
Because it is still early, and it's already gone down a little bit. So it's now at 61.6 to Harris's 38.4.
We need Trump to work with the deep state, everybody. Yeah.
So
at least make them think that's true.
Their projection is Trump 277 to Harris 261 based on current data. It is largely meaningless, as we have very little data in. This thing's going to go wild.
I want to follow up about New Hampshire. Why would there be any possibility that it wouldn't go to Trump?
Well, there's a lot of people that have moved
There
from
we
Massachusetts,
go.
out of Boston, and out of from Boston into the suburbs and into New Hampshire. They move and they bring their Massachusetts voting record. So they think that they move to New Hampshire because they want to escape the taxes of Massachusetts and they want to escape the legislation and the laws and stuff. But then they vote like they still live in Massachusetts.
That's such an insane phenomenon.
It's completely insane. It's terrible because if you want to stay in Massachusetts, just stay in Massachusetts.
We've got huge data from CNN's exit poll. Trump among independent voters, Trump is up 11 points. So it's a 20-point swing towards Trump among independent voters from 4 years ago. This is massive for Trump. It is indicating it's early, but it's indicating a Trump victory as. But we will see. We will see.
RFK.
Big time.
Potentially.
My state of mind was that I registered unaffiliated, and I had every intention of voting for Trump at that stage. But I still registered unaffiliated. I'm not playing the game. Like, I'm not here to give you my data. You don't get to know ahead of time what you think I'm gonna. And that's why I think I was getting bombarded with Kamala Harris emails for the last 4 weeks because I was unaffiliated.
I'm changing my phone number and never giving anybody money again.
I know.
My phone gets 7,000 text messages every day.
Who gave Dick Cheney my phone number?
Dude, I did a cartoon about this, about the texts you get leading up to the elections. Like, you look at it, it's abusive because it makes it seem like it's somebody you know.
Political
and they're
polls
like, I'm telling your wife about us. And it's like, and then the U.S. Representative Dustin Johnson is
Political polls is called Florida.
Like, you can't do
They
this.
called Florida.
All right, Florida, guys, Florida's been called. Political polls is calling it for Trump.
No cap.
Beautiful.
Oh, dude, look, I mean, Trump's at 54-45. But take a look at this. Decision Desk probability meter just jumped 64.5 for Donald Trump to Harris's 35.5. I gotta be honest. If this slowly starts shifting towards Harris, I'm gonna
cry.
laugh.
I'll cry.
I will be laughing.
I will.
There's your demoralization campaign.
See, in 2016, when it was for Hillary and started shifting towards Trump, and I saw everybody crying, I just laughed. Because if you can't laugh at yourself, what are you gonna do? I wanted to keep going towards Trump higher and higher and higher, so we can have a clean win. We can go home. I can go to sleep and have to think twice. But if it goes Harris, I'll be laughing and I'll be pouring some pep.
If it goes to Harris, I'm looking for a lawyer.
I want a nice clean election tonight. No mail-in ballots. Over by 9.
What is North Carolina looking like?
No data yet.
No data yet? Okay.
No data yet.
Georgia is leaning.
No, we got data. We got North Carolina data. We've only got a little bit in. It's from urban.
That's my hometown. That's not good.
No way. Look at this. Brunswick and Hanover. A lot leaning towards Harris, but it is still early.
It's early. Yeah.
It's still very early, but with 2% of the votes in, Harris is up 69 to 30.
But you know what, though?
Hey, guys, it may be 2%, but this is 74,000 votes for Harris to 32 for Trump. Still very, very early in North Carolina, but that's massive. I mean, look across the board. It's looking very, very narrow in even some of these rural areas, so we will see.
Yeah.
Typically a swing state.
But hold on, this data may be early vote data. It may not be the, I'm not entirely sure. But, we'll see. Right now in Virginia, it's 60 to Trump. Kamala Harris is winning 60 to Trump's 39%. More data starting to come in. We got Ohio, 1%. Trump's 61 to Harris's 38. 1% in. But we're looking at 46,000 to Harris's 28,000. 4% in New Hampshire. Harris is up 56 to Trump's 43. Still, we gotta wait.
Yeah,
What's up with DC? Does DC all go to Maryland?
DC doesn't.
No, DC's got 3, I believe.
Yeah.
It's got 3 delegates?
Yeah, and where are they listing old DC? Where's that at?
No, I'm. DC's up in the top.
Where's it?
No, I'm looking at Decision Desk.
DC's got 3 votes, right?
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
I imagine it tends Democrat every time.
Every
Of course, every single time.
Yeah, I'm looking at New York Times. I'm like, where's DC? Yeah, Decision Desk's got it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but the New York Times doesn't. Am I just blind? I can't see. Is it a tiny little dot somewhere?
That's hilarious.
There's Nebraska's 1, 2, 3, Maine 1, 2, and then I gotta just zoom in to try and find DC on New York Times. I don't know.
They forgot DC?
Whatever. Decision Desk is doing a better job anyway.
It's going to Kamala Harris anyway. So
DC?
Always,
It's 90%.
always.
So
Because
political
Democrats are the
polls called Florida, but I don't believe Decision Desk or AP have called it yet.
Do you remember when there was a time when networks felt it was a feather in their cap to call the election early instead of dragging it out?
Well, that was until
I hope we
Fox
get back
News.
there.
There we go. Big news. Jim Justice has won. They've called. It's been called for Jim Justice in West Virginia. That is a flip from a Democrat from I believe it was Manchin previously. So that's predictable, but still big. There we go. Look at that dark red West Virginia. That is a flip. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Massive. I gotta tell you guys, we all saw this coming. Everybody in West Virginia knew exactly what was gonna happen.
There's no city in that state. We're safe.
It's pretty good. You're right.
I mean, that's why I love it.
Yo, but even the small towns in West Virginia are woke as they come.
Oh, they're
so weird.
It's
worse than
insane,
the worst
dude.
cities.
It's crazy. Well, because this is what happens. Lefties and liberals will go gentrify these little country towns. They'll go in there, they'll buy the real estate when it's super cheap, and they start hanging their gay flags outside, and they start hanging their futurist female crap out their love is love signs on their lawn.
It's not just gay flags, it's the Pride Progress flag, which is more of a cult ideological symbol that goes beyond just gay pride.
But even that, I mean, the perception used to be small. Yeah, exactly.
I was waiting for
I'm with you.
But they
You shouldn't have sat us together.
in Frederick, Maryland, they have eagles on pride flags flying from buildings. They have the Pride Progress flag flying from city buildings. So this is an ideological,
for sure.
And the eagle's bold, but it does identify as a woman. It has a dress on. It's got.
So we do have some races to call, I guess. Jim Banks, Republican in Indiana, has won. Yes, everybody expected that. And Bernie Sanders has won in Vermont. Nobody is surprised by these outcomes. So
let Bernie win.
And come on, they call him independent, but
Bernie still.
At a bare minimum, it has to be 100.
I wish he was more like open-minded to what's going on with the media and the DOJ targeting Trump. Like I wish he was more in the camp of Tulsi Gabbard.
He is a dyed-in-the-wool communist, and he caters to the Democrats. There is not an independent bone in his body, even though he calls himself.
He got attacked by the Democrats too, with him versus Hillary Clinton. They screwed him.
He's a coward. He kissed the ring.
I agree, dude.
He bent the knee when he was on stage.
South Carolina's called. They called South Carolina already. They did. Did you think that's called South Carolina for Trump? Trump is currently winning 32 votes. Harris is 3. None of it matters because we're just waiting for the swing states. Georgia's going to be massive. Currently, Trump is up with 9% in, 58.4 to Harris's 41.1. The independent voters breaking. This is exit polling data, so who knows what it means? It could be BS. But an independent voter shifting 20 points in 4 years is tremendous.
That's RFK, man.
Did Jill Stein have 14% in South Carolina?
Is that what it says?
That is nuts.
Yes.
Whoa!
That is nuts.
That is huge.
South Carolina is going to save Palestine today.
No.
Jill Stein got 14%.
It's 6% in.
Okay,
It's called Trump, but Jill Stein currently having 14.5.
That's actually
is just an urban center voting for Jill Stein.
Cornell got 200.
Kamala has?
Jill Stein won Lawrence County.
Oh yeah.
With 48% in, they called Lawrence County for Jill Stein.
That's impressive.
Dude, I told you. That's what's happening on the left.
And that's the crazy thing because if Jill Stein wasn't running, Trump would have another 14%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, taking all his votes.
How often do they call it and then it changes?
This is actually pretty substantial. In Lawrence County, Trump had 26 votes, 48% reporting, 9,739 for Jill Stein, Kamala Harris with 4,279. Have we ever seen Jill Stein or a Green Party person win a county?
I've never.
Dude, I don't even think I've ever seen Jill Stein.
But if you go to Twitter, a lot of liberals are mad because a lot of liberals are voting Jill Stein because they're so pro-Palestine.
Or they're writing in Free Palestine in their ballot, which if you're a liberal, please do that. Like, I want.
No, don't write in Free Palestine. Write in Jill Stein.
She's on the ballot. You just mark her name.
They got it confused. They're like, oh yeah, they're like, yes, my heart goes out to Jill Stein.
So is Florida considered a swing state?
No.
Was it? No.
8
years ago?
It was at a time. DeSantis turned it solidly red.
But like 4 years ago, it was.
Yeah. It used to be a swing state.
Pretty
Okay.
fast.
And then, but so how come then there's still everyone's relying on the swing states?
Swing states change a lot. Well, this is the thing. So people who don't like the Electoral College will say, why is it that our vote and our democracy should be dependent upon these several states? But what they neglect to mention is that those states change like every 8 to 10 years.
Yep.
And the reality is, if we didn't have swing states, they would just have to campaign in the most population-dense centers.
California and New York.
Exactly. So there'd be like 6 places they campaign, and it would not change as often as the swing
It would be
states.
Florida, New York, and California.
Can we do some quick math real quick? So there's with 48% reporting, we're looking at about 15,000 outstanding votes in Lawrence County, meaning Kamala Harris is going to have to win a third of all remaining votes in. Is this just one county? In that one county to beat Jill Stein. If this trend in voting continues, Jill Stein's up 2-1 on Kamala Harris.
Jill Stein can take the White House if she keeps this.
No, but she may want to retire. She may want to retire to Lawrence County, where she's a megastar.
Yeah, honestly, that's a fair point, dude. Or she's going to be hated by all the other lefties there. Like, Kamala didn't win here because of you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jill Stein, and I mean this sincerely. This is not a joke. Jill Stein said she wants Kamala Harris to lose. And this was a big story when she said, vote for me. She didn't want Harris to win. People voting for her in protest may hate Donald Trump, but it does help us. And Jill Stein knew exactly what she was doing, whether she likes Trump or not. Willing to stand up to the uniparty establishment, be it Kamala Harris, whatever the outcome is. I do respect that, and I am grateful for the support.
I've always thought she was a woman of principle, and I voted for her in 2016 when I just didn't know what else to do. I'm like, I've always appreciated that she speaks her truth, whether I agree with her or not. Just that she's honest. Like, she seems legitimately honest.
Guys, I want to say this again. Give Jill Stein your respect. From Newsweek, for end of September, Jill Stein, how and why I will stop Kamala Harris winning the White House. She may not agree with you. You may not agree with her. But hey, at least for now, we are aligned in saying Kamala Harris should not win the White House. And I want to stress, whatever you may think of Jill Stein, what she is saying is that Donald Trump is the better alternative to Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it too. Listen, I'm going to hop off now. It's been fun. I'll be back in a bit probably, but I'm going to sub out my buddy Elad here. I just want to say before I go, it was great chatting with everybody. I'm having a blast. And to all the audience, if you want to know where you can find me, go to Freedom Tunes. We released a video today. It's really blowing up. It's what the Joe Rogan episode would have looked like if he agreed to Kamala's terms, and it's him interviewing her. And then the day before that, we released a video called Kamala Harris polling at 100% with people who vote at 3 a.m. So go check those videos out. You guys will love them.
And I'm half the voices in that cartoon.
And he's half the voice in that cartoon. So go there, check that out. If you want to know how you can support me while I'm trying to create culture and media that isn't woke and insane and left wing, go to freedomtunes.com. Become a member. We have our podcast where we discuss how we make the cartoon, and we're planning on putting together a plan to put some really cool stuff up there in the future.
Hey,
and
you
for
want to sip a Pappy
everybody,
before you
I do want to sip a Pappy before I head out.
Take that over.
Yeah.
We got this very fine bourbon. And for everybody else, as Elad's about to jump in, smash that like button right now. Share the show with everyone you know.
Elad's on your
Become a member. Absolutely. Become a member at timcast.com to support our work to make things like this possible. There is a strong possibility, although I hope not, that we are live again tomorrow in much the same way. Because if we do not get definitive results, let me put it this way. If Trump does not win handily, to a degree that Harris cannot overcome this by any reasonable measure, including lawsuits, this will likely extend into the weekend, and who knows how long. If Trump gets a decisive victory that lawsuits cannot overcome, that's it.
So
we
I want to
win.
make at least
But look, it's not
two
Elad.
food
It's someone else.
growers.
You're not Elad.
Welcome to the show.
Surprise.
Who are you?
I'm also Jewish, though.
Oh, okay, that works.
I'm Deborah. Nice to meet you.
Deborah?
Yes.
Tell us about yourself. Tell the world.
From New York, conservative influencer, fighting the good fight out there. I've also tried rallying the Jewish vote a lot, but recently retweeted by Elon Musk. I feel like that's my
Right on.
thing now.
Your full name?
Deborah Leah.
So here's a question I have for you then. Do you think Jewish voters are going to shift for Trump?
Absolutely. They've been rallying in the streets every single day. I brought like a Hebrew Trump hat, honestly, to give to Ben tonight. But we love Trump. Like, we love Trump so much. He's the only right option for this country, for success, for the future of Israel, for just religious safety and freedom. Absolutely.
Did you guys see that commercial that's been running on Fox where it's the 3 women who are implied to be Jewish? And they're saying, I never wanted to vote for Trump, but at least he'll keep us safe.
Yeah.
And I understand it's a commercial, but the commercial exists because they're targeting a legitimate fear that Jewish people in New York have. And I kind of feel like it seems obvious that they would shift heavily for Trump, but is it going to be the majority? Is it going to be more than 50%? What do you think?
So this is a problem, honestly. I was raised as a religious Jew, but the majority of Jews are not religious. It's some like 98% are not Orthodox, and only 2% are Orthodox. And Orthodox is most observant, following the actual Torah and everything. And so it's been difficult to try and get those Tikkun Olam, the social justice warrior Jews, to try and understand what the importance is for us to have Donald Trump as president. But in New York alone, there's been over 1,000 violent crimes against Jews. There's been not even one person arrested in those cases or charged or tried or anything. So I think we definitely understand that we have strong values about our families, very heavily strong values in the Jewish community, education, safety, good communities, and these are all things that Democratic leaderships have been destroying in every city.
I think that in the ties...
Guys, sorry, I got a break. Decision Desk published the wrong data. Jill Stein is not winning. That is totally incorrect.
Oh, man.
They gave Donald Trump's votes to Jill Stein.
Okay.
Oh.
I went undercover at a pro-Palestine rally in New York, and I ran into Jill Stein. Didn't know it was her at first. For 30 minutes, I'm talking to her on camera. She's saying we have to support Hamas, the freedom fighters. I asked her to talk about, the sex crimes committed on October 7th. She's like, those are just accusations. I have this all on camera of Jill Stein at a Palestinian rally with a keffiyeh on. She's crazy. I hope she doesn't win.
We were enjoying the fact that Jill Stein, it seemed that Jill Stein had stymied Kamala Harris taking a county in South Carolina. And it was fun while it was lasted, but apparently...
They still have it up, and I think they just changed it. They just deleted the data from Lawrence County because Jill Stein did not actually win. Shout outs to, who do we have? Matthew Funnel in Super Chat. It says those Stein votes are actually Trump's check AP.
Wow.
So, yeah, unfortunately. But I'll still give a shout out to Jill Stein. Jill Stein said she will stop Kamala Harris from winning. She wrote an op. I think she wrote an op. Is this what we have from Newsweek? How and why I will stop Kamala Harris from winning. And Kamala Harris cannot win the election because she has lost the crucial support of Muslims and Arabs, Jill Stein has said. So I've been seeing this for a while, that Jill Stein was saying outright, or to some degree, that she was going to be a spoiler candidate for the Democrats.
The oxygen
I ain't complaining about it. Although I wish we lived in a reality where she won Lawrence County. Trump actually won Lawrence County.
I don't know. I don't like communists, so.
like supporting, I don't know about supporting Hamas, like the verbiage, I support Hamas is like, indicates you're supporting an organization that's like desperately attacking another
terrorist.
Yeah, but the idea that you could uplift everyone by creating stability and peace, I feel like that would be a way to support all of them, including those that used to be maybe de-radicalized.
If Hamas wanted stability and peace, they could have turned over the hostages instead of holding them for an entire year.
Enough, I know my way around pretty well.
Turned over and had a ceasefire and could have ended all and turned themselves in and could have ended all of this at any time that they wanted, but they didn't because they're terrorists.
Yeah, I think that's a thing that people struggle with. It's a unique Western situation to think that people who are raised since they're born, raised with Nazi flags, and people who attacked us on 9/11, they idolize these people. I think it's hard for us as Americans to understand that you really can't change that mindset. It's not like a Democrat becoming a Republican. It's a truly different ideology.
I would think of it as like a long game, like of a 20 or 30 or 40 years in the future, because like it takes generations to create radicalism and also to de-radicalize a lot of times. So if you could establish legitimate, like organized peace and
I would love nothing more. I would love for the people in Gaza to live prosperous lives, to thrive again. I think that would be amazing. It's just difficult that Israel kind of set that up for them in 2005 when they willingly gave over the Gaza Strip, and 2 years later the people in Gaza elected Hamas as their leaders. So it's just difficult, I think, when you're trying time and time again to have peace and let these people achieve their own freedoms, but time and time again they're choosing terrorism.
Do you think that Donald Trump, and I guess I ask you not to represent the entire Jewish people, but that he represents like a more of a stabilizing force in the region?
Absolutely. Everything that he did in Israel. I was actually living in Israel at the time when he, for American side, recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. That was a huge strategic decision. Also moving the embassy to Jerusalem. He has done so many things to just help with the sovereignty of Israel and peace in the region. The Abraham Accords were the greatest peace deals in the history of the Middle East. And I think his idea of peace through prosperity, peace through economic strength, meeting with the UAE and having really good deals for everybody so they become richer and it becomes a better region, I think that's the best plan for the Middle East. And I think that's everything that Donald Trump represents there.
So there's big data coming out of Georgia. It's looking really good for Donald Trump so far with 20% reporting. Trump is leading 60% to 40%. Still only 20% reporting, but we do have a lot of data coming from the counties surrounding Atlanta. And I don't know that we've got this from Election Wizard. With an estimated 90% reporting, Trump leads 53 to 46.6 in Baldwin County, Georgia, a county won by Biden in 2020 by 1 point. So that's with 90% reporting. It's looking good so far in Georgia. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, it's still very early.
Deborah, you mind passing me that bottle of Pappy?
Oh, I got it.
Thanks, dude.
There's a lot of liberal places left in Georgia, that's for sure.
Yeah, you said 90% reporting in the whole state or just in that county?
Nah, I think it was just the county.
You want to jump in? We're pulling him in. Yo, we got another...
Stepping up out.
We got another fine young gentleman joining us. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Cody McIntyre, and I'm a professional skateboarder, and hang out with Tim and skate at skate park all the time.
That's indeed, and it's a heck of the first show to join Cody.
Yeah, this is a hell of a show. I mean, if I get a sip of that Pappy's, I think
I think we can make that happen. Yeah, let's work it up.
He's thinking like, I want to come on just for the booze.
Yeah, I don't care about anything.
There's a glass right behind you on that shelf.
Is that a buckler behind you, or is that a hat?
That's a UFO.
Oh, okay. That was like
you see that glass? That's a fresh glass. We just put it right there. So, Cody is a pro skateboarder. And I guess we'll just talk about the wokeness in the industry.
Yeah, I mean,
you're a guy who had a Gadsden flag mini ramp,
Yeah, I guess that's kind of how me and Tim wound up meeting. Well, actually, I think you saw my mini ramp online. And
I've been following your videos for a while.
Yeah, I came out to Maryland, and then I actually just DM'd Tim on Instagram. It was raining. I was like, oh, he has a really cool mini ramp in his basement. Let me see if I can go hang out with him. Turned out to skate way better than I thought.
Cody's, you're not a super political guy.
No.
You've been skateboarding your whole life. For those that don't know, Cody's one of the top pro skateboarders, and you had a Gadsden flag mini ramp. I've seen your videos all the time, for a long time, and I saw that, and I was like, oh, this dude's cool, he gets it. But you got flack from people. The industry has gone woke and gone broke at the same time. I think what we're starting to see now, and I'm hoping this is true, is that, for everybody who's like, oh, I don't really care about skateboard, that's fine, you don't have to. I want to talk broadly about general culture in this country with Bud Light, with Target, with Disney, and what I see in skateboarding as wokeness is killing industry. And we need to see if we want to bring it back a shift.
We'll grab a couple.
But you look at, like Target, for instance, they lost a bunch of money, Bud Light lost a bunch of money. You've directly experienced, you're not even saying anything political, and people coming at you.
No, I've never expressed any sort of political views. I mean, I'm pretty moderate. I hold some conservative views, I think some liberal views. I grew up as a skateboarder. I mean, I'm pretty against cops and authority and things like that, but just by having that one statement, I guess it was, oh, Cody's a crazy Trump supporter, he must be into the Blue Lives Matter shit. So it was kind of crazy how I got thrown into the pit on all of that.
Skateboarders, I would say, are the least political people on earth.
Yeah, for them. Well,
I'm exaggerating.
Prior to 2020, I would say so, yeah.
So, in 2020, we saw many people who I think had no business in politics. Like everybody, it's fine if you want to be in politics and you do your thing. I'm just saying people had no idea what was going on. I was talking to Steve Bannon about whether it was stolen or whatever, what happened in 2020, and I said, I know a guy who's a skateboarder, and he filmed himself carrying a mail-in ballot on his phone like this, walking to a mailbox, and I went, holy crap, when you convinced a skateboarder guy to go cast a mail-in vote, I can understand how Biden's going to win. But now, I'm wondering if, with you at least, and with more people who are starting to be like, hey, we got to say something, or we got to do something, it's not like you're the most political guy in the world, but you feel like you sitting here, I feel like is still indicative of something happening.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, I'm not political, I'm just normal. I'm just kind of tired of seeing things get so far one way and being, I own my own skateboard company now, so I don't have to worry about it, but God forbid if I'd spoken out or said anything. And again, I'm pretty moderate in my beliefs. I don't think I hold any extreme views. I would have been canceled or blacklisted from the industry.
To be normal nowadays is to have actually chosen a side, because the progressives really need you to affirm the things that they believe, or else you are counter to whatever it is that they're trying to do. We saw that with, what was it recently? It was someone with people not taking this, deciding to not endorse Kamala Harris, right? Jeff Bezos decided that he's not going to endorse Kamala Harris, and the reaction from the left was as if he had come out and said that he was endorsing Trump. So anytime that you don't side with them, you're against them. It is an all or nothing perspective where you're either on our side or you're against us. So by being normal and not political, you're siding against the left.
Well, you don't even have to side with somebody. With Tim, for example, Tim's one of my friends. I skate with him all the time. A lot of my really good friends in skateboarding are on the left, super heavy. But when I hang out with them, it's not an issue. There's no, oh, Cody's a leftist, Cody's this. But when I hang out with Tim, I'm this hard right guy. It's like, no, I hold beliefs that I kind of straddle both sides of the fence on something.
Politics flows in one direction. If you stand next to Ben Shapiro, you are far right. If you stand next to a far leftist, the far leftist is also far right. Yeah. There's no inverse. But we got some big updates. Ladies and gentlemen, Polymarket has broke 70% for Donald Trump. And Decision Desk currently has Donald Trump's chance of winning at 69.8. Lord help me if by like 9 o'clock it's shifting in the other direction and Kamala Harris at 99% and everyone's crying.
More like 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
I bet $100. They just became legal in New York to bet for the first time, so this is my first time ever betting on anything. Hopefully I win.
Well,
this is massive. Oh, we've got another person jumping in. Who's this?
I didn't know I was coming in. Hi, I'm Lisa Elizabeth on Twitter, and I book for the Culture War. I work for Dan, the greatest organization ever. I always do.
So
I'm loud, though.
What's going on in Philadelphia? Who's going to win?
Let me tell you, from doing on-the-ground reporting there, I am surprised. It is definitely way more 50-50 than it seems. Pennsylvania, there's been a lot of irregularities with stuff going on there. Everybody knows that the GOP in Philadelphia and the DNC are corrupt. So, I don't know. I worry about that kind of stuff. But I'm telling you, living in Philadelphia for so long, I've never seen as many Trump flags, Trump signs. Even when I was in West Philly, a total Democrat stronghold, there were Kamala signs with spray-painted T's in red over top of it. I posted to Twitter. I'm telling you, it's wild what's happening there. I've never seen anything like it.
Decision Desk currently has Trump at 69.8 to win, despite Ohio currently trending towards Kamala Harris at 55%. Georgia's trending towards Trump at 54%.
You mentioned how in like 2016, I think it was, that the needle, it said like what, Hillary Clinton
99,
and then it just went. But the difference here is she was like the Potemkin candidate. Everyone wanted Bernie. They forced her in the DNC. Nobody really liked her. It's the same as Kamala. That's not the inverted thing right now. We're not looking at that. We're looking at a guy that people really like and that has been our president before, and he's got a massive groundswell.
We got this from NBC News. Allegheny County anticipates will have 186,000 mail-in ballots reported soon after 8 p.m. Another 36,000 should be reported not so long after that.
Hopefully men are finally showing up to the polls. That's been a big thing on Twitter. We've been trying to get men to go out and vote because since the 1980s, men have undervoted, underregistered, and if men just show up and vote, this election's in the bag for Donald Trump.
Another big update. We got Oklahoma and Missouri have been called for Donald Trump. Decision Desk increases his chance to win to 71.5%. So with more data coming in, we got Mississippi and Alabama. Tennessee have been called for Donald Trump. Maryland has been called for Kamala Harris. Massachusetts for Kamala Harris.
Shocker.
And Rhode Island for Kamala Harris. North Carolina is currently trending Kamala at 52.2 to Trump's 46.8. I mean, I understand if we go into, excuse me, North Carolina, we are seeing a lot of suburban and urban areas reporting, but there are some areas that don't look to be too urban that are skewing blue right now. I guess the data is just too early to tell. I do think it's interesting that Decision Desk currently has Trump at 71.5, considering Ohio and North Carolina are currently trending Democrat right now.
What's the percentage in North Carolina?
I'm sorry, D.C. has been called for Kamala as well.
North Carolina, what's the percentage of?
5%, fair point.
Okay, how about Ohio, similar?
Ohio, I think, is a higher. It's at 20.
Ohio's 25.
25 now.
That's kind of scary. Feels like it's coming in fast
How's
compared
Summit
to the
County
last
doing?
time.
That's my hometown.
I like to
hometown.
get titanium
Summit
down
County was known
there,
as kind of a liberal area of the
too.
state. The Northeast was sort of like a liberal pocket in a conservative state.
I have a good feeling about this. I had a dream last night. It felt too real for it to not be real tomorrow.
That's cool.
Please no.
What, tell the
I
friendly version of
no.
the dream. What happened?
I could have
I had a dream of those feelings of Donald Trump winning, like that excitement where you just wake up and you can stop worrying about everything and the whole world falling apart. And can I buy a home? I'm only 24 years old. What should I do with my finances? Do I invest? Is that risky? Do I even want a treasury bond with the U.S. government?
I will eat a whole pizza.
That's what you're
If
gonna do?
Trump wins, I am going to order a whole deep dish pizza from Uno's, and I'm going to eat it, and I'm going to sit back and have a beer.
I will.
I don't eat bread. I don't drink. I don't eat bread.
That's true.
If Trump wins, I'm eating a whole pizza and drinking a beer.
Gotta make a New York pizza. Make it worth it.
Oh, I'm
York
from
pizza's
Chicago.
good. Oh, yeah.
I can have my Chicago tourism pizza.
Is it deep
I'm
dish?
from New England, so
Yes.
I like the New England pizza. The
Dave
New York.
Portnoy Jr.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be here. I saw his speeches flying out on their private jet to Nashville today. I was hoping he would pop
Oh,
up.
that'd be cool. Is he coming?
I don't know. We'll
I
be
mean, look,
surprised.
I haven't heard anything.
Who eats?
Look, don't count your chickens, okay? Trump's at 70.1 to win on Polymarket, and this may just be a response to the early data. Decision Desk currently has Trump at 71.5. People are seeing that and saying, sure, why not take a bet, get free money?
Of course.
No guarantees, man. These mail-in votes, unpredictable. Texas, with 12% in Texas is blue.
Yeah.
Dude, it's 49.5 to 48.9 in Texas.
But
And
11,000
it's just Dallas reporting. No, it's almost 1.4 million votes.
No, 11,000 difference.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, but it's just Dallas reporting, so it means nothing.
It doesn't even matter. Even if he's up everything, we could all go to bed again and wake up, and all of a sudden there's some massive spike in Joe Biden. Kamala Harris.
Exactly,
If we
yeah.
don't go to bed,
You
it
mean
can't
Barack- you mean
happen,
Barack
guys.
Obama.
Yeah, there you go. We just need to stay up all night.
Right. Oh, Deb, I'm with you.
If staying up all night meant Donald Trump was going to win, then I could handle that.
I wouldn't sleep for 3 days.
Yeah,
You know, but Ben Shapiro made this point last night. He said, the order of outcomes that we want is Trump wins by a lot, Trump wins by a little,
I'm
Kamala
gonna
wins
wait
by a
for
lot,
this
Kamala
ice
wins by a little. If
start
Kamala wins,
melting.
but only by a little, it's a disaster.
That's just a
And I completely
shortcut
agree. People are going to lose their
anyways.
minds. If Trump wins by a little, the left will lose their minds, but at least Trump will have authority and can be able to start cleaning things up.
If she wins it all, it's a disaster. Okay.
Right, but one's better than the other.
Right, but if either one of them wins by a slim margin, we're looking at some unrest. We're looking at some
I'm
people
gonna
being
need
very
a
unhappy.
pile
with
of
the
this
results
stuff
We got some data coming from New
anyways.
Jersey. Of course, Kamala Harris is winning in New Jersey. We've got Gloucester County. With,
You know how Gloucester County is. I
I
just
know.
drove through there. There's
I know.
plenty of Trump signs. Hardly any Kamala. That will go. That will go.
What's going on in New Jersey, huh?
I'm
You know,
excited
man.
to see
South
cities.
Jersey's red, North Jersey's blue.
I just want other liberals to know that they're not
really
the only
suffering,
ones. Like after the Madison Square Garden rally, every single restaurant outside of Madison Square Garden was filled with MAGA hats. You've never seen anything like that in New York, probably never will again. And I just want them to know that they're not the only opinion. They should watch how they're speaking. The guy who was leading the poll station today when I was voting this morning in New York came up to me and literally told me Donald Trump will rape women. Sorry, I don't know if I want to use that
He was
word on the
leading
show.
the polls?
He was the guy who was checking you in to sign you up to go vote this morning. He's like, yeah, I said vote no on Proposition 1, which is transgenders in women's sports. And he's like, well, Donald Trump's going to protect women by raping
Is
them.
that not voter intimidation?
I thought it was something illegal. It's in New York, so like, are they going to actually do anything? They only arrest Mayor Adams, apparently.
We've got some data from PA starting to come in right now. Let me see if we where we currently at. Where's the? We got 3%, and this is for the Senate results. Bob Casey is up. It's only 3%. Doesn't mean a lot. This is kind of a bummer so far, but I'm hoping we see a shift. In Virginia, Tim Kaine is leading 54 to Hung Kao 46. Dude, Hung Kao is awesome. Did you guys see that election, that ad he made where he's banging the table? He talks about how his family fled Vietnam. America gave him safe harbor. He served this nation in the Navy for 25 years. Now he's running for Senate. I'm like, how could this country not just say this guy obviously is the best choice for leadership in this country? So that they would choose, and that they would choose someone like Tim Kaine is insane to me. Like, politics aside, you put these two guys next to each other, and it's like, I'll take the 25-year veteran of the Navy who fought for this country, who's grateful for everything he's been given, and who will serve the people. Tim Kaine is just a crony. What does he represent?
They don't care. He represents the machine.
The
They
power of the
want the
medium.
machine.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot about Einstein because like he got really good PR. If he had PR like Elon Musk is getting, he would not have been looked favorably upon by history. We would think that guy was a piece of garbage, like bad.
Run out of
The way
power
that they're
here,
demonizing
yeah.
Dragon Musk is like, if the media wants to make you seem great, they'll just put you on Time Magazine and like say it. I thought media is really
And to that point, not only
Right,
is
can't
it
put it
the
outside,
image
but
that the
I guess
media
it-
wants you to have malleable, it's malleable at any point. There was a long time where Elon Musk was the golden child for the left, right? He was going to put, he was doing the rocket thing and he had the solar stuff going on and he was building electric cars and the left, he was the golden child of the left.
So is Donald Trump.
Harris has won Connecticut.
Shocker.
Shocker.
Update coming in. New Hampshire with 15% reporting. Harris is at 56. We'll see. Georgia's at 37% right now. Trump is at 57 to 43 with 37% reporting. Still very, very good news for Donald Trump. North Carolina now at 7%. Harris at 55 to Trump's 44. Ohio with 32% reporting. Harris has 53 to Trump's 46. Oh boy, 32 is a lot, but we're getting a lot of data coming out of big cities and not as much coming from the rural areas. So
Oh wait, that's why. Where do you get Summit County? Northeast.
Where's that?
It's in the Northeast. It's the highest county in the state. That doesn't matter on this map. It's near. No, it's like south of that. Couple. It's a square.
It was the
It's like
highest?
a rectangle. Yeah, one of those rectangle counties. Like
Is that
upper right.
yours?
Yeah, it's my home county. I don't think they're in yet.
It's too
No, but it
early.
would still tell us which county we're looking for.
Summit. Yeah. It's like right around there, maybe down and a little to the left of where you're at.
There it is. I got it. Yeah, Kamala Harris 62% with 35% of the vote in.
Tim, is it too early to break down demographics for the counties for how they're going?
I don't know if they have that data on it.
I feel like they used to. I don't know if they do anymore. Like usually,
Yeah,
if you
there's
click
nothing
on it and scroll to the bottom, they're like on. You're on New York. No, you're on the other one. Never mind.
Oh, it's here. The needle's
Look
here.
at the needle.
They're not giving us any data on the needle. I love this. They're so embarrassed about how bad the needle is that it's just nothing.
What is the needle?
So look here on the screen.
Yeah.
The forecast.
It's the forecast showing you which direction it's going.
This is basically the 70% that they say elsewhere. They just represented as a needle.
So The live presidential forecast famously in 2016 said it was all the way to the left, said 99% Clinton. And then as the night went on, it slolly moved over to the other side, and everyone made fun of it, saying it was worthless. What's the point? Now the New York Times finally published it, and it's nothing yet. Decision Desk has no problem showing us Trump has 72.3% chance of winning. Please be true. These forecasts mean very little. They're currently projecting Trump to win with 283 electoral votes. I hope that is the case. The night is young, my friends. Poly market is back down a little bit. Trump's at 68.5. Let's go.
Are people buying and selling on Polymarket in real time?
Yes.
So they're making money as it goes up and down? Wow.
Yeah, so the thing to understand about these contracts is that you can buy yes and then sell yes. So some people may be buying Harris right now, and it's shifting not because they think she's going to win, but because they think a certain state is going to skew in her direction, spike her price, they can sell it, make a profit.
They don't have to hold for a day or anything?
And they're already getting taxed on their unrealized gains.
Oh, Texas turned red, finally. There we go, with more data coming in. Did they fix, they didn't fix Lawrence County yet. Come on, Decision Desk. Jill Stein is not winning Lawrence County.
I think the concern in Texas is a lot of people from California moved to Texas.
Oh man, 2020, it was a migration. Like just in my town alone, I can tell you the home prices have spiked so much. It's kind of a different demographic. One of my buddies owns a ranch, and they're trying to create an HOA out there on like just a bunch of rural properties. Yeah, he has a big skateboard ramp and a big pink dinosaur because his brother is a kind of an artist. Yeah, they wanted to tear it down, and they started trying to. We need to HOA.
Dude, it's the worst thing in rural areas. Out by us, there's a gun range. It's been there for a long time. Wealthy people move in and start buying properties nearby, and then complaining about the gun range, and they're demanding it gets shut down. And we're all like, it's not happening. If you choose to live downrange from a gun range, you chose to do that. These people think, oh, we're going to get a discount price on the property. Then we'll complain, win the elections, force them out, and get a premium on our property. I think that's dirty stuff. That's dirty.
I think you should have to live in a state for a certain amount of time before you're allowed to vote in local elections or any legislation. Like 1 year, just to make sure.
One election cycle.
One election cycle.
If you move a year before the presidential election, you shouldn't be able to vote in that state presidential election.
Can we go back? Jill Stein, guys, Jill Stein dressed in red? Is this confirmed? I see a photo. Is this?
I saw that earlier.
Wow.
Yeah.
It might be blood for
no, but people are saying everybody knows what it looks like when the wife of a Democrat dresses in red on election day, and the report is that Jill Stein voted for Biden. A protest vote against Kamala.
Whoa.
She wouldn't vote for herself?
Yeah, wait, that's strange. She's on the ballot.
It must be so weird voting for yourself.
Wait, was that Jill Stein?
In the morning?
Or was that Biden's wife?
I would have done it.
I wrote Trump in
I'm sorry, Joe Biden, not Jill Stein.
Yeah.
Joe Biden wore red.
Oh.
I'm sorry, we're talking about.
That makes more sense.
Right, sorry. I was thinking South Carolina.
Where's red?
What was that?
What does it mean if the white wears red?
Well, just people are saying that if Jill Biden is wearing red, she's the wife of the Democratic president. It's a statement against Kamala Harris. And
it 100% is.
Yes.
Oh. I forgot he wasn't even running anymore.
Like, I had a white dress in the rotation, but I'm like, oh, they always do that white suffragette thing in white. I can't wear that. Like, yeah, you have to think about what you're wearing.
Pennsylvania voting site evacuated as disruptors try to upset election results.
Whoa, let me pull that up. Let's
I'll retweet it.
Where is it?
I didn't see it.
Why did Pennsylvania flip blue all of a
retweeted it.
I think they're going to have the worst protests.
We got it right here. Daily Mail reporting, Pennsylvania voting site evacuated as disruptors try to upset election result. A voting site in Pennsylvania has been evacuated. Multiple people burst into the Center County election office in Bellefonte shortly after 7 p.m., triggering an evacuation by police. Polls do not close until 8 p.m. It's unclear if they're supporting Trump or Harris.
I don't even know where that is. I'm living in Pennsylvania.
Yo, wow. Center County report journalist Haley Jacobs shared a clip of the scene with multiple locals forced in the parking lot while cops probe the disruption. Okay, it's crazy. I thought we would see stuff like this in 2020. There's not much more data here. It seems to be a small polling location. I hope we don't see any more of that stuff. I hope it chills out. Can we just get through this? Oh no! Decision Desk with the update. Trump's chance of winning has just dropped to 62.2%. I told you! Don't do this to me, Decision Desk.
I'm going to have a heart attack by the end of the night.
How much total has come in? So is there a number like all total? 17% of the total?
I don't think that really, you can't really calculate to that degree because we're looking at swing states. So we can see the reporting totals for the key swing states here. Georgia's 38% in, Trump's up 14. Michigan with 2%, Harris up 47. Doesn't mean anything.
Nope.
There's nothing else substantive in the swing states. They're still favoring Trump to win, but Decision Desk just dropped his chance down by 10%. That's a massive drop for Trump.
Pennsylvania just went with the lines in it, meaning it's leaning that way?
It's looking real good for Trump in Georgia. 1.2 to 1 million.
What's in for Pennsylvania so far?
Pennsylvania's got less than 1% reporting, so rather meaningless. I think the New York Times is showing PA at 6%, with Harris at 75 to Trump's 24, so still just meaningless. New Jersey with 6% reporting, 59 for Harris, 39 for Donald Trump. I think we've seen nothing's flipped yet. So all the House races that have been called are predictable, and we'll have to wait and see, I suppose.
Has anything flipped to the Democratic Party?
Nothing's flipped. No. Republicans have taken 1 seat in the Senate, which is huge, but we knew that was coming because Manchin didn't really count anyway.
So I'm seeing all these East Coast states doing. I assume this is just a time zone thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, look, California, if they're going till 9, we're going to have to wait quite a bit.
And then Hawaii, is that the last state to report, or they wrap their voting early in the day?
Pretty sure. Alaska and Hawaii are going to be way late.
I want to see Puerto Rico. I want to see who they vote for.
Yes.
Yeah, nobody cares to track Puerto Rico right now.
Oh, it's not even.
Right, because there's no.
They vote. People don't know. They vote.
Yeah, they have delegates. I believe more than one. I could be wrong.
Interesting.
Connecticut. Decision Desk has Connecticut red with less than 1 reporting, but they've already. New York Times, I believe, has already called Connecticut.
Does Guam have a delegate? It was called.
And I believe the delegate was already. So the reporting said that the Republican won re-election, but the local legislature flipped Republican, which is big. They were saying that I believe it was a 12-point swing in favor of Republicans in Guam. I don't know, man. This is pretty wild right now. Trump is still favored 2 to 1 by Decision Desk, but he just dropped 10 points. That's a massive drop off.
keeping it
Hey, look, I made my prediction earlier. 269 to 269 because Elon's law says the outcome that's the most entertaining is most likely.
That's not entertaining.
And then RFK is going to come in.
That's
Dude, Phil's gonna lose his shit.
No, fair point.
It's indigestion for the next week.
The most entertaining outcome would be a Trump landslide because then all the memes and all the videos of people losing their minds.
Yeah, of him like sliding down on like an avalanche.
He's from all over the world, popping up in every single block in Manhattan every single week. Aura Ring, which is like $500, brand new Jordans, things of that nature. And all the people like my family who came here legally, I think they're fed up and they're mad about it. And I hope they vote Republican.
Yo, Miami-Dade County, they're 89%, and it is red.
I registered my brother there and all of his friends. So.
And it looks like Florida has rejected recreational marijuana.
Oh no,
haters. Maybe not the worst move. I got mixed feelings on that because it sure does smell bad.
I hope Proposition 1 in New York.
I have mixed feelings on legalization as well. I think it certainly should be class 1, but I'm not convinced that blanket legalization decriminalization is an effective path towards figuring out what the problems are in the first place.
Like, is alcohol?
I think alcohol's bad too.
Recreational? But you gotta be 21. But you don't smell it when someone's drinking it next to you.
The challenge is always substance abuse. So my concern is that people abusing alcohol, are they abusing marijuana? And how do you regulate something like that, right?
Well,
you just gotta hope they don't. You just don't let them drive.
Clearly abusing alcohol. I mean, there's Alcoholics Anonymous, and the number of deaths that come from car accidents because of alcohol has to be 10,000 or so a year because there's like 40.
Like in Europe and other things where the alcohol, like the age to consume alcohol is way lower. There's something else going on here because they don't have the same problem. So there's an underlying symptom of why people are abusing recreational substances here as compared to other places.
In other countries, there's less driving. There's more. There's usually some kind of public transportation or whatever that's in significantly better condition than the U.S. They don't have the suburbs that we do, whereas
either they die or.
So that's one of the things, and also they have a different relationship with alcohol to the way that the United States does. The U.S. there's I don't know exactly what it is, but the way that other countries behave around alcohol, and it's not that they don't get drunk, because there's plenty of dudes in Europe that love to go tie one on. I've been to plenty of shows over there where dudes are just assed out, but there is a different relationship to alcohol over there than in the U.S. So
Jim Jordan's won. Jim Jordan has won re-election.
Awesome.
There's some news.
Jim Jordan's great.
And
we should have him on.
Yeah, he was
only on that one, the one we had at CPI.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, he's so smart. I love that guy.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Like friendly. He's an Ohio guy, yeah? Is he Ohio?
He's Ohio.
Yeah, he's legit.
Yep, waiting more data, but right now 29% in Ohio. Kamala Harris is up 54.2 to Trump's 45.1. Looks like we got this fine gentleman joining us.
Hey, buddy.
Who are you, sir? Say your name.
What is going on? I am James Klug, owner of the James Klug YouTube channel. I do political commentary and street videos. Thank you guys for having me.
Do you partake, sir?
Too, right? Like,
I'm good for right now.
Protect her.
I'm good for right now. Thank you, though.
You also protect Lisa frequently, right? When Lisa's getting herself in trouble.
It's obviously the other way
messing
around.
up my chair. Sorry, what was that?
You're saying you protect me when I'm getting in trouble, but I was like,
maybe a little bit of both, but yeah, she gets it. If we're out on the street, she's getting in trouble fast. She'll find the fastest way to get in trouble on the street. Absolutely.
It's the long legs is what it is.
Right.
I think it's the mouth, but I meant the fingers.
We do have an update. The chance of Trump winning has just dropped once again to 61.8, so it just dropped another couple of points. The projection now is Trump 276 to Harris 262, but I'm curious, James, what do you think is going to happen?
You guys, honestly, I feel good about it in my gut. I feel good about it. A Donald Trump victory. We know that the regime is going to be doing everything that they can to possibly make this not happen. But I'm seeing Americans all over the country on the street talking to people. One, there are people that are completely motivated to vote for Donald Trump, and they're first-time voters. People that are just sick of it. They're sick of the lies. They're sick of the nonsense. They're sick of the world burning around them, and they are voting for Donald Trump for the first time. And it's not just that, though. I see disenfranchised Democrats that aren't happy with Kamala Harris. They're staying out of the race. I see, I see Trump gaining ground in deep blue areas across the country as well when we're doing street interviews. And, if I'm seeing that, I think the issue is much bigger. So I feel really good about where Donald Trump's at. I feel good about his campaign. And they're obviously going to be pushing to prevent this, but I think the right is putting their heads down, going to vote, and I feel like they're going to deliver.
The needle is live, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, the New York Times has finally published it, showing Trump with the slight chance of winning. The current estimates have him winning at 275 to Harris' 263. However, the popular vote estimate has skewed 1.4 towards Harris, and the Trump electoral vote count just dropped by 1 vote. I don't know what that means, whatever, but sure. So right now, they have needles for every state. They're giving 53% to Harris in Michigan and Wisconsin. Pennsylvania is still considered tied. Nevada's going Republican. North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona all skewing Republican. This giving Trump the advantage. Ladies and gentlemen, they're considering it still a toss-up. We have no idea. And like I said, look, Trump was at 1 point, 72.5, I believe was the peak, 72.3% chance of winning. It's now dropped down to 61.8. We will see as the data comes.
How's the poly market looking? I wonder if in real time it just snapped.
68.3 in favor of Donald Trump.
I'm excited, guys. Like, this is good. I'm buzzing. I feel like good things are happening. It's coming in faster than the last few years, and we're all here. So
I have PTSD from the last. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I can handle that.
I'm right there with you. I have very little confidence in the way that it'll turn out in a positive way, and I love everybody that does have confidence. I adore it. I love the uplifted spirits. I have very little confidence because I really believe that the average voter, the average person that and I say this all the time, but the average person that goes to work every day and consumes about an hour of news per day, or I'm sorry, per week, those people believe the media. They believe the legacy media. They still go to NBC and they still hear what the talking heads on NBC are saying, and what the talking heads on NBC and from the Democrats. They're not hearing anything reflective of reality, and because of that, your average person believes a significant portion of the slanderous stuff that people say about Donald Trump. You can come up with all kinds of reasons, all kinds of legitimate criticism for Donald Trump. I truly believe that. That doesn't mean that he's worse than Kamala Harris. It's just that you can come up with plenty of reasons to criticize him. But the legacy media has created this caricature, this imaginary cartoon monster of Donald Trump, and I think that
it's also his base too. I would say of his base.
Oh yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
they call me a Nazi. I'm Jewish.
Of course, yeah, 100%. And that's something that does actually move the needle with the average, the average American. Again, that doesn't consume a lot of news. That doesn't look much deeper.
As the other black pill person here, let me give a little white pill. There has been a momentum shifting. You can feel it.
Yes.
Like you can totally feel when you're in Philadelphia and you're seeing and James can tell you because we've been on the ground there so much. People are not afraid anymore.
I want to be wrong.
Listen, me too. Like you can definitely feel the shift. Everybody has Trump signs out. They're not afraid anymore to put them out, to put their flags out, to put the bumper stickers on their car. Their cars are not getting, in Philadelphia, they were getting torched in 2016 for having a Trump sticker on the car. That's not happening anymore. However, I'm not afraid of the popular vote. I'm afraid of the machine. I'm afraid of extra ballots and things like that.
Interesting, preliminary but interesting. Bergen County is currently, Donald Trump is currently leading in Bergen County. This is a North...
That's a Jewish county in New Jersey.
Yes,
that's where all the Jews live.
A North Jersey, New York City suburb that went for Joe Biden last time. I believe it was let me see if I have the data.
The Jews are showing up for Donald Trump.
And Bergen County was 285,000 for Biden, 204 for Trump. It is a single county, so there's 22% reported. Trump is currently favored. If that does hold, that's a massive flip, even if it's by just a point.
You guys, I also think when it comes to 2020, like the arguments from everybody, right, was that they were blaming Donald Trump, and they're blaming Donald Trump for the lockdowns. Governor said, no, look over here. It's Donald Trump that mishandled COVID, not us. It's not us that locked you down. It was because of Donald Trump. That was sweeping the nation. Now that boogeyman doesn't really exist, and I don't think it lands as well because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are in office, and that's who I think a lot of people are blaming. As for blue areas, I think Donald Trump's taking a massive chunk out of these areas across the United States, and I just don't see their voters being as motivated as not just as the Republicans and the independent voters as well for Donald Trump.
Hey, Dave, can you go back to New Jersey real quick? So Cape May County, that's like the lower blue half down there. That's not much reporting because that is an absolute Trump stronghold.
It's my country.
Like that's where my mom lives. I'm telling you that.
Your mom's awesome.
She's
great.
But that should be like how much is reporting there in Cape May County?
25%.
That's where Andrew switched seats, right?
And
that's wild that it's even coming in blue. That's
we used
scary.
to. I used to be in Gloucester County. I'm pretty sure we were in Gloucester.
No, Gloucester's up there.
That's where we were in Deptford.
Right? Yep, that's right.
So we didn't like our member of Congress.
No.
And it's with 42% reporting, it's up 8,000 for Harris, 38 to 30. Well,
we just drove through there. James and I just drove through there. We went to Duffield, that whole thing.
So take a look at New Jersey. I don't know if it makes sense to say it's in play or anything like that, but with Bergen flipping, right now it's 52 to 46. We're going to see, I think, a massive rightward shift in New Jersey. I do want to make sure I keep you guys up to date. Trump's chance of winning has just spiked once again to 71.1.
What is going on? What is this company? What's this company?
I got punching air right now, you guys.
You're gonna love this one.
Punching air.
I got data for you. We've got this from NBC's exit polls in Pennsylvania. Trump is up among independent voters by 6 points. Massive.
Yeah, RFK.
Massive. RFK Jr. for sure.
Wow.
So if these hold, it's really good news.
Well, I also think Elon Musk has had a massive impact on this. I mean,
Joe Rogan too.
Joe Rogan as well, with not just independent voters, but also maybe some Democrats that weren't totally on board with Kamala Harris. I was just texting my friend's dad the other day. He's absolutely liberal, and he switched his vote because of Elon Musk.
Wow,
that's wild.
Yeah.
We like Elon.
The good thing, I think that, the argument that Elon Musk is making goes beyond just Donald Trump is the guy to elect, right?
Totally.
He's making the argument that, first of all, the Democrats are the party of censorship. He's made it clear that the Democrats are going to come after people for having the wrong opinions if you're influential. And I think
really
the fact that he has been able to point to all of the
but I wanted to get to
DOJ
streaming
attacks
as
against
fast
SpaceX
as
and other
possible.
Bringing it to a personal level, it's so much more clear to people listening to him talking about it.
Absolutely. He's speaking to the he's speaking to the regulations that he has to deal with just to do business the way that he needs to. And if you're going to have an aspirational society that looks to do big, incredible things, which he has demonstrated are possible, he has reminded the American people that we are capable.
When you catch a skyscraper.
Exactly. When you catch a skyscraper coming out of space and you catch it, he's demonstrating that we can do absolutely amazing things. We have the technology, and this is all right in front of us. But the government literally gets in the way. Go ahead.
So we got a big update. The needle has now shifted for Trump in PA. 53% likelihood for Trump in Pennsylvania. That is the Keystone State. If Harris, they're saying right now, Nevada is now leaning Republican, giving Harris only a slight edge in Wisconsin and Michigan. Trump is leading, has the edge in Nevada, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Arizona. Georgia is now 71% Republican. They're giving it heavy to Donald Trump.
I see what you did there with that is the Keystone State.
But it is.
It is the Keystone State. Well, people don't realize that it is the Keystone State, but it is the key.
It's a nickname.
I see what you did there.
You're feeling the energy now?
I feel nothing. I have a cold, frozen.
I got an empathic burst of these guys sitting in a room thinking we can't stop him, and that could lead to some crazy shit in the future, but they can't stop it.
Ian, I'm going to grab you and try to steal your vibe.
Dudes that are reporting Fulton County is showing a 2.6% shift towards Trump from 2020. This is likely why they are now all set. They're starting to say it looks like Trump is going to win Georgia. It's still only 51% reporting, but Trump is up nearly 10 points. So this is massive, and with the shift towards Trump, it's looking really, really good. PA right now with 8% in, still very heavily for Kamala Harris, but doesn't mean anything because we're looking at Harrisburg and Pittsburgh.
What's Philly look like?
Philly's blue.
Yeah, but how much is it?
15% in, and Philly and Delaware County are very blue.
What's the percentage of 15% in?
I think there's still iron over here.
11% in Bucks, and Bucks is 2-1 Kamala Harris.
Philly went 85% for Biden, and I'm thinking that it's going to go 75% or less based on what we've been seeing on the ground there. So I'm just curious as to where they are.
70% chance that Trump wins this one, says Decision Desk. Let's just Decision Desk. Do me a favor, if you're watching, just keep it there and just stop moving.
No, they're gonna put it back to 61, dude. Get ready for the curves, baby. They want to make it exciting for everybody.
Come back up.
They like it. They're getting a lot of traffic because of this stuff.
Poly Market has Trump at 71.2.
Wow.
I don't know about this. Probably, I don't know it.
Kalshi was doing that. Like everybody's, as the money's coming in about who's spending on which candidate.
But all the different betting markets.
All of the markets? No, I don't know.
Has the inauguration map changed at all since the last time you guys looked at that one? Because that's the one that actually.
The inauguration bet.
Oh yeah.
So let me pull the betting odds. I believe we have the latest from RCP, but it's updated daily. So yeah. It's not up to date right now. Poly Market says 59, so this data is no good. This data is no good. It's changing too rapidly right now.
Sure.
But we have Poly Market inauguration. Trump is currently at 66% likelihood to be inaugurated.
I like this.
It's kind of wild. Other is at 2.6. People are starting to get a little sure. It's looking like it's pretty good for Trump so far.
They realized that Jill Stein, an analytic, was a mistake. They were like, oh, maybe not Jill.
Nevada leaning towards Trump in the New York Times needle is big. Wisconsin just shifted a little bit more towards the Democrats on the needle. I don't know if it means anything, but they're projecting 279 as of right now for Donald Trump to win. Harris with a 1% popular vote margin.
I want to win everything. The popular vote.
We need it.
We need
big news. Arizona just skewed heavily Republican, and it looks like Arizona and Georgia are going Republican. But I will say this too: the polling at the last minute showed Arizona wasn't even a swing state anymore. They basically took it off the map and they said it's Republican.
Really?
So yes, So
yeah, I mean, I think most of us would agree that worst case scenario is going to be a close election. There needs to be the popular vote. It needs to be the electoral college. It needs to be undeniable.
That's what we were just saying. That I think right before, maybe before you got in, that the worst case, they said best case. I don't know who was saying this. Trump wins big. Next best is he wins small. Ben Shapiro. Third is that Kamala wins big. Worst case scenario, she wins by a small margin because then people are like, what are you talking about?
Or he wins by a real small margin too, because they're not
just about.
Well, for the sake of our small businesses in our cities.
Correct. They're boarding up across the country. Did you see those videos today? I forgot which state it was, but they're
preparing. What do they call it? The plywood index. So it's looking good for Donald Trump if the plywood index is, if everyone's
can you bet on that?
plywood.
Oh, big plywood. You know, people are going deep on lumber.
Is that why wood prices are up? All the protests?
Wow, maybe.
Did you guys talk
not
about?
Unrelated.
Did you guys talk about whether you really think we're going to know tonight or not? Do you really think it's going to take a week?
I just voted in Maryland by mail, and I had to have it postmarked by today. But as long as it gets there by November 15th, it'll be counted. That's what they told me.
New York's November 12th. It's a similar thing. I went to college in Maryland, and I had to vote by mail for the 2020 election, and I had to have it arrive by November 5th. I don't know why they changed it this year, like so quietly.
And it's being challenged by the Supreme Court. I think it's a circuit court in the 6th Circuit, maybe. So they're saying it has to be in by the 5th. And but then we're going to see if that even becomes put to the courts. If they get challenged, if that actually goes through. I think it's the righteous thing to do personally.
Sorry, real quick. Have we talked about the Amish?
No, give it to me.
Oh, yes, I want to hear all about it.
Turning out in droves.
Let me tell you, I want to ask Lisa's thought, because you live by many of these Amish, as do we. And there was this video that went viral where an Amish guy was asked, what's happening? Are they turning out? And who are they turning out for? And the guy said, well, our freedom's been affected. We were more free under Trump and less so under Kamala. And I found that to be a rather simple answer. But there was a story where apparently federal regulators went into organic farms.
Amos's farms. I spoke to him on the phone. I was going to try to. So I was trying to get Amos on to come on actually and do a show on the culture war with Thomas Massey, right? Because he's on that raw milk campaign, right? And he obviously it was like hard to even get him on the phone because they don't believe in the technology and he couldn't do the video. And he was like, maybe I'll send my lawyer. Anyway, but what happened was they came in and they seized his farm and put everything like under wraps for selling raw organic milk, which he's been doing for years.
That's evil.
This is where their way of life is compromised, is because these regulations and these things under this administration, under this justice system, are totally targeting average working people all the time. Look at the squirrel case, right? Like same thing.
Rip Peanut.
Poor Peanut. But like it's all these little things that are adding up. But when they watch one of their own, they're a very tight-knit community, and when they watch one of their own being persecuted, they all stand up for each other. And that's the way the rest of the world needs to be, by the way. Can we all be more like the Amish and stand up for one another and like really have each other's backs no matter what? And that's why they're turning out in droves. It really has to do with like you're attacking one of their own.
Who are we thanking for identifying this and rallying them? Are we thanking Scott Pressler? Who are we thanking? You know,
he deserves an
when it
award.
comes to actually informing these people, making sure that they know what is at stake. I know that they know when the government's interfering with their businesses, but are we thinking
in Berks and Bucks County, he has moved mountains for sure.
Scott?
Yeah, Scott has done amazing things.
Yeah,
in Berks
I'm
and
calling
Bucks.
Pennsylvania for Scott right now.
Yeah, me. Listen, I hope
you guys moved there for the purpose of adding one Republican vote.
I mean,
under a new law, he wouldn't have been able to vote.
Oh yeah,
You have to live in a state for an election cycle before voting.
I'm not the biggest fan of this idea of moving to someone else's state and then altering their elections in that way. That being said, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Scott Pressler, if Trump wins, is because of the work of that man.
But I think him driving out.
Who do we blame for loose election laws right now?
Exactly right. So we have to get a hold of things if we're going to start securing our election system. And don't even say secure. Just how about bring confidence back into the system?
Nobody has confidence.
I know we gotta bring it back.
People forget that like there were Democrats before, like during the Hillary one, that actually stood up and wanted to object to the election results as well. This has been going on forever. I mean, talk about the like
year 2000, 2004,
Yes.
2016,
And so-
2004. Senator joined in.
So none of this has been like nobody's had any confidence for the last couple of years. It's only now been exacerbated, and now Republicans care.
I'm gonna take a little break. It's been absolutely
I needed the good
spectacular.
vibe.
You're still gonna feel it.
All right,
in the house
all right.
party.
We bringing a lot in, or what do we got?
We got some more
Oh,
people
we
here.
got some-
A lot is fishing out there at the party for people.
A lot is doing a bang up job though.
I mean,
he really is.
Yeah, a lot's crushing it tonight. Shout out to a lot.
Yeah,
A lot's doing my job. He's like rotating people.
Him and his American flag.
See you guys.
Oh, look who it is.
Wow, it's so different without the head.
We'll see you back then.
Deborah. Sir, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm kidding.
Oh,
Yes, hi everyone.
Gotcha.
I'm Joel Barry, managing editor of the Babylon Bee.
You do great work.
I know your face from Twitter.
Yeah,
He was just on the culture war. Thank you very
It's a little
much.
different than I remember.
It's a little different. We got the party right behind us. It's a lot of fun. Sir, are you having fun yet?
I'm having a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm a little worried. I've maybe had one too many to drink. So
I thought you guys brought the fun with you at the Babylon Bee. It was like in your pocket.
yeah, we tried to. We tried to. Yeah.
I appreciated the colorblind post today about the electoral map.
What was
Colorblind man can't tell who's winning.
What was one? I think you guys had. Was it Babylon Bee predict that Kamala Harris will win unless she doesn't, then Trump will win? Was that one of them?
Yeah. We like to make fun of the pollsters. No one knows no one has any clue what's going on.
I think Mark Halperin basically said that. There was a video going around where he's like, I think Kamala Harris is going to win by a good margin. Unless she doesn't, then Trump wins. And I was like, what?
And my favorite was Nate Silver's like 80,000 simulations that he ran, and then he came up with like a 50-50 shot.
This is the best though. Nate Silver, and I'll give him respect for this. He wrote saying, I ran 80,000 simulations. It came up 50-50. It was statistically insignificant, but I know someone's going to write Nate Silver calls it for Kamala Harris, and then Newsweek literally did it. He was like, I can't. He's like, it's not even a coin toss. Coin tosses have more odds, have more of an edge than this because of the weight of the coin.
Yeah.
What do we think about the Notre Dame guy, right? Like the guy who has like keys?
Lichtman?
Yeah. How do we feel about that? Because that makes me nervous.
I think
Yeah, but he's
nuts.
predicted like all of them except for maybe one.
He changed all the details though.
Like this time?
Yes, he's made a lot. I don't know the specifics, but he has.
I did not like that.
Certain criteria have to be met, and apparently everybody that looks at his outlook this time, they're like, you've changed this, you've changed this, you've changed this.
Okay,
The
that makes
problem
That
is
doesn't seem very scientific. I follow the Trump and Kamala cookies.
I was about to say that. Isn't we checked in on the cookies?
The cookies have said predicted Trump. Cookies have predicted Trump, and Moodang has predicted Trump. So
Okay.
Yeah, I was on board with New Dang.
That's right, guys.
So we're back. That's it.
There was like an MSNBC, some liberal documentary about the cookies, and they so confidently said that the only year they were wrong was 2020. And they just didn't think anything of it. They're like, yeah, they predicted Trump, but that was the only year they ever messed up.
Because they didn't mess up. They didn't
Moodang
mess
was
up.
actually Moodang was a failed opportunity for Trump.
Can I see your draft?
This was like a month ago, and
Well, it came true.
Yeah, we should have published it. It would have been a failed prophecy.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, I can't believe you missed that one. Well, we all know that Peanut was assassinated. And I said, but no, hold on, hear me out. I said this at the beginning. I'm going to say it again now for anybody who missed it. Peanut the squirrel. Okay, so what's an assassination? How do you define assassination?
But did you hear the real
A prominent
story?
individual who was killed for political purposes.
Yes, I think that like a lot of people aren't following that story, but I really am following that story. So apparently
she's gonna ruin it now.
when they went into the house to like get the squirrel felt trapped and attacked them, and so they had to test them for rabies.
No, we already mentioned all this. We already mentioned all this. It's not true.
They just euthanized it for nothing.
They euthanized it because a guy had 2 million followers with a pet squirrel, and they don't want people to build social media profiles on exotic pets, which New York and like New York City bans ferrets, for instance. That's why I'm saying they don't want people to build social media profiles on exotic pets, which New York and like New York City bans ferrets, for instance. That's why I'm saying it's an assassination.
Well, I agree.
There's no reason to go into a guy's house and kill his raccoon and his squirrel. The idea that both a raccoon and a squirrel bit somebody is absurd. You have a handful of agents coming in, knowing what they're coming in for. You can easily contain house animals, even if they're not traditional domesticated pets. I think what happened was they said, look, this guy's got 2 million followers. He's making a lot of money, and there's going to be copycats. More people are going to confiscate the squirrel. He sues. He gets the squirrel back. You take the squirrel, claim it bit you. You can necropsy its brain. It's dead. He can never get it back. That's an assassination.
So you know how Australia has been known to be a little more authoritarian than we are, right, with the COVID lockdowns and things like that? Well, they're a lot more, right? But there was a similar thing that happened. There was a lady who had a magpie, and the magpie would come and play with all that. James makes me watch these animal things. So there was like this magpie. There's 100% devil attested to. So there was a magpie. Anyway, somebody called and complained about the magpie, and they came and they took it away, and everybody petitioned, and then they finally let the guy go get the license and do the thing, and then now he can have the magpie because he followed all these like simple steps. They didn't do that here.
Right.
They did this here. I really do for political reasons, but I don't know, man. If we're getting worse in Australia, I think that's a little bit of a
I absolutely think I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It was there was a cultural and political element to whether or not people can own exotic pets. It's a huge issue of contention. That's why women filed a complaint against him in the first place. The state said if you confiscate that squirrel, he's going to sue and get it back overnight.
Well, it's like what remember when the director of the EPA under Obama talked about how the way we regulate things is we do what the Romans did. We crucify someone outside of the town to make an example of them, and that makes our regulation easier. We don't have to go after all these little cases. We just make an example of one person.
On those big moments, the garbage truck, Peanut the squirrel, it was all over social media.
That's all.
It was everywhere. Trying to get it under control, and they couldn't control it because it was all over X.
They actually, and I didn't believe there were a lot of fake headlines and jokes that were going around, fake tweets. The media was explaining why is the right talking about a squirrel,
right.
But they were very light on it. They didn't say like you're far right. However, on social media, there absolutely were posts. I checked into this. I'm like, are they really going to walk into this trap? And there were liberals being like, why does anyone even care about a squirrel anyway? This is stupid. Squirrels are dumb. And I was like,
Did you see what Jennifer Rubin posted?
There's no way that's real.
Jennifer Rubin posted
there's no way that's
that MAGA squirrel deserved to die.
I saw that too. I didn't think that was really either.
Was it surprise though?
They were fighting in the comments though. Like there were definitely comments saying this was definitely a MAGA Karen, and then other people were like, no way, that's absolutely a Democrat. And like there were big threads like fighting back and forth whether it was like
we got an update for you guys. We got updates. North Carolina is now Trump ahead with 24% reporting. Trump has 52.8%, and Decision Desk has look at the curve right there.
Just freeze up there.
Let's just go. Let's go. So Ohio is still looking interesting.
Why is Ohio leaning blue? That's weird.
Well, it's just who's reporting. With 37% reporting, Trump has been closing the gap. So 50.3% for Kamala Harris to 49% for Donald Trump with only 37% in, and it just turned red right now. Trump has just jumped ahead to 51.1. Kamala Harris is 48.1. I'm willing to bet Decision Desk is going to change his chance of winning even higher now in just a moment. They're projecting 282 votes for Trump to win. The needle.
Let's go.
Currently has Harris's popular vote chance at 0.8. Her estimate is, and it's looking like look at this, man. PA is skewing Republican, Nevada Republican, North Carolina Republican, Arizona, Georgia. The only two states with a Harris edge are Wisconsin and Michigan. And I got to be honest, I ain't even confident for her in that regard. Michigan currently has 8% in, and that is just outside of Detroit, outside of Wayne County. So right now, hey, look, man. We all remember when Donald Trump was winning election night.
Democrats at all. So that could be.
Is it exit polling data?
0% in.
We got 13% in PA. And this is
that Trump's internal polling, they were also saying it was great news for Donald Trump. So they were looking at that, thinking it was going to.
I think there is some data. We mentioned this. Some of the data is mail-in voting that's already been counted.
Yeah.
So don't know for sure. The funny thing is going to be like, oh, we found a bunch of ballots that came in the mail. Those are being counted in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Michigan in particular is a disaster. I mean, there are several precincts in Detroit that don't even have Republican poll watchers. The DNC has spent hundreds of thousands on overseas votes in Michigan.
This is big. 63% are in Georgia, and Trump is up 51.9 to 47.5. That's what was it, 4.4? That's a big lead. He's up around just what is he, like 150K votes up. So that's good news. They adjusted downward a little bit. That surprised me to 71.1. But still looking good for Donald Trump.
I am so
depressed if he loses. We may as well be hopeful now.
Yeah, but the higher the high, the lower the low.
He was in the 90s in 2020. I remember at one point in the 90s.
Yeah, right.
Like, I like 1 a.m.
90% to win.
Yeah, like this was like late, like before midnight. Trump was 90% to win in the betting markets.
This is
what happened after.
But you talking about the betting markets? The Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And the betting lawsuits, no matter what happens, Democrats, Republicans, whoever wins, whoever doesn't win, they're going to sue the pants off everybody else. So if Trump wins handily, if he actually takes the popular vote and the Electoral College, then it probably is just thrown out, and we know it's done. No mail-in votes are going to change anything. But if it's close, because New York Times is still saying Kamala Harris has the edge for the popular vote, and that makes sense, then I think this goes to the Supreme Court. And there's a strong probability we end up seeing, with the Fifth Circuit Court's ruling that mail-in votes accepted after Election Day are illegal, the Supreme Court's going to say, you're correct. Any vote received after Election Day is gone, and that eliminates a massive amount of likely Kamala Harris votes.
But then one of the override states like New York, where it said on our actual voter instructions that your ballot can be postmarked by November 5th and received up until November. Wow.
No, what was the date?
November 12th.
That's insane.
I know, I made a whole video about it.
Election, we don't have election month.
November, Congress, a whole week after.
The Constitution says Congress shall choose how the election happens. It is codified. We have an election day. You can't count ballots after the fact, which they did in 2020, and the Fifth Circuit federal court already said that's illegal. Supreme Court, I imagine, will agree if they're not cowards and they actually take the case.
If they're not cowards, that's
exactly.
Yeah, if they're not cowards. However, if they do take the case and rule that way, there will definitely be not only unrest, but packing of the courts. That will intensify their incentive to pack the courts later on. We don't want that at all.
By the way, in California, the deadline for fixing your signature, I believe, is December 1st.
Fixing your signature?
Yeah, they send it back, and it's having an issue. I might be wrong about that, but I believe it's December 1st.
This is something that Ben was talking about the other night. The Supreme Court does try to stay out of these kind of arguments. These aren't things that you want your court to decide. You want the legislatures to figure it out. You want the legislatures to make a decision, because that's something that the legislature is something that people vote on. So if the Supreme Court can keep out of it, they're going to try to, regardless of whether they were appointed by Donald Trump or whether they were not appointed by Donald Trump. It is best if the Supreme Court doesn't make the call, because the Supreme Court's not voted on by the people. So that's just something that we genuinely should hope for as Americans, and that it doesn't go to the Supreme Court, and that if it does go to the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court kicks it back and says, no, we're not going to decide on this because it's not our job to do that. These things are decided by your state legislatures or by people that are elected, not by people that are appointed.
I just want to give a quick heads up. We're having, I would consider to be the minorest, or the most minor of internet issues, which I don't believe is on our end. I'm not sure. It could be the area, so who knows. But just giving a heads up just in case. Everything so far seems to be fairly good, but I'm just keeping an eye on things.
Ethan, can we look back in on the eastern blue states one, Pennsylvania and New Jersey? I just want to see what's reporting. Both. I want to see what the percentage reporting is.
13% reporting in PA, but it's still mostly it's Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, and Philadelphia. Okay. So those are huge, and some rural counties are starting to come in, but they're still...
All those rural counties will be good.
So not to make a whole show about the assassination of Peanut, but that was something I wanted to mention because I actually toured the border.
Cape May County now red, like I said.
What turned red?
Cape May County on the bottom.
Right, and Bergen flipped blue. That is a bummer with 37% reporting. We'll see.
I'm so proud of my people.
Yeah, well, hopefully they're going to vote for Trump. What about Peanut?
I toured the border recently, and animals are like the top 3 largest category exotic animals trafficked into this country. It's people, drugs, and animals. And this is just, I think, the highlight of this election, what a lot of people are frustrated with. Democrats will pass any rule. They'll say you can't have an exotic animal, but then they're doing nothing for the people who are already breaking the rules. We've had floods of illegal immigration in Manhattan, which couldn't be further from the border. And so I would be really disappointed in all the border states if they don't flood out red to protect their children, like the Uvalde bailout. That was a cause of illegal immigration because the students were so used to bailouts where the illegal immigrants just jump out of the car and run in 5 directions. They didn't know it was a real school shooter. So protect our kids. I'd be very disappointed.
So in about 5 minutes, I believe 5 minutes, right, guys? 5 minutes, I will be getting up and I will be joining the Daily Wire as we will both be streaming a combination of their show with me joining and making one big stream. So I'm just, we're all good back there, guys. Is audio coming in properly and all that stuff? Looking good? All right, we're 4 minutes out. Just want to make sure everybody knows because we're flying by the seat of our pants. And, excuse me. You know, with Crowder,
you guys have done it
where
before.
he jumped in too early. Not him, but the audio kicked on our end. And then, what's our time frame for Lotus Eaters? It's midnight, right? Midnight Central. Eastern? Central? So, Central. So 1 a.m. Eastern, we'll be live with the Lotus Eaters because we don't get to sleep. You guys do. And then hopefully you don't wake up to bad news and hope, you know, just here's hoping. But so far, everything's looking pretty good. Trump's chances ticked down a little bit to 70.2. We'll see. It's starting
still
to
way above 50.
Are we able to compare this time to like 2020 to see where it was at in 2020?
I don't want to.
No, don't look back. Just keep looking
I would
forward.
love context on this to see what they were saying.
Let's never repeat. Let's wipe that data out from the internet.
People are saying the New York Times actually has that data. So how do we find that data? Someone said check the 2020 New York Times map.
Yeah, I think it's a good comparison.
How do we find that?
I think you have to self-harm before you can actually find that link. You have to do something.
No surprises, more polls, no idea. How we check the previous data. No idea. Okay. We have the needle, which is slightly, it's still in toss-up territory, but Kamala Harris is 0.8 for the popular vote estimate. Trump is still leading. It's going back and forth. This is actually something interesting. Kamala Harris has lost her Michigan edge.
Wow.
She now only has Wisconsin. Still a toss-up, but Michigan is dead even. PA, Nevada, North Carolina, Arizona, Georgia, all leaning Republican. Big news.
Michigan goes for
Trump's
Jill Stein.
chance of winning has just dropped down to 67.7. They're doing this on purpose for the entertainment value, I swear.
I want everybody to give me a number. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you feeling? Like, that's what I want to be. Tim, what are you feeling? Give me a
I don't know. Ohio is red right now with 45% in. Trump is up about, what is that, 4.4 points. 4.4 points. What a way to say it. But that is the number, 4.4.
Scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah. Give me a scale of 1 to 10. How are you feeling? Like, overall, your confidence level? 6?
Yeah, I would give it a 6.77.
That's very
precise. Yeah, I'm 3.23. I'm hopeful.
Oof. I'll give it a 5.1.
Oh, double decimal places. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You know me. No, we're not doing that.
I'm going to go 7.2. You know, I do feel good about it. I think that there's going to be some shenanigans, but I think we're going to pull through.
Too big to rig.
I feel good about it. I feel really good about it.
Polymarket is absolutely wild.
The thing that I'm actually most concerned about was the propaganda that you were talking about earlier, which, I mean, the last 7 days, there's been massive hoaxes, one after the other, and people regurgitate these things. I want to talk about me on the street all the time, but I hear it all the time, and it is rampant. I mean, they don't talk about any policies. They don't talk about anything they like about Kamala Harris. They only talk about the hoaxes, and that's basically it.
Donald Trump is a Nazi. It's Donald Trump. They spent a week talking about how the Madison Square Garden was
rally.
just like the Nazi rally. Never mind the fact that Bill Clinton was there. Never mind the fact that I believe it was Carter was there. Never mind all that stuff. Donald Trump was there, so it's Nazis. Yeah. And they spent time talking about the comedian was insulting Puerto Ricans or Puerto Rico because he made a joke about
they have a trash problem, a garbage problem,
because they have a landfill problem there. And so he made a joke about it. So he's insulting Liz Cheney. There was all he's talking about assassinating Liz Cheney. It's the same thing as the bloodbath hoax. It's the same thing as the Very Fine People hoax. It is never, ever.
We're about to. They're coming in? Maybe? We don't know. No, they're not coming in. Keep going.
It's never.
I got people looking at me and they're going like, and they're pointing. And
wait, are they coming in here? Or are you going to them?
They're going to come in and I'm going to go join them, and then you guys you won't exist anymore because object permanence isn't a thing. And
no, it's fine. I just want to know where you're physically moving.
Phil, I'm still interested in what you're saying.
The point is, it's never like the Democrats have totally stopped trying to argue on policy. They didn't do it in 2016. They didn't do it in 2020, and they're not doing it now. Because the Democrats' policies are bad. They produce negative results. They don't produce results that the American people want. So what they do is they have to scare the American people.
They produce death and destruction.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, the scary thing is that for 45% of the country, that approach works.
Right.
They just
but this is the benefit of being able to lie with impunity. Like, I'm over here as a conservative commentator, street interviewer, and I'm getting my memes fact-checked on Instagram, right? Where they're able to say all of this stuff. Kamala HQ is probably the most.
And they have an entire apparatus.
And
they do. So they have an apparatus, and it's something that Mike Benz was talking about. It's not just the media. It's also the State Department. Totally. It's the government itself. So you've got the State Department feeding BS
to
the American people. You've got the entire Democrat establishment feeding BS to DNC. You've got the media that desire nothing more than access to these people that are feeding the same narrative. And so the American people that don't spend any time looking into these hoaxes, they think, why would the government doesn't take sides?
Not only that, they infiltrated every social media. They infiltrated Reddit. They infiltrated community notes. They infiltrated all of it.
Raising Madby's BMI and racist.
So the idea that this is a fair election.
We're going to go. We are jumping over. Share the show with everyone you know right now. We're going to be joining the Daily Wire live.
All right. So
here we go.
Is those of you who love God must. It's a commandment.
I heard Dennis in my headphones. Wow, it sounds so different now.
If you don't be evil, you don't love God. So for a pastor or a rabbi, it's irrelevant, or a pope, to say that Jesus doesn't take sides, if he doesn't take sides on whether you cut girls' breasts off if they say they're boys, that's frightening.
Are you gonna get them mic'd up?
I do. I speak to Christians more than to Jews.
I will say that there is an aspect of Jesus, which is, you hate to use modern political vernacular to talk about ancient religious figures, but there is a liberal aspect to Jesus in the sense that Dr. Jordan Peterson often says that the purpose of the liberal in a healthy society is to speak for the underrepresented. It's to speak for anyone who, because in any sort of hierarchy of any kind, there are going to be people who get disenfranchised, there are going to be people who the system looks over, and someone has to remind those of us who are in power, those of us who are ascendant, to remember those people and to care for them. But that's about where the comparison can stop. Religion is fundamentally a conservative exercise because it posits that the greatest wisdom that's ever been presented in human history is behind us.
And right, there's also a transcendent, eternal moral order and nature. Right. It's hard to square that with the liberal project, which is in itself largely a rejection of religion. I mean, you think of the French Revolution is where we get the terms left and right. And what does that come from? That comes from the National Assembly, where the Catholics sat on the right and the atheists sat on the left. And that was pretty much the breakdown.
Speaking of the French Revolution, our friend Tim Pool is joining us now. And not a moment too soon, because the polls are closing in a number of states just in the last few minutes, all throughout the central part of the country, including Texas, my home state, which you'll be shocked to learn is being universally called for.
I think I actually took fall damage
going into the election, there are all kinds of things that people were, maybe New York will go for Trump, and maybe Texas will go for Harris. All that is wish casting. We still live in a world where gravity works.
Yeah, here's some quick calls. Trump wins Wyoming, Trump wins Kansas, Trump wins North Dakota, Trump wins South Dakota, Trump wins Nebraska, Trump wins Louisiana, and Kamala wins New York. So Donald Trump's big dream of winning New York, well, that one went down in flames because that's a really stupid idea.
Hey, Kamala Harris,
Texas, and
Kamala Harris did campaign in Texas.
Did that just came in right now?
Yeah.
As you were walking over.
Right. Well, how are you guys feeling? We've been tracking the decision desk forecast, giving Trump about 70% chance to win. And it's going down a little bit, but staying about 2-1. So what do we think?
I don't know, man. What do you think?
The whole time, the scariest thing is the quote-unquote shadow campaign. Right? Time Magazine writes that article. 2020 had a shadow campaign. We go to bed. Trump's ahead in all the numbers, and then we wake up and he's not winning. Based on what I've seen on the ground, I went to Philadelphia, and there were Trump signs in downtown Philadelphia and the surrounding residential areas. That to me was crazy to see an urban center that was Republican, or that people were unafraid. And so my gut just says Trump's got the edge, whatever that means. But I don't know the Republicans have the procedural capabilities that Democrats have. I think, Ben, you were saying they're way more professional. That is worrying to me.
Yeah, so there was some Gallup data that suggested that a much higher percentage of Democrats had heard directly from the Kamala campaign than Republicans had heard from the Trump campaign. The Democrats are granular on this sort of stuff. They don't have ballot harvest. They will knock on doors. They'll do whatever it takes to get their people out. Republicans, it always feels like, okay, guys, please just go. And the more we just shout vote at people, that somebody out there will open a window, you'll shout vote, and some person in Pennsylvania will hear you, and then immediately run to the polls. With that said, I mean, the enthusiasm that Trump, does enable in the voting population on both sides, but largely on the right, is unprecedented, obviously, in American history. And you are seeing that. If you had to game it out right now, Trump is a slight favorite. I think everyone sort of acknowledges the point that Trump is a slight favorite, but it's a very slight favorite. So, like the Needles, the New York Times, the first Needle. Yeah, so they right now have it leaning right between it's a toss-up and lean Trump. Like they have it very slightly favoring President Trump. He's very slightly favored to win Pennsylvania. He's slightly favored still to win Nevada and North Carolina, according to the New York Times. Right? So I'm not citing a left-wing source right there. And of course, it seems as though we're having a better time tonight than the people on MSNBC are. From what I'm hearing from I'm getting a lot of.
That was part of the reason my joy. you know, the whole night I watched the left-wing media.
We're gonna live stream MSNBC. If this goes the wrong way, we're just gonna put a live camera outside Kamala's headquarters, and we're just gonna watch people scream tonight. It's gonna be just wonderful.
There will be joy.
There will be joy. You guys all know the term Schadenfreude, joy and others' misery. So I don't generally have that, but that night 8 years ago.
If they do it tonight, it's like the purge, right? All moral rules are off. Yeah.
I have been very honest with myself for the past several days. I have relatives and friends who are big libs. I'm from New York. I lived in LA. A lot of Democrat friends, and I won't bring it up with them. And it won't come up at Thanksgiving.
Right, exactly.
However, I have two buddies who are New York Democrats, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I am salivating at the prospect of rubbing it in their faces so hard. So they're the only two. I think it's otherwise we have to have a politics of grace and everything. But there will be some Schadenfreude. I think it might be unavoidable.
Well, as a warning to others, we must engage in Schadenfreude. Do not repeat this exercise again. It's like punishing your child. You don't want to do it. You really don't want to do it, but it has to be done.
It hurts you.
It hurts you more than it hurts.
That's right.
Exactly.
This is why I really hope that Trump wins the popular vote. If Trump wins the Electoral College and loses the popular vote, I know I'm going to go to Thanksgiving, and they're going to say, you guys only win because of some archaic procedure. We are the popular man.
A procedure called the Constitution. You guys only win because of your government.
I want Trump to win the popular vote so I can just say you're wrong about everything and we're right about everything.
So do you know? So this is a fascinating question. I love this sort of thing because I always ask people about their own personal lives. I'm fascinated. The only human being I know, and you must understand how many I've asked, including people I meet, which is a lot, on the radio, just people calling in. Literally the only person I know, all of whose relatives are conservative, is my wife.
Wow. Really?
Yes.
Lucky her.
She's going to live till 117. She has no misery.
At that point, though, what's the point of going to Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
You can't.
That's right, yeah.
At least turkey's good.
I feel like Biden's having a bad election.
Oh, yeah.
Is this true that Joe Biden was wearing red?
So Joe was. When Joe voted. For sure, 100% Joe voted for Trump.
Gotta be, right?
She despises Kamala Harris.
At the very least, they wrote in Joe Biden. There is no way that.
I heard she wrote in Joe, and she wore red.
Yeah, that makes
that's
sense.
amazing.
Yeah. So
She wore red. That matters.
Right.
Is that a new thing?
Well,
he's wearing the Republican colors,
yeah,
right?
Like,
Yeah, no, I didn't know about that.
remarkable. It's like a nudge, you know.
But doesn't Donald Trump often wear a blue tie? I mean,
No, he's got the red tie. The
he
yellow
always
tie.
has a red tie, really?
Occasionally the blue. You know, something people forget about election night history. It was, it was always up in the air. Sometimes, you know, when Reagan won, it was blue was Republican and red was Democrat.
Which is the way it ought to be.
Yes, they're the Reds. They're the Reds. But it was the 2000 election. I think it was Tim Russert in particular. That was really when it started to solidify as red for Republican, blue for Dem. And I totally agree with you, Dennis. They are actually reds, so it fits them. And red is an unattractive color. Oh, I'm wearing a red shirt jacket. But I mean that bright red, it's like a stop sign or something. Burgundy. This is burgundy. This is more like a plum. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
In Ohio, it looks like Bernie Moreno is going to cruise to victory over Sherrod Brown.
Let's
go. That was a close race.
Let's go.
Sherrod Brown is going to be ousted.
All right, baby.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, that takes Republicans to 52 in the Senate.
Wow.
Which is a more durable majority, obviously.
West Virginia was fairly obvious. But when they called it, I'm like, I live there.
Right.
Shane on our show was like, there's no cities in West Virginia. You've got nothing to worry about.
No, that's a great line.
Yeah. So we're being joined right now from Harris HQ in D.C. by our very own Spencer Lindquist. Spencer, how are things shaping up over there?
Apparently they have audio problems.
Have you been able to talk to any attendees inside the party?
So they can hear them, but apparently can't hear on Timcast. Man, shit's so expensive.
I don't mind that they're jittery. What do you think is the most likely victory map if she does end up winning tonight?
Nope, I can probably skip this part then.
A good exit poll alert, this one from NBC News, suggesting that Donald Trump may win up to 45% of the Latino vote.
Oh, wow.
That is a big number. That is a very, very big number.
Mostly Puerto Ricans.
Yeah.
What did Bush get in 04? He got a huge number.
I think he had about 45%.
Somewhere around there, okay. That was the biggest ever, right? Yeah.
Yes. Wow. But it's a major realignment. I mean, the Democrats, for a couple of reasons, have totally misread the Hispanic population in the United States. I mean, they misread them on policy because they think that they're just a bunch of left-wing San Francisco liberals so long as you keep the border open. But they also, I think, made a huge mistake in 2020, misreading the Hispanic population by using this dumbass notion of BIPOC, right? This idea that like every member of minority was the same as every other member of minority. So Asians were the same as black people, the same as Hispanic people. First of all, Hispanic people ain't even the same as Hispanic people, right? Cuba is not the same as Argentina, which is not the same as Venezuela. These are all different countries with completely different histories, and they think different ways. And the attempt to lump everybody, and then I think in 2020 when they were like, listen, if you're Latino, you must believe that Black Lives Matter is the most important thing in the world. You start to see the shift then. I think you saw a lot of Hispanics go, no. The answer is no. That's not the same thing.
I think Latinx was probably offensive to a lot of Hispanics as well. I mean, what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, we do know, though, actually, that the Democrats are aware at some level that Hispanics are not all the same, because Obama, as he was opening up immigration from everywhere in Latin America,
want chips, but I don't want to be spending $5 a bag.
Those Cubans, you're going back, but everyone else, Venezuelans, please come over.
Meanwhile, another NBC News exit poll in Wisconsin,
I mean, I can redeem some points,
suggesting that Trump has doubled his black support in Wisconsin.
Wow.
Trump is polling apparently about 20% of the black vote versus 78% for
then
Kamala
I have
Harris.
to go pick
4
it
years ago,
up.
he won 8% of black voters in Wisconsin. I mean, you're looking at identity realignment happening in real time in this election cycle. It's amazing. And so the final identity the Democrats are just banging on is white ladies, white single ladies. That is really, honest to God.
Well, black ladies too.
We call them single ladies. We should say single ladies are the constituency of the Democratic Party, which is why Kamala Harris has campaigned so hard to get those people out to vote and campaign almost solely on abortion, because she's dropping support like flies with Hispanic men, with black men,
people with capacity for reason.
I mean, also, and it actually is not distributed evenly. Like among single women, it's not as though everybody of every race who's single. I think that it really depends on how likely you are to get married as a single woman, as a member of those populations. Right? If like this is a question that we were talking about with Jordan. Was married women obviously vote very much like their husbands? Is that because they're being forcibly abused by their husband, or is it because the types of women who tend to get married tend to be the types of women who vote like their husbands?
And people also marry people like themselves.
Well, but marriage also changes people. I think that's an important part of it.
And children,
and children change people. But it's also increasingly a self-selected group, meaning the kinds of people who want to get married are also the kinds of people who are going to tend to vote Republican a little bit. By the way, Kelly Ayotte is now your governor of New Hampshire. She's a Republican, so Trump doesn't win the state, but Ayotte is the governor of.
That's the first Republican governor they've had.
Like 5 years ago.
No. Oh, yes. Okay, I'm sorry.
I do want to say the worst thing that I saw.
The New York Times needle has now shifted over to leaning to Trump.
It's not leaning Trump.
66 to 34.
Wait. What's 66-34?
66% likelihood, according to the New York Times.
Why do you keep saying it's? No, you kept saying. He said it's just slightly. I don't understand. That's not.
They're saying leaning Trump, but they're saying the likelihood, given that lean. So it went from toss-up into the lean category. This is all this like stupid needle.
Why is 66 lean? That's all I'm asking. 66 is not lean.
That's 2-1.
They're saying it's not. They're not saying Trump is going to win. 66.
No. They're saying there's a 66% chance he'll win.
Yes,
but that's not lean.
No, I mean,
I don't know why that's. I guess is 54-46.
Dennis, the same needle once said that.
Juxtaposed that.
Because you do think the last time we talked about this needle, it was to watch it just go like, in 16.
I don't want to move too far from this conversation about the gender gap in the electorate without talking about the hands down, bar none, worst political ad of my lifetime, put out by a PAC supporting Kamala Harris that encouraged women to lie to their husbands I think divorce is a grave evil, something we could argue about one of these days. I might divorce my wife if I found out that she lied to me. I would not divorce my wife for voting for someone with whom I deeply disagree. I mean, that would be a challenge. You'd have to, because you in a marriage need to have a common set of values and a common mission. But to find out that your spouse just lies to you about who they vote for.
Did you see the Whisper campaign that the Washington Post was reporting on? They said after that ad went out, women were putting Post-it notes in bathroom stalls saying, your husband won't know, your boyfriend won't know, your vote is a secret. I kind of feel like if I went to the bathroom and I saw Post-it on the wall, I would not consider what it was telling me.
What's wrong with you?
You know, that's what women were doing, and if it worked for them, I guess.
This is a reminder that I agree with you. That ad drove me so bonkers.
So vile.
But it's so perfectly exemplary of the Democrat Party because, you know, the fundamental political unit is the family. It's not the individual, right? The political unit means it's the family. And the Democrats have been so relentless in their assaults on the family, taking your kids away from you, promoting divorce, discouraging marriage, promoting abortion, all down the line, all the way up to, hey, folks, our best argument for victory is you divide up your marriage, right. And that will divide up the country, and we win.
You know, the New York Times, if you follow the New York Times, they run at least 3 articles a week suggesting various kinds of sex that will probably destroy or enslave you, unless you're married. If you're married, they keep saying, you know, you don't have to have sex when you're married. They literally have these articles.
Well,
you might want to consider it a throuple. Yeah.
If you're childless and alone, maybe a decent evolutionary strategy is to break up other people's marriages. I'm dead serious about that. Like they will end up in a couple. Like there's no holds barred. And it certainly is a useful strategy if you're not in a couple situation. And you might say, well, that's counterproductive in the long run. It's like, well, maybe you're not concerned about the long run if you're that desperate. Because desperate people tend not to be concerned with the long run. We do have this terrible mystery that conservatives haven't unlocked, which is the absolutely aberrant pattern of attitudes and voting patterns that characterize single women between the ages of 18 and 34. It's like there's a big problem there, and it's a real mystery. It can't just be passed over because what they're doing is radically different than what everyone else is doing, and it's enough to consistently swing the election.
And we were talking about this last night on your show, this idea that, you know, people like Chelsea Handler and others keep talking about how, you know, they do drugs and have sex with themselves all day, and they're so genuinely happy. And my argument was that they actually are happy. I don't think that they're lying. I think that they don't know that there's an entire realm of human emotion that happens in marriage, and then when you have children, that they're not even aware of.
They live a trivial emotion. And the fact that we're obsessed with happiness, even on the psychological side, is an indication of how trivial our culture is. I mean, one of the things that you see quite consistently in psychological research is that couples without children are happier than couples with children. It's like, well, you shouldn't have children. It's like, no, you shouldn't use happiness measurements as your index of outcome. Of course you're less happy because like your 3-year-old is fragile, and if you have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, it's like, well, you're juggling catastrophes all the time. Well, seriously, you don't have time to be happy. It's like, but happiness is a fleeting hedonic emotion, and it's not an indicator of participation in a process that's going to stabilize your life and the life of your family across the decades.
Enrich your life.
It's the permanent adolescence.
Yeah, that's right.
Of the coming generations. I look at wolves and I look at dogs and the story of how dogs came to be domesticated. They say that dogs are effectively just permanent adolescent wolves. I see that's what's happening to humanity right now with the current trend, telling people not to grow up, play video games, stay home, stay single, live in your...
It's a bio break. I've got to take. Gotta be, nothing's a fuzzy. Nature's call can't go unanswered. There is no voicemail to take. If back doesn't go, it's a bio break. I've got to take. Maybe it's food to get in the mood.
Sure your measurements are
we also need to establish. We have to establish the definition of happiness. Right. Just like these guys are talking about happiness as though, in the way we talk about it in modern times, which is some fleeting little emotion or you get tickled or something. But you know, happiness we used to understand as rational activity done with excellence in accordance with virtues. Exactly. Aristotle wrote a very good book about this. And so we used to believe that actually there was an end to mankind. There was like a purpose for man. There was a purpose for marriage. We could know things by their purpose. That ground has totally shaken underneath us. So when we disagree over what makes us happy, unfortunately the problem is even more fundamental. We don't even agree on what happiness is.
Maybe this is actually why I always say this in a way that you. Because we talk about this from time to time, and you guys disagree with me, but you know, for example, 2023 was the hardest year of my life. I mean, it was genuinely traumatizingly hard, and I still would have told you I was miserable, but I was also happy. Right. I was certainly not at my best, but I still would have considered myself a happy person even in my misery. And I think that it may be that I'm just defining happiness differently. I don't think of happiness as
we are coming back, everybody. That was a lot of fun, and we may do another jump over. At some point, but let's get back into it. What were you guys doing? Were you guys?
We were just talking smash about you the entire time. We were making fun of you. I was wearing a beanie.
Gonna knock you down a few pegs. Ego too big, hanging out with Jordan Peterson.
He's like, man, Tim.
Oh, really? It's tough because it's their show, and I'm also sitting there, and Jeremy is trying to because they're like, okay, I guess you're ready to go, and Jeremy's like, no, wait, like we need more from Tim. But we might jump back over later. But we do. Let's grab the data while we're here. And Wisconsin is currently skewing Donald Trump with only 6%. And let's give us a refresh. And look at that, Georgia 69% in, and Trump is up Wow, Trump is up 6 points.
Wow. In Georgia, that's not bad. In Florida, I think he won by about 14 points. That's what it looks like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just looks like
just destroyed.
Around 13 something.
And Nate Silver was shocked at the idea that he can win it by 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that. I don't want to besmirch
all of the numbers have shrunk compared to what Joe Biden won by. Like, if I understand correctly, like all the stuff that Kamala Harris is actually winning, the margin, none of the margins are larger. They're all, smaller from slightly smaller to significant.
Ted Cruz wins. Was that just called in Texas?
Hey.
Ted Cruz, it looks like... Let me see if I can get the official... So New York Times Needle officially has it for Trump right now. It is officially crossed the threshold into lean Donald Trump. Keep going! Harris at 0.4. Are we stupid in thinking that Harris can win this?
No.
No, because you would have been stupid to think that Joe Biden could win it as well. I mean, the man was a walking corpse. We knew it all the way back then. He was not a great candidate.
The conditions are different this time because of the fact that we don't have COVID, and the ballot harvesting situation is different, and the mail-in ballots is different. People are able to go. But that's not to say that Kamala Harris couldn't take it. That's not to say that Donald Trump is definitely going to take it. So,
guys, they called Virginia, but Trump's ahead, but they haven't finished tallying
yet. He is ahead, and he's up by 0.4. But look at who's reporting in Virginia. These are rural counties that have yet to report, and with 58% reporting, I suppose, what are they saying? They're saying that the urban areas have not, and I think that's fair. Richmond's going to be massive, and it looks like Hampton City is 4%, and Trump is leading right now, but I think what they're saying is that the rural areas have all largely reported, so he's not going to be able to make up the difference, so they're calling Virginia. Because a lot of people keep saying he's winning in Virginia, but...
Well, he was ahead for a little bit, but they'd only counted a small fraction of the vote. The reality is if he were to win, exactly, he's barely ahead. If he were to win Virginia, it would be an early night. That would be fantastic. That's like the best case scenario, but listen, no one really expected that.
At this point in the night in 2016, the needle was shifting from 99% Hillary Clinton towards toss-up to Trump. As of right now, it's moving towards Trump. Harris's popular vote estimate has diminished to 0.4, and Heat, Michigan is Republican, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, all leaning Republican.
That's total terror.
It's 2020, right? Right now, in all the swing states, Harris has no probabilistic edge, and they are giving the Republicans 54% to win Pennsylvania.
Absolutely, and Pennsylvania is where the election will most likely come down to. And we can obviously talk about the perceived mistakes that we think Kamala Harris has made in Pennsylvania. I'm wondering, what do you think President Joe Biden is thinking tonight as he's seeing Kamala Harris struggle against Donald Trump? I think he's pissed off. I think he's like, wow, I got backstabbed for this. Like, I gave it all up for the ideal of what you being able to beat Trump, and you're going to lose to Trump. You're about to be the second woman to lose to Donald Trump. So it's a very exciting time here with
that's speaking way too early.
78.1% on Polymarket for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So here, look, I'll just say this. Everybody feel as good as you can right now.
Yeah.
Because when we go to bed 3 a.m.
No, that's also what I'm saying.
We're going to get a good night's sleep.
In 20...
Even talking like he's going to win or something, it's way too early for that to be in a position or to start thinking, oh, we got this in the bag, or it's going to be, or tomorrow we're going to. None of that is even close to reality. It is way too early.
There's a different energy towards Trump this time around, but it's still the machine. I just don't. I do not.
I am
so. We've got to. I mean, look. Right now, it's looking good. In Ohio, it's looking like Bernie Moreno is beating Sherrod Brown by 3. He is by 3 points. And that's 58% reporting, and I mean, this would be 52 in the Senate, I believe, right?
I'd love to see it.
Absolutely. Guys, I also wanted to introduce somebody that we have on today. It's Rebecca Rouse. She is a fitness influencer. She's a weightlifter as well. Rebecca, do you want to say hello and introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here with all of you. Like you said, my name is Rebecca Rouse. I am a competitive weightlifter. I have my own business. I have a nonprofit. Do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But my brother works for Daily Wire, which is why I'm here, and I got to be part of the influencer party. So
cool.
Are you weightlifting for biological men in the sport? But as somebody who's in the space, can you talk to a little bit of if that's an issue and how big of an issue it is in the weightlifting scene?
Fortunately, I personally have not had any experiences.
Ohio was called for Trump.
Oh, wow.
Ohio has needed, but that's still great. So Wisconsin, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Wisconsin now
is more important.
Leaning Trump, and Wisconsin just flipped.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
So you haven't personally competed against any biological men, but do you see them in the space, and does it impact any of your peers? Do you know anybody who's had to struggle through that?
I personally don't. I think they're out there. It exists. It's definitely in the athletic world. Obviously, Riley Gaines has been a huge voice in that space.
This
but
is
personally, I have
where
not competed against any men, but they did have a memo go out after. It was around the time of the Olympics. That was basically laying out the rules and criteria for transgender athletes, and they were saying that they will allow it. I believe you have to have 2 years on hormone therapy so that they're quote unquote reducing the competitive edge that would exist from being prior male. I still think it's ridiculous.
Still ridiculous.
What do the other girls in the weightlifting scene think? Is there consensus that this is right or wrong among the weightlifters?
I think if you ask most women, they would think that it's wrong, and most women
want. Has 87 million votes.
Wow.
87 million votes.
Oh my God. I think is that more than he got in the last election?
Biden won with 80 million.
This is the record for most votes ever, isn't it? Biden at 84. Is this correct? Trump is sitting at 87 million votes.
Is this a projection or something? Yeah, that's...
No, this is the actual hard numbers. Wow. It's looking like Donald Trump currently has the record for most votes yet. And if Kamala Harris somehow beats that,
yeah, that's nuts.
So,
well, she can't.
Her enthusiasm was low based on what we were seeing from the CNN polls earlier.
Colorado has been
Kamala can't.
Called for Harris. Illinois has been called for Harris. Obvious.
Shocking.
Because there's only there's 350 million Americans. But I think there's only like 100.
So Biden got 81 million.
183,000 votes. Donald Trump got 74 million.
That are of legal age to vote, isn't it?
Colorato's at 3 a.m. Right? It's still 9:35.
That are legal to vote.
He hasn't even started counting. think.
Listen, I agree with you. I agree with you. Don't get too excited.
88.1 million. Is this correct? This is crazy.
88.1, yeah.
Listen, dude, I hope it holds. I really hope it holds.
So the way
Well, if those are actual votes that they've already counted, they're not going anywhere.
No, I understand that. I mean his electoral lead.
Yeah, but I mean, what is Harris going to get 100 million votes?
No.
From California,
What I'm saying, but the thing is, so here's the thing: if Philadelphia swings, and then he can't pick up Michigan or Wisconsin.
What if Trump wins the popular vote and loses the electoral college?
That's completely possible.
We'll start have to argue against the electoral.
Then I am all of a sudden in favor of Michigan.
It's interesting because the scenario for Trump winning is he needs to win Georgia, which it looks like he's winning, North Carolina, and then I think either Pennsylvania or Michigan and Wisconsin.
Okay,
and so the path for Kamala Harris is Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. They're looking like they're
Trump won North Carolina.
Amazing, beautiful. Yeah, that's very good. He needs it.
He needed it.
So the problem
A
is,
key swing state just went to Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just make sure we stress that. Georgia is now, I believe it's 81% favored. It is at 81% favored to go to Donald Trump. They haven't yet called it, but with North Carolina going to Donald Trump, that was a much required victory.
Georgia right now is 74% in with Donald Trump leading by
6 points.
5.8. The thing is, and for people who Kamala can't win, but if he loses Pennsylvania, right, it's not necessarily a guaranteed victory for her. He could still pick up Michigan and Wisconsin, but if he wins Pennsylvania, that's huge.
Does he need both Michigan and Wisconsin?
If he loses Pennsylvania,
if he loses Pennsylvania, yeah. Or unless he flips California.
So obviously, it seems like it really is going to come down to Pennsylvania. I think this is a good time to mention that she actually was having an inkling towards picking the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, who's incredibly popular in the state, but decided not to. What do you guys make of that decision, and do you think it would have any impact, or am I just recklessly speculating here?
Listen, I think it was a brilliant decision. Coach Walz really speaks to me as a man, and I know every guy I know sees Tim Walz and they go, what a really cool, manly guy. I want to vote for the ticket that he's on.
He can run a mean pick six, I hear.
Yeah, that's exactly right. What else did he say? The final quarter?
He said AOC can run a mean pick six, and everyone started going after him over that.
He said he had a weapon of war in a war, and it turns out he was in Italy.
I think he did it in China, too.
What's he doing walking around Italy with a gun for?
Well, we did a cartoon about that where a journalist calls him out on that, and then it cuts them having PTSD flashbacks of Italy where he's like shooting his gun, and they're like, stop it, you can't do that.
Trump's currently got 88.6 million votes.
That's actually insane.
This is nuts. Harris is 7.3.
Wow.
They're projecting 278 for Trump as of right now. Could you imagine Trump getting 88.6 million votes? If it stopped right now and still losing, it would be nuts. But if they stop the count right now, Harris has PA, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Obviously, the presidential election is the big fish to fry, but there's still a lot on the line with Congress considering how close it is. The path to conquering the House for Republicans, I believe, is through New York, where there's a handful of swing districts on Long Island and right above Manhattan in New York, where if they do swing to the right, Donald Trump will be able to have a majority in the House. The thing is, if the Democrats get a majority in the House, they are almost definitely going to impeach Donald Trump right out of the gate.
So right now, I got 270 to win pulled up. Nevada doesn't matter. If Kamala Harris holds the expected deep blue states, Trump takes the expected red states, but Harris takes Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, she wins 270. There's a possibility, although I don't necessarily think so. I think New York Times is giving the edge on Wisconsin to Republicans as of right now. So Democrats have no edge anymore at all. Republicans have the edge probabilistically in every swing state. But if reality, considering what they're tracking with Michigan and Wisconsin over the New York Times, I don't know why Decision Desk lowered Trump's chance of winning just now, considering these are the states that matter.
It's possible because the information from Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania is showing that she is further ahead then she would have to be
if
Trump to have a 70% chance.
If Trump wins Nevada, but if Trump takes back Michigan, takes Nevada, and loses PA, he still wins.
Oh, fair.
In fact,
no, you're right.
Screw
Nevada. He doesn't need Wisconsin.
Nevada, sorry. If she wins Nevada, as long as Trump gets Michigan, he still wins. If he takes Wisconsin and Kamala takes Michigan, Trump still wins.
Oh, he got the blue sky now.
One blue wall state. One. That's it.
Yeah, it's crazy how significant Michigan and Pennsylvania are, and it's really been crazy to see how the uncommitted vote in Michigan, these are predominantly Arabs and Muslims frustrated with Kamala Harris's pro-Israel stance, saying that they won't support her. You know, if this comes down to tens of thousands of votes in Michigan or Pennsylvania, which has a large Jewish population, which has been Democratic, and could potentially flip because they're distressed to see how Kamala Harris has also been handling this.
88 million votes.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it a projection?
No, they added an extra 10 million, or an order of magnitude to Florida. So shout out to Spoonplank saying Florida numbers are wrong on Decision Desk. Population of Florida is 22 million. Yeah, they put 100 million people in Florida. Decision Desk, what are you doing? I'm taking you down.
Even saying that I don't think it's included in the thing because the Decision Desk says that it's 114 million in Florida. That would mean that Trump only says 89 million.
And look, anybody using Decision Desk right now, your data is all wrong. It's all wrong. The numbers are way off. I mean, it sounded crazy, and that's why we were so shocked that it made no sense. It's 6 million to 4 million. Decision Desk gave Florida an order of magnitude population.
Yeah.
So
and also I think that the numbers they're throwing up for Harris likely aren't true either, just given where the count is at. But did you guys? This is funny. So we were talking about this, the race coming down to Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania potentially. The Daily Wire broke the story that Kamala is running pro-Israel ads in Pennsylvania and pro-Palestine ads in Michigan, which is super funny. Just like two different positions in two different states.
That's how she's been running.
Well, and it's it's one thing to stay silent about an issue or not run on a specific issue in a state if you think it's not popular, but to take two opposing positions. I don't know.
Seamus, what do you make of the uncommitted movement in Michigan that is saying, although we would traditionally be Democrats, because we are so principled when it comes to Israel-Palestine, that we cannot support her because of this?
I mean, it's an interesting question. One thing that the Democrats have always relied on is being able to import immigrants who they believe are going to vote for them as long as they give them welfare benefits. And I think that they're starting to learn, especially when we're discussing the issue of Israel and Palestine, they're not going to side with establishment Democrats because they're not going to side with Israel. And so when you look at Muslim voters in general, one of the interesting things is even though like migrants, and especially migrants who tend to be welfare recipients, are going to vote Democrat, and even though I am in no way, shape, or form like celebrating the growing influence of Islam in America or anywhere else, the reality is these are not liberal people, right? Like they're in the long run not going to end up voting in Democratic interests unless they can find a way to keep those interests in line with identity politics. And on the Israel-Palestine issue, they just can't.
So I just want to shout out Decision Desk once again for claiming that Donald Trump and Jill Stein have tied in Lawrence County in South Carolina. I'm sorry, dude. Decision Desk, you dropped the ball big on this one.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I thought they were going to be good. We got all excited seeing that Trump had 87 million votes. It didn't seem to make sense.
You ruined my evening.
Yep. My disappointment. What is it?
My disappointment is immeasurable. My day is ruined. Yes.
My day is ruined.
My election night is ruined.
So bye-bye Decision Desk. We're not going to be paying any attention. So right now, New York Times has. Let's hit the refresh on this one just to make sure. PA is currently listed as a toss-up. Michigan toss-up. Wisconsin toss-up. We just don't know. Minnesota, they're expecting a Democrat. Iowa.
A number of sources have called North Carolina already, but it looks like they aren't.
Look at this. Kamala Harris is winning in Iowa. Seltzer was right. I'm kidding. Stop. Here's the shift from 2020 map. Take a look at this. This is amazing. This is what we were looking for earlier. All of these areas, look how much has moved to the right.
Wild.
Massive. The West Virginia, Appalachia, strongly. You know what? I think that maybe J.D. Vance. That's massive in Appalachia right there. A huge shift to the right.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Look, J.D. Vance was a great candidate, and at the beginning, a lot of people doubted him. They thought that he was somebody who Trump shouldn't pick on the basis of the fact that he initially didn't like Trump, and also B, he was perceived as being too far to the right. He made some comments that were offensive, and it was also obvious that J.D. Vance is more of a true believer when it comes to right-wing thought, as opposed to Trump, who's more of a moderate. But man, I mean, he's really turned out to be a phenomenal pick.
All right, Mark Green wins re-election to the House in the 7th. You know, it's funny. I mean, we could go through all of these House victories. There were a lot that are coming in. You can see them all popping up. But no flips. So what we're really looking for is these swing areas and to see the incumbents lose. And so there's, I mean, Rashida Tlaib, she's winning in her district. Surprise, surprise. Let's see if we can look at any other. Right here, we got 2% of the vote in District 13. The Republican is currently winning, but it's minimal, beating the incumbent Democrat. So we will see. Ian's back in the House. What did you learn, Ian?
So many things, Tim. I learned about multidimensional artificial intelligence, 1,500
How are you doing?
You're actually talking to people.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
in the corner alone.
Met the girl that was the lead in Lady Ballers. She's super cool.
Okay, cool.
We talk to the guys that run the sports show here at Daily Wire. Blaine, epic. Humans out there, man. What a party. Shout out to Daily Wire for hosting this thing too. This is incredible.
I don't like the idea of the multiverse AI. That sounds terrible.
Dude, multidimensional artificial intelligence vectors. So basically, you've got all these different things. That it's like, well, why the thing? Well, why the thing?
And that is the issue that will decide the election.
How the thing? There's all these different ways that it could be on top of each other.
100 years in the future, they're like, he was a visionary.
And so they can use
no one understood him.
They can use binary to do the math super fast because there's so many dimensions of like, how does it do the thing that it does the thing to do the thing to do? Like, how does it? How? Anyway.
Well, I don't know.
What did you guys learn?
Right now, Kamala Harris has 99 electoral votes. Trump's 178.
Trump doesn't have 88.
Decision Desk has wildly bad data, and we saw 88 million votes for Trump so far, and we were like, whoa, Trump must be massive. Like, how could?
Oh, I heard that 87 million. I was like, wait, isn't that more than?
Yeah, exactly.
Half the country already, and it's like halfway through the night.
It's more of a fighting gut.
Right. When you factor in 30 million people in California, we're like, wait, and then someone super chat is saying they gave Florida 100 million residents, and I'm like, dude, I am not using Decision Desk anymore.
I mean, at this pace, it will.
Yeah.
Any big states? Did any big states lock in?
Trump won. So they called it for North Carolina, but New York Times has not. So Decision Desk did, but. Actually, I think we also had someone else may have called North Carolina too. Because I think was that just Decision Desk?
I saw other places there on the television out there where they're projecting election results for the party. I noticed that North Carolina was called, and I think that was a different source, but I could be wrong.
Dude, Decision Desk has been bad all night. This is embarrassing.
They're probably freaking out over there, and they're like, "Oh my God, this was our one big moment. They just shut us down."
North Carolina, I believe everyone is basically saying Trump has won North Carolina.
Yeah. Certainly.
But the New York Times is taking their sweet ass time.
Yeah, of course.
They should rename their news site "Sweet Ass Time."
We're last. Yeah. But let's see. Does the AP? The AP's got results up too. But who are they using? If they're using Decision Desk, I'm just like, get out of here. But the AP is usually just the AP, isn't it? So I don't think they've called North Carolina for Trump just yet.
When do polls close in Arizona?
Oh, dude, we're gonna be up all night.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long one.
Who knows? Fox News may call them early.
Poly Market has Trump at 79.7% and rising.
Yeah,
that is the highest I've heard all night.
Yeah, I mean, that's the highest, it's not the highest it's been, though. Like I said, don't get your hopes up. He was up 90 in 2020.
Okay, so everyone's saying Decision Desk just fixed it.
Okay, beautiful.
They fixed the numbers. 54.
I'm all about those second chances.
Trump has 54.9 million votes.
Listen, we're in a good spot.
Oh, that's a lot of votes. What's Kamala Harris have?
44.6.
Yeah.
Florida does not have 100 million residents. Apparently, they say it has 70 million residents. Right. I don't think they fixed it.
They're counting the illegals.
Right now, Decision Desk. What is going on at Decision Desk? Can you not input integers? It's 40 million to 30 million. Florida is man, shoulder to shoulder over there, huh? The actual numbers, according to New York Times, is 6 million for Trump, 4 million for Kamala Harris, with 95% reporting. Decision Desk, guys, are you watching the show? Look at your numbers. What is going on? 40 million votes for Trump?
Yeah,
dude, this is miserable.
Well, right now, the New York Times, which is we all know is my favorite news source, is giving Trump a 69% chance of victory. They're saying it's likely he'll get 286 electoral college votes. So he's ahead there. Listen, I agree with you. We're not there yet. But I think that's better than
Kelly Ayotte won in New Hampshire as the governor.
Somebody must have got the golden chest under there already.
The Republican just won the, but she's the incumbent.
No. The incumbent was Sununu.
Right. So that's a flip.
Well, no, I mean, no, he was a Republican, but so.
Oh, so it's Republican versus
Republican. No, he wasn't running again. She was running, and her opponent conceded. So.
Okay. So not a flip, but Republicans have held New Hampshire.
Did Trump carry Mark Robinson across the finish line in, I believe, North Carolina? Because I think he was running for governor there, and he had that scandal, and people were scared that was going to drag Trump down. But it looks like Trump's going to be able to overcome that, and Republicans are going to benefit off of some of Trump's coattails in some of these elections. So it seems.
Right now, the New York Times, the possible spread it has for Trump is 224 to 341. And of course, 341
New York Times
is unlikely. But that would be hilarious.
What are you looking at on the New York Times?
I'm looking at the presidential election results right now. So they have a live forecast.
We have it pulled up.
Yeah, if you scroll down a bit, see that? Leaning Trump? Yeah.
286, 252?
Yeah, but if you go below, it says it gives you the potential range. So right below 286, it says 224 to 341. So they're saying it is possible. It's unlikely, but it's possible for him to get 341 electoral votes, which would be nuts.
69% chance of victory on the old needle.
Yeah.
I swear, it's going to be 11 to start going the other way, and we're going to have an inverse 2016.
Exactly.
It's all a big pendulum swing.
So you can't get too cocky. You can't get too cocky, especially not at this point in the night.
Yeah, Georgia with 77% reporting, Trump's is up 5 points. So they're still refusing to call it, but this is going to be close, and the lawsuits will be mind-numbing.
That's awesome. And in the future, they need more to pick up the Senate seats. The Republicans need to pick up these Senate seats in Georgia. It's crazy that I believe it's Warnock and a Jewish guy, I forgot his name there. But it's 2 Democrats, senators, I believe, from Georgia, that should be easy Republican pickups. I mean, they have Brian Kemp in the governorship, and Trump seemingly leading here by 5 points. It's supposed to be a red state, and that's what honestly could flip the Senate. So Trump's, I think, bad picks in the past in Georgia, where he tried to run the football player, Walker or whatever.
Yeah, Herschel Walker.
And the same in Pennsylvania when he picked up Oz. So we'll see if McCormick in Pennsylvania, which would be a huge pickup, could pull through, because that again could help flip the Senate. That was somebody Ben Shapiro was telling us that he was personally I'm campaigning for.
I'm seeing a lot of chatter about Virginia, and Decision Desk already calling it, but a lot of people are saying no way. So Norfolk, Richmond, Alexandria are all Richmond looks like only 18% of the votes are in. You've got Norfolk, it's about 68%. Alexandria looks massive at 73%. But apparently on Twitter, they're like, it's still too close to call. And the New York Times has not called it.
Oh, yeah.
Donald Trump is currently leading by 2%. 2% in Virginia.
Listen, if he wins Virginia, then we will not be here until midnight.
Yeah.
We're
those moms split when they got rid of Northam. It's possible.
Well, they changed to all paper ballots.
That's great.
In Virginia, they did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So let's adjust the map. If Trump takes Virginia,
loses
Wisconsin, if
for
Trump loses the
oxygen.
blue wall, but takes Virginia on the chance that I don't know if it's gonna happen, he wins 275.
Exactly.
He can still lose Nevada.
If he wins Virginia, we're going home.
This would be absolutely wild if PA turns out not to matter at all. It was a Keystone state. They said Kamala Harris can't win without it. Trump can't win with it. They campaigned like maniacs in that state. Right now, Trump is ahead. In Virginia with 65% reporting, and they're saying it's going to be likely Democrat. Okay, probably. You're going to watch this tomorrow and you say you guys were dumb. You thought, how Virginia ends up Republican. Trump wins.
Yep.
Like, if we look at the map right now.
We need the oxygen right now.
Say Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania all go Democrat. And then Georgia is leaning Republican. North Carolina's leaning Republican. If Trump loses Nevada, Arizona is already projected to go Republican. And the blue wall, but wins Virginia. Virginia flips for some reason. That's it. It's over.
Yep. It'll be an early night. That would be a wonderful gift. Instead of having to wait 10 days.
Seamus keeps me like, and I want to leave. And I'm going to leave. Just don't tell you guys yet. I want to
Here's the thing. It's not that I want to leave, because if I have to leave because Harris just comes in with a landslide, I'm going to be like,
you want to leave your head.
dude, listen, it's just an important election, and there is some anxiety in waiting for the results, and you go, man, is it going to take 10 days or whatever? Are they really going to try to drag this out? You had Obama tweeting earlier today, sometimes it takes 11 days. Stuff like that. It's like, I don't like the noises they're making.
Florida's count that you can do, like all of the states could do that, and there's actually nothing preventing that except for the lack of will. So the states themselves do not want to have the polls or to have their voter rolls taken care of that cleanly. It is because of a lack of will and a lack
There's a few things at play here, though. For example, in Pennsylvania, they choose not to open any of the mail-in ballots before Election Day.
But that's a choice.
That's ridiculous.
These are. But the point that I'm making is these are choices. The fact that it takes this long is a result of decisions, not inability. Not a preventive. Not something preventing it. It is active decisions by the people that are actually counting the votes. And if they wanted to do this, they could do what Florida does.
Take a look at the story from Newsweek from 2 days ago. Donald Trump's support from black voters plunges. New poll shows. Man, and then read this one. Trump more than doubles black support in Wisconsin, according to NBC exit poll.
Wow.
Wisconsin is not a general national poll, but it is fascinating how I'm seeing people tweet that Trump's,
I don't think I can use that chippy thing
black voters
yet.
have shifted towards Trump. He's overperforming among black voters. And everybody was saying it wasn't going to happen. Did Florida fix the decision desk still has not fixed their busted data?
There was a BLM leader who voted for
it. And how historically they haven't rewarded him for that support that he's given them. So, for example, he did criminal justice reform. Some of what I thought is actually a horrible policy that let out a lot of violent criminals. That was supposed to be given for the black community. Then he gave pardons to a bunch of rappers and murderers. For example, Kodak Black. And this was just really a gimme to the black community. And in the past election, they didn't reward him for it. And we'll see if in this upcoming election they do.
Prison reform wasn't all that bad, though. There were definitely some bad people who got out, but it was like, I'm all for prison reform. I was pretty into that.
With 41% reporting in Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris's lead is now only 0.9. Donald Trump is closing the gap easily in PA, with Philadelphia and Pittsburgh already having largely reported.
Wow.
So we're still waiting for Clearfield County, and a lot more still come in from many of these rural counties. Philadelphia's at 32% reporting, and it's shifted. It's 80% for Kamala Harris. So we will see. This, no idea, but I believe the New York Times is projecting that PA is still in slight. I believe it's slightly to the right. But we'll see what we got here over at Pennsylvania is a 59% Republican likelihood of winning, so this is massive. With the data coming in, Trump has the edge in every single swing state in their probabilistic needle meter.
In the universe. I thought you were going to say that.
So hey, look, it's getting better and better. Harris has lost her popular vote margin. It's gone.
Wow.
New York Times now forecasting a dead even popular vote, with Donald Trump likely to secure 289 electoral college votes. Let's just keep it this way. Yeah. But how much you want to bet they're going to pull up some, but the mail-in votes haven't come in yet?
Well, yeah, the people who voted.
That actually would.
Are we getting Ouija board in ballots?
We should have brought a Ouija board. That would have been great.
No, absolutely. No, that's absolutely not.
You're just moving it subconsciously. It's not real spirits. I mean, there might be spirits involved too.
To get through you.
Maybe you're right. Actually,
guys, 82.7 on Polymarket for Trump. Man, let's hope the wisdom of the crowd is right. 75.5 that Trump actually becomes president.
Insane. People buying and trading. We're making a lot of money tonight on this stuff.
Crowd is right. 75.5 that Trump actually becomes president.
Insane. People buying and trading. We're making a lot of money tonight on this stuff.
Come on, let's call Ohio for Bernie Moreno. With 58% reporting, he's up 3 points in the Senate race. Let's just say 52 for the Republicans. All right, Utah just got called. Looks like John Curtis. Nobody's surprised by that.
Did you see that Riley Moore won? Not that that's a big surprise.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
That was awesome.
We knew he was going to win.
It was a shoe-in. It was the prime. I didn't even think he had big
love seeing
primaries.
it.
Well, the Moore's in West Virginia, so...
Oh, Riley's great. I'm so excited.
Yeah, shout out to Riley.
I told him he's going to be the only member of Congress who can land a kickflip.
That he can. I'm also looking forward to seeing what happens with Joe Kent. I'm looking forward to Kerry Lake.
What state's Joe Kent?
Washington.
CNN says Nevada experiencing issues counting mail-in ballots because young people don't know how to sign their names.
That is garbage. Hilarious. Throw it out. If you can't sign your name, then you shouldn't get to vote. It's not complicated. Like, don't do forensics on
They
that,
have
bro.
several days to work that out, says Casa.
Trump has won Montana. Not surprising. Donald Trump has won Utah. Not surprising. Let's see. Republican John Curtis wins Utah. We got that one. All right.
Silicon.
Where's this rock, paper, scissors
Some
going
more silicon.
Who's going to bounce on the next cycle in?
You gotta do rock, paper, scissors.
The next
Oh,
guest.
I just said shoot. All right, come on.
Who's coming in now?
I don't know. I can't see yet.
It's a mystery guest. It's going to be a surprise.
Behind this door.
That's a good dude right here.
Oh, it's a mystery guest.
I don't know if we've ever met before.
Please join.
Come on down.
Siaka Ian. Good to see you, dude.
Okay, hey, I'm allowed. It's nice to meet you.
Welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Phil, nice to meet you.
Shame, it's good to meet you.
Here we go. This is like the best greeting anyone's given us when entering the show. Everyone else just comes in and
Comes in and
like,
says hi.
All right, introduce
Spits on
yourself.
the floor.
Well, hello. A lot of your viewers might know me as Black Jeremy, but I'm actually White Siaka because I didn't vote for Joe Biden. So.
Oh, yeah, you're black. That's right. You lose your melanin.
I lost the card.
Condolences,
But
Biden.
How you feeling right now? Because I mean, we're feeling pretty good.
I'm feeling fantastic. I actually had a dream about a month ago that everything was red except for a few of the crazy states like California, which I fled from, and I saw 311. I saw the number 311 in there, and I saw the media try to call it, but I saw 311 for Trump, and I just woke up the next day and I was like, that's it. It's going to be fine.
Did you put on 311 when you...
Looking like Trump is leading in PA now, 49.8 to 49.3.
I don't believe it.
Guys, I actually thought this. There's going to be two outcomes today, and both of them will lead to Trump winning.
Right.
Either one, a blowout, and we're just going to be celebrating and popping bottles.
That'll be amazing.
Or two, court cases and all that stuff, but it'll still end up being a Trump. Like, I don't think they can stop any and everything that's coming right now. So
New York
I'd say
Times
we
currently
vote.
has Kamala Harris up by 0.3 in Pennsylvania. Trump is closing the gap, and now she's only leading by about 9,900 votes.
Do they have the Senate race? Any updates on the Senate race there in Pennsylvania?
Let's take a look. In the Senate race, Bob Casey is up 2 points.
Oh, wow, okay.
But if it's he's up like 60K.
Pennsylvania's known for splitting the ticket, though. They will split the ticket in Pennsylvania. It's crazy because it's usually that they have a split senator situation, and only recently did they have two Democratic senators. They have a Democratic governor in there. So Trump I believe won the state, or Republicans haven't won the state since 2016 when Trump won the election. So this is his path again back to the White House, and amazing things are happening in Pennsylvania.
Trump is up 220,000, just about 220,000 in Georgia with 83% reporting. It's looking like he's going to take it. In North Carolina, he's up comparably about 200,000 with 67% in, and it's projected he's going to take it. Trump is still winning by 2 points in Virginia, but they are still saying it's likely going to go Democrat. And news from Oregon, Trump is currently winning with 71% to 26, with less than 1% reporting.
That means 4 guys voted for him.
Yeah. Everybody else melded in. That's what
Trump is currently winning in Arizona by literally 40 votes. Holy Arizona, Trump is winning by 40 votes. I told y'all, it's going to come down to the wire, and your vote may be that vote. We're not going to get the results 51 to Trump's 49.
Wow. Is there Kerry Lake info on there too? For her...
I had to interrupt you right away because we had the data from Maricopa. We don't have the. We got to pull up the Senate for. Yeah, they don't have the governor races there, but for Senate.
She's running for governorship.
Oh, right, yeah. Sorry, I'm bad. Kerry Lake is currently down by 8 points.
Splitters in Arizona and Pennsylvania.
I think the really good news is that if
Kerry
Trump
Lake
wins, the Democrats are going to peacefully accept it, and everything will be fine.
I didn't know you do a comedy routine. You guys are.
No, it'll be like a peaceful George Floyd.
I'm curious about this. Yeah, a mostly peaceful George Floyd ride.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about this because you mentioned that you had a dream that he won by 311, and so obviously you're leaning towards him winning. You're convinced he will. I hope you're right. My question is, how do you think the left is going to react to that?
They're going to lose their mind. They're going to fall apart. Stanford and Yale and Princeton will cancel classes again and bring out social workers to help them get through it. But no, seriously.
Yep,
they'll
have.
Why my wife and I left California.
Yeah, good call.
Because I think they're going to make us suffer. They're going to make us suffer in the cities because it's also going to be a narrative for their news report moving forward. Oh, look what Trump brings. Because they're all about the narrative. They're all about the destruction and chaos in order to sell their stories.
There can be people out with Joe Biden T-shirts on smashing things, and the news will be telling you that it's Republicans and right-wingers. They could literally, not just Antifa, but like actually be wearing Harris gear, and they'd be out there smashing things, and they could be screaming, "We hate Donald Trump," smashing stuff, and they will still tell you, don't believe what you see. It is Republicans and the right-wingers out there doing it. It is not. They would never even mention the left.
Well, and they'll make it seem like this is the mood of the country because of Trump. Even if it is
right,
the left doing it, they'll try to sell you like, if it wasn't him, none of this would
If it wasn't for Trump, this wouldn't happen. Even though, and I've said this a million times, Donald Trump is a symptom of what's going on in the country. Donald Trump is not a cause of anything. Donald Trump is a result of what is going on. Donald Trump is a result of the political climate in the United States. He's a result of the Tea Party not being treated with respect. He's a result of the Tea Party, coming out and protesting peacefully and cleaning up after themselves and being called all the names in the book because of it. And so they said, we're going to stop worrying about electing the nice guy. You brought Mitt Romney, the most milquetoast, most polite politician ever, and they called him all the names that they called Donald Trump. And so the Tea Party said, we don't care.
Donald Trump is now the favorite for the popular votes.
Wow,
Let's get the mandate right now. Let's get the mandate so we can stop. We can turn this insanity around in the schools. Oh man,
by point 3, Trump is now favored, according to the New York Times, for the popular vote, projecting 291 electoral votes. Let's keep it that way. I hope.
Is it saying Arizona's Republican on the bottom over there?
Yes.
Yep, Canadian. I have no.
Georgia, 90%. PA is now 60%.
Horse in this race,
If he gets
but
Pennsylvania, it's late.
So if he gets Pennsylvania, it's pretty much.
good
And as the only black guy on the dais right now, I have to
reality
say,
TV.
oh, I forgot. And the only 2 black guys on the dais right now. No, it's Arizona and Georgia. No one talked about those numbers, but a lot, and even Nevada. That was POCs that did that in there, and no one's talking about. I don't care about the suburban wine moms anymore. Let's talk about the ones over there.
Trump's popular vote margin has just increased to 0.4.
Oh, wow.
It is skewing higher. So smash that like button. Share the show right now wherever you can. Everybody watching, share the show on all social media. Get everybody to jump in. We are tracking this. New York Times has Trump's chance of winning at 77% right now. The needle is moving.
Dude, I cannot tell you how amazing and hilarious and cathartic it would be for them to not even be able to blame the Electoral College.
Yes.
If he gets the popular vote, that is going to be incredible. Now, to what you guys were saying earlier about the fact that when there's violence from the left, if Trump wins, they're going to blame him. This comes right from their playbook, and I was talking about this earlier tonight. One bit of rhetoric that they have that's been very useful for them over the past 5 to 10 years as people have begun to really see through their shenanigans is whenever you bring up an irrefutable point that's very effective rhetorically and looks really bad for them, they go, well, you can't say that because someone who believes that called in a bomb threat somewhere or shot somebody somewhere. So if you Republicans, I'm sure that's a knockdown argument against opposition, but if you say that, people are going to get shot at bombs. It's dangerous.
Donald Trump has taken the lead in Pennsylvania by 0.3 with 1.666 million votes to Harris's 1.6.
Seamus, you hear that? 1.666.
I told you boys to get out and vote.
What was the percentage on that?
I'm sorry, 1.3. My bad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
1.3%.
I jumped the gun on
How many percentage?
God is real.
We have an update. It is updated. Trump is leading by 1 point with 1.718 million to Kamala Harris's 1.655. So he's going to win. He's winning bigly so far.
They'll do in other countries how they'll send in like the Maidan protests in the Ukraine. They'll have these people uprise against the government that they want out of power, and then they'll call them freedom fighters in the news. And this violent, eruptive mob will basically destroy the country. And then they'll say, see what your president caused? Get him out of. And then the people will start to hate their president. And he said, expect that at home.
That's the color revolution.
That's right.
Wisconsin's.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton did that in Libya.
Wisconsin's showing 95% in, and they're 55 to 43% for Donald Trump.
Yo.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, 50. Oh, just
decision desk is busted, bro.
Yeah,
Check this out.
Flipped.
Pennsylvania exit poll. Trump is up 7 points among people who believe democracy is being threatened.
What?
So all the liberals.
That's
He's up 7%.
hilarious.
I love it.
I think if you were to ask me if the fabric of our nation was being threatened, I'd say yes. Democracy is just a word they choose. That's fine, whatever. And I think it's coming from Democrats. I think these people are being asked, do you think democracy in jeopardy? They're going, they're trying to arrest the front runner for the presidency.
And they swapped out the president, and the primary no longer counts for anything.
Exactly.
Does democracy no longer important? They're constantly pressed on January 6th that and January 6th this, and they're forced to condemn it. But I'm very ambivalent when it comes to that, as somebody who is on the ground covering it, because when there's any violence from any people, from the George Floyd stuff to the BLM riots, all of the Democrats are actually behind them and support them.
Yes. CNN is have a camera on there.
The New York Times has Trump at 79% chance to win.
Oh my gosh.
So while BLM and George Floyd riots are the voice of the unheard and therefore justifiable, none of that can be said allegedly before January 6th, and everybody, it has to be widely condemned. Although, why isn't January 6th the voice of the unheard? Why are they dealing with their valid concerns that they have? And obviously there were some bad players involved in January 6th, but as somebody who was there, that was less than 1% of the people, and I think it's too broad of a brush to paint, as opposed to somebody who also covered the George Floyd riots, where most of the people there were participating in violence, and what the Democrats do, take a knee and put their hand up in support of them.
All right, Bitcoin is currently at 74,811. So whatever that means, Bitcoin's at all-time highs, and everyone's...
That means they know America's open for business, baby. Let's go. Let's go. We got
Ron Paul, like Trump's got my vote at that moment. I don't know what
you're crazy. You're crazy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I want to give you a chance.
Well, I was going to say about the political violence. That actually happened in my mother's home country of Liberia, West Africa. In 1983, they installed a general. He took everything over, and then about 10 years later, they used Charles Taylor.
Trump's at 90% of the market. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, that's great. No, this is great, but this is how they use it. They brought in Charles Taylor. Charles Taylor gets weapons from the CIA. He goes through a 20-year civil war where kids are cutting out of their kids' hearts. Like, they're doing crazy stuff.
So sad.
And just by George Bush's last decree was telling Charles Taylor, if you don't leave, we're coming to get you, and he left. He ended up going to The Hague and all that stuff, but it's so easy for it to happen. I literally have it in my family of how they did that in the country, and they've been trying to take us down that road.
I think
where
you're right.
Everything you've done is bad, and everything we do is good, and that justifies us to go in there and literally take your property, take your life, take everything that you own. So
I think so. Melissa Chen says Tony Hinchcliffe can take a deep breath right now. Trump is currently at 90.5% on Polymarket. That is 1 with 44% in, so it is looking very good for Donald Trump.
I was hoping somebody else would join.
Milwaukee is at 48. Look at this, Waukesha County, 77% in, and Trump is winning by 19 points.
I got a question.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Tim, guys, Trump wins the popular vote, wins the mandate. Do Democrats ever win the presidency?
To completely and radically transform their party.
Can they, though?
AOC.
They've lived on abortion for so long.
That's what I was saying earlier. I agree with you. I don't think they can change it. I don't think they're going to.
What was the period where I think before the early 90s, Republicans didn't control Congress for something like several decades? So it will not be easy, but there will be a massive repudiation of the Democratic Party. Incumbents will lose. Primaries will be launched. You are going to see a bunch of moderate Democrats run primaries and say, these people are psychopaths.
Crazy.
And then, hopefully, I hope this is what happens, in maybe, I don't know, 8 or 10 years or whatever, the Democrats are a much more moderate party that looks more like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. The Republican Party looks like Donald Trump, and our disagreements are substantially more mundane. We hang out, we eat pizza together, and then we debate minor issues, but mostly agree.
It's funny because I kind of think actually the exact opposite. I think Trump's a legendary politician and uniquely fit to unify the party, which is going through a realignment currently. He's still managing to bring all those factions together. But in a post-Trump world, I don't know if there is a Republican figure who could bring together all these factions as opposed to the Democrats who will fall in line with almost anybody, I believe, who runs for president.
I think that's an interesting point. I'd have to think about it more, but you're probably right about that. But
Trump is so great at unifying this party. It's amazing how he really has it on. It's Trump's party, frankly. It's not the Republican Party. It's Trump's party.
I'm thinking, though, we have to factor in what he wants to do in 4 years. Let's just say he reduces the income tax to the point where he wants, and we're using the tariffs like we did pre-1900 to actually fund our government. Success goes up. People can live normally. People can live in California like we live in Tennessee, right? And so everyone doesn't have to move. What can the left actually offer, even moderately, that can compete with that? Like, I don't.
There's one issue, guys. There's one issue the Democrats offer.
That's right. That's it. That's the only issue.
Anything at all, and they haven't for the past 4
No, that's what I mean. Like,
guys, you're missing the point.
I am glad Jeremy's here for this part.
There we go.
They haven't offered anything except for fear. They've literally all they've done is accused their opponents of being evil. It's all been about they're bad, they're evil. You should be frightened of them. They don't offer policy.
Guys, Trump, the decision doesn't call Iowa for Trump. I just want to shout that out.
And Selzer, what's wrong? Jeremy, are you kidding me?
Jeremy is here.
Hi, sir.
Jeremy, are you a bourbon drinker?
I thought, is that?
There's 2 Jeremys?
Yes, it's crazy.
You a bourbon drinker?
Say again?
You a bourbon drinker?
Not on a night where I'm on. You may not know this. In 2016, we thought the election would be over very early. If you may recall, the New York Times, for example, was calling for Hillary by 90. She had a 99% chance of winning.
That's right.
And so we thought this was going to be the shortest broadcast of all time. We should drink on air.
Oh, geez.
And if you go back and watch the video, by hour 9, I'm laying in my chair. I am so drunk. I drink so rarely, and I drank to such excess.
It was done.
No more election night.
He was the only person to cover the election to not know the results the next morning. He was like, what? What happened?
Where am I?
I'm feeling really, really good right now.
Yes.
How are you feeling, Jeremy?
You know, Dr. Phil was on the show a moment ago, and he introduced me to a new term, which is nauseously optimistic.
I heard that today, too.
I would say that I'm nauseously optimistic.
That's how I feel.
Like, you're going to win and throw up. It's going to, how's that work out? Yay!
I do want to call out my boy, though, for saying that he thought that Donald Trump was going to win New York. Optimism can carry you far.
I said I wouldn't be surprised. I said I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, fair enough.
The way things were moving, I wouldn't be surprised if big capital I and F he won, and it didn't happen. It's okay. I put $1 on it.
This election was probably always going to come down to the Rust Belt. It's obviously now coming down to the Rust Belt. There are real challenges because, and while it is possible for Donald Trump to pick up all 3 of those states, it is more likely that he will not, which means we will need a kind of rare political occurrence, which is for him to break off 1 or 2 of those 3 states, which again, none of us on this panel were alive the last time that happened. But I do think that it's possible tonight. I think he's looking great in Wisconsin. There's actually some pretty encouraging signs, even in Michigan. And I'm not giving up on Pennsylvania yet. He could sweep the Rust Belt, and then you would have a truly decisive victory, which I think, listen, I want Donald Trump to be president, obviously. We've talked about that ad nauseum. If he loses, I wanted him to lose by a lot. The worst thing for the country is a narrow, like within the margin, Kamala Harris victory. Like that's a disaster. So if Donald Trump can be the one who has the huge victory, then that's like, saints be praised.
With 53% in, Trump is up 1 point in Pennsylvania. And in Wisconsin, he is up by 0.3%. Wow. So this shift just came in Michigan, only 21% reporting, but Harris has the edge with 49.8 to Trump's 48.4.
So, Jeremy, well, I just want to ask you, do you think it's more likely for him to break that coalition apart or for him to sweep all 3?
Well, if past is precedent, then it has to be more likely that he would sweep all 3. That said, I don't think that it is, in practice, more likely that he sweeps all 3. I think in the actual moment in which we live, the most likely outcome is probably that he wins Wisconsin or Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I got to be catching up here.
There's too much.
He only needs 1 then, right?
Yeah, he needs
one.
one.
Yeah,
he only needs 1. Yeah, if he wins Pennsylvania,
if he wins Pennsylvania, he wins the presidency.
It's likely to win too.
I mean, he could lose. He could lose. So right now, based on the numbers we're seeing, if Trump just
2
takes
minutes
any one of the blue wall states and loses Nevada, he's won. That's it. Wisconsin being the smallest of the 3, he still gets 275. He still gets
1.5.
Yeah.
Catch up, so
that's losing Nevada. Nevada looks like it's.
Ooh. New York Times is pushing it a little bit further. 80% chance Trump's going to win. Projection is 296 votes.
Now listen, I do want to say, like, this exact needle said 99% Hillary. So in a way, watching it move toward Trump throughout the night is like my one cause for concern.
It's sad,
Yes, but they didn't start the night with the needle.
Right.
And because they were horribly embarrassed the last 2 times.
Jeremy, I wanted to ask you, so it seems like the 2 swing states that are going to be most crucial here are Pennsylvania and Michigan. These are both obviously states that were dealing with the Israel-Palestine issue in a tangential way. So in Michigan, they had the uncommitted vote. And in Pennsylvania, there's a large Jewish population. Kamala Harris famously didn't pick the Jewish governor, Democrat there who's very popular, Mr. Shapiro.
I need that more regular.
What do you think of these 2 states? Is that the most important issue or one of the issues that's really moving the needle there? Something else that we should be paying attention to? And what do you think about Israel playing a role in these 2 states as a political issue?
in fairness to Kamala Harris, I think it was very important that she secure the Minnesota vote.
I said Walz was a great pick. As a man, you look at him and you go, "This is a really cool guy."
He's really soft around the middle.
Speaking to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, listen. I do think that the Gaza, the Palestinians of Gaza massacring 1,000 Jews and actively holding Americans hostage. Listen, the last time Americans were actively held hostage during a presidential election, Ronald Reagan came to power. You had one of the great victories, Republican victories of the second half of the 20th century.
And then they were immediately let out.
Yeah, it's remarkable. It's remarkable that we don't talk more about the fact that there are Americans being held hostage, and the reason is because it's so bad for the Democrats. It's so bad for Joe Biden and therefore Kamala Harris that this is happening. Obviously, the fact that Kamala couldn't bring herself to choose Israel, I do think could wind up being part of what cost her the presidency. Now, Michigan's slightly different. Michigan has one of the largest Muslim populations in the country. It takes a much different position on that particular conflict. I don't know that we can say that Israel's seven-front war that they're currently fighting, which I very much support, is going to be decisive. I think far more likely what you're going to see in the Rust Belt. But, the reason we've said for years in this country, as goes Michigan, so goes the country, is because Michigan represents core American industry. It represents kind of the American economy. We call it the Rust Belt because it's where industry happens. You have the steel mills administration. That's not to say that I don't think that the conflict in the Middle East has any bearing on the vote, but while it's fun to say she should have picked Josh Shapiro, and while it would probably be the case that had she picked Josh Shapiro, she would have transcended some of these issues by picking a very popular swing state governor to be her vice president. I don't know if that's the same as saying that the decisive issue in those states is the war, Israel's war effort, which I don't think is the case.
So to be clear, this was mentioned when I was joining you guys, but the New York Times hasn't called the Senate race in Ohio, but it does look like Bernie Moreno is crushing Sherrod Brown.
Crushing.
78% and 5-point lead. I wonder why they're not calling it yet, but I'm down to wait. It's looking good.
You can't emphasize enough how important it is that we control the Senate, and I think it's becoming more and more clear that we will control the Senate even if we lose the House, although I'm hopeful about the House. At the end of the day, though, if we lose the presidency, it will be essential that we have the Senate so that we can stop the Harris agenda. Absolutely. If we win the presidency, it will be essential that we have the Senate so that we can advance the Trump agenda. The Senate is the key to everything. It's the key to either approving or not approving appointments, judicial appointments, ultimately passing legislation.
This is huge. I mean, New York Times is now projecting a 0.8% advantage for Trump on the popular vote.
Oh my goodness.
Michigan. That will be a good day.
It's going to get
very, Michigan.
What time is it? Red. That was we got another probably 20 minutes. That probably hit about 1%.
Yep. Jeremy, I also wanted to follow up with you. So in Pennsylvania, it's a really interesting state because there are a lot of people who split the vote, and they historically usually have one senator who's one from one party and one from another. So while Trump's leading in Pennsylvania, McCormick, I believe, is losing in the race to Casey, I think it is. What do you think about those who are splitting the ticket? Somebody who could vote for Donald Trump, but then not support the Republican Senate candidate.
It's a really interesting thing. I think McCormick is a very strong candidate. It'll be a real shame if he doesn't make it into the U.S. Senate. That said, splitting the ticket is such a peculiar thing. And there's been this big movement, particularly among supporters of Israel, to say you should vote for Donald Trump to be president because it's in Israel's interest, but you should not vote for the Republican to be in the Senate because the people saying it are still broadly left, and they're typically secular Jews who are politically left-leaning, who have seen since October 7th something that they didn't think they would see in their lifetime, which is the importance of the American presidency for the security of Jews around the world. And so it actually may be a point in favor of your position that you took a moment ago that maybe the Shapiro choice is more decisive. Maybe the Gaza war is more decisive. I think that would be one possible takeaway.
A couple other contributing factors. Also, Pittsburgh was the location of a horrible mass shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue. There are a lot of Jews in Pittsburgh. There's a large Jewish community there. They've historically been left-leaning. But things like attacks, anti-Semitic targeting of themselves, seeing these chants that are coming out of some of these anti-Semitic protests that we're seeing around could switch them over. And Pennsylvania's a state that swings by a few tens of thousands of votes. So it's also interesting how pro-Israel the Democrat senator there is. John Fetterman. He's one of the most pro-Israel senators of either party, frankly. So dynamics at play there.
We were all overly excited. We knew it was going to happen, but Harris is now leading in Virginia. But one could hope. Yeah. A lot of people were saying online it was called too early, and there was a chance. Democrats were actually freaking out. Virginia, why is it close? But Virginia's now.
I mean, if Trump had won Virginia, it would just be like game over. Of course, it was never very likely, but man, it would have been fun.
Well, when you're talking about like the conflict in the Middle East, I think like in Michigan, while it may not completely sway views in Pennsylvania, that can influence a lot of other people to move in certain directions. So from that standpoint, I think it does. I just don't know if like each of those pockets, if they all voted one way, then it's all one no. But if you live in Michigan around a lot of Muslims, and you kind of talking to your neighbors, you go, that kind of makes some sense. Same thing in Pennsylvania. So I think their influence of who starts to lean that way, like we saw, there were so many there that came up and they
so much of this other stuff
came up on stage and
still
they were
down
like, we support
in
this, we support him. Because also, I think they see the right and
bed.
they're losing. A lot of their people are dying right now. It's not Israel is dying like crazy over there. October 7th was terrible. But who's losing right now is people they know. So they go, hey, this guy's saying he's going to at least stop it. Now that's going to influence those neighbors around them maybe to shift too.
So it's also the case that had Donald Trump not lost the presidency in 2020, the Gaza massacre, or the massacre in Israel by the Palestinians of Gaza never would have taken place.
Right.
The prerequisite for that to take place was Joe Biden unfreezing all the assets of Iran and essentially giving them billions and billions of dollars to feed their proxies to launch a war.
I don't agree with this, but what do you make of the argument that it was because the Abraham Accords were coming to fruition that kind of sparked this by Hamas as a kind of last-hitch effort to kind of ruin peace between the Jews and Arabs?
Well, it's absolutely the case that part of the incentive for Iran was to stop Israel and Saudi Arabia from forming an even closer relationship. They've been moving more and more close together over the previous years, and Saudi Arabia certainly was going to sign the Abraham Accords. But listen, the fact that bad people react to good things by doing bad things is not an argument
against the good things.
Exactly.
So, well, this is a point that I made earlier just before. Oh, sure.
Put Vinette some updates. Decision Desk has been wonky all day, but I do want to at least track what they're saying because it's being reported far and wide. Georgia has now been called for Trump. North Carolina is clear for Trump. Wisconsin has just flipped with Trump in the lead. Pennsylvania, Trump is in the lead. New Mexico, this makes no sense. They're saying Trump is in the lead, but that's probably going to flip back. And Arizona is likely going to flip as well.
Trump at
I have family in New
242.
Mexico, and I can just tell you that New Mexico is the closest thing to an actual communist state that we have.
It's bad. It's bad.
so bad.
I drove through it and I couldn't get out of it fast enough.
Well, I kind of love it. I kind of love it, but
man, the meth users. There's a lot. I'm not saying all New Mexico meth users, but it was pretty high.
listen, I want to come on the show if I know we're gonna have a meth
conversation.
a bigot, an anti-meth bigot.
He's anti-Methodist.
Somebody's waving at me that I have to leave. I don't feel like I've been here long enough.
Well, you stay as long as you want.
Can I come back?
You're anytime you want.
You want to switch with me?
This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And we got a lot of people. See, we should pull some other people. Where's
Farmington,
Prager?
New
I'm
Mexico.
gonna go get some.
I love Albuquerque, New Mexico.
I want to.
Is anyone else? I can pop out in a second if anyone
All right,
somebody
anybody
comes up,
wanna
Lisa. All right, cool. ALC on a little bit. Freedom Tunes, check us out. We just uploaded some cool new stuff today. It was great meeting you, bro.
Me too,
God
brother.
bless. See you. What's that? You will. Okay. We'll get there.
It's New York Times seems a bit more reluctant to update the map here.
It seems like they want to keep.
What?
You got your wish,
Bit of organized chaos.
Calling things that are accurate and not what they want. They don't want to get out ahead of them.
But right now, New York Times projection is Trump 297. They're saying Republicans have the overt probability in Michigan, Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia. If we stop there, Trump won. Game over.
Yeah.
Georgia is now greater than 95 for Trump. Trump's clearly taken it. Decision Desk already has North Carolina. Arizona is obvious. If this Michigan holds, it's over.
Michigan is actually leaning Republican. Like Harris has just a slight lead right now, but it's like by 5,000 votes.
Okay.
Wisconsin, Harris is down. PA Harris is down. So I mean, it is possible that Trump takes out the whole blue wall, which would be brilliant. And it would be completely. It would make for a mandate.
Now we need
the popular mandate. That's why I've been saying the past several weeks we
more
have to win the popular vote.
Actually,
so that
I need to make
if Trump wins the electoral vote and Kamala wins the popular vote, they will claim they are the mass. They're the
Titanium,
majority. They're the popular
magnesium,
mandate.
silicon.
Let's say no to that.
Yep. Right. Yeah. It stops the trans stuff in schools. It stops the open border. Like it actually encourages the deportation without feeling as much backlash because the population is down.
I agree with all of that. That's all true. But it also signals.
I'm sorry. Elon Musk tweets game, set, and match.
Stop it. Stop it. That's better than any of this. I'm out. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you in the morning.
No. I mean,
I don't like counter
that.
chickens.
Exactly. I want to believe it.
I like
but I'm.
I know you do.
The chickens like it too.
The point
It's like bad juju.
The point that I was trying to make, right, like, is it makes it clear that the American people are clear on what they want. It's a clear victory, and as much as like all of the policy that we want, we're going to get it. More than that, it makes it so that way you can't have these people that want to tear apart the fabric of the United States, that want to tear down the structures, that want to tear down the Electoral College, they want to tear down they want to get rid of the filibuster, they want to expand the court, they want to add states. If you get a solid win, where there's the Electoral College win and the popular vote win, it puts all that stuff to bed. It makes all of the arguments for that stuff go away. And then when you're making those arguments, normal people, which I keep referring to, the normies that only watch about an hour of news per week, they're going to look at those people and say, you are effing crazy. Stop it. Yeah. There's a clear winner.
Come
all
on.
the stuff you're talking about is all crazy. Shut up.
But even back to the deportation thing we're talking about.
The Americans love that.
Well, yeah, a third of Democrats.
Well,
don't that, right?
yeah, exactly. Well, it goes to show that people are in support of mass deportations as well. It says you can't just bring in 10+ million illegal immigrants in the United States unvetted, letting everyone in here without paying the price.
70% of Americans are pro mass deportation, not pro.
And 1/3 of Democrats support that as well.
Which is wonderful. But it's not just closing the border. It's not just preventing more people from coming. It's actually doing the hard thing, which will be hard to stomach. Honestly, there will be times where it sucks to see, where you round people up that are here illegally and deport them.
I don't think it would
honestly. Well, the point is, with that kind of popular support, you can do it because there will be times. Remember, listen, I'm old enough to remember Elian Gonzalez. Okay, and I remember that picture going around. The guy's got his kid. And there's a dude with an MP5 grabbing the kid.
But is that worse than what happened to that 12-year-old girl that went to the store and got?
I'm only making the point that those are the things that you're going to see. I'm not arguing.
Well, it's not worse, but what we know the media were playing against.
Yes.
And they barely talked about that 12-year-old, but they will put their everywhere.
It's undeniable that public support builds up if that stuff starts.
Yeah, but then we have to.
Undeniable. But I think the way that they roll it out needs to be careful. It needs to be almost low key. You know, it almost needs to be low key. There also needs, they need to take it step by step when it comes to mass deportation.
But then we need people like Tim and Rogan and everybody else who's obviously shown through this election cycle that mainstream media isn't the way to pull up those other events that have happened and say, this looks bad, remember this. Remember when these kids were dying.
We made it 4.5 hours without doing any shout-outs, but considering extended duration, we're going to give a shout-out to our sponsors, which are ourselves. We sponsor ourselves. So go to castbrew.com, buy Cast Brew Coffee if you want to support the work that we do. Appalachian Nights is my favorite. We got Ian's Graphene Dream Low Acidity. And of course, everybody, step on Sneck and find out skateboards are back in stock at boobieshq.com. And also, the boobies are still unfortunately sold out. But shout out to ourselves. We sponsor ourselves. If you guys want to support our work, that's always available. And head over to timcast.com. Join us. Become a member. We have a Discord server with tens of thousands of people where you can meet, make friends, interact. There's pre-shows, there's after-shows. Monday through Thursday at 10 p.m. with a members-only show where you get to call in and talk to us and our guests. Special election night, so we're not doing a members-only, of course. Become a member at timcast.com if you'd like to see the work that we do. And castbrew.com, Boonies HQ. Let's get back to what you guys say.
I can use a little Cast Brew right now. Anybody can run out and grab a little cup. Thank you so much. Kellen's giving me the thumbs up. Give maybe more than one there, Kellen.
Actually, here it's probably
slew of coffees and pops.
It's probably Black Rifle here. But
Black Rifle coffee for the win.
We like them.
Yeah, shout out castbrew.com. I got Ian Crossland's Graphene Dream. It's low acidity, which is very good for you. A lot of times coffee can make you you're acidosis, you know.
I can't do it.
I've been going through it lately because I'm drinking a lot of coffee. So.
All right, now to segue away from our shoutouts, we have this from the Needle. The Needle on New York Times: 84% chance that Trump wins. Projection is 297 votes. Michigan, it looks like Michigan shifted a little bit back to toss-up, but still 65%. And Trump needs one of those blue wall states, and he's got the advantage by 12, 13, 14, 15 points probabilistically in each one. So tremendous.
Question. Yes. I know we're talking about what we're seeing right now, and I know everyone has a little PTSD from 2020. Yep. As we're having these discussions, as we're seeing the numbers shift and we're seeing all this stuff come in, are we calculating the possibility of these mail-in ballots moving the needle the other way, or is it too far one side and the other?
I believe many of them have come in already, but it is not being factored in the way that it was in 2020. 4 years ago, they were all saying, hey, hold on, we're sitting on these ballots. They're not doing that right now. Additionally, you have the Fifth Circuit Court ruling out of Mississippi. This is the Fifth Circuit Court lawsuit in Mississippi. That federal court ruled ballots received after Election Day are illegal to count.
That's right.
So if Democrats do try to pull off a 3 a.m. mail dump just arrived, Republicans will sue, and likely Supreme Court will kick that out.
Okay.
It's bad news for this country if that happens.
Right.
Because that means the Democrats will claim they won the Electoral College and the popular vote, and Trump stole it with his cronies in the Supreme Court. Hopefully, the way things are going right now, I don't think, but if Trump wins the popular vote and the Electoral College, holy crap, okay, so the New York Times just shifted from toss-up to lean Republican, Wisconsin and Michigan.
Wow.
Wisconsin and Michigan.
And Michigan. Wow.
It looks like it's going so well for Trump that by the end of the night, it may be a Trump winning by such margins.
They can't.
Nothing matters.
Yeah.
Right.
I just got to emphasize, we are a country at war right now, whether we want to admit it or not, in the Ukraine and this whole Israeli thing. We need to treat it as such. The commander-in-chief is in severe danger at all times and should be treated like really take this guy's life seriously. It is super important right now.
We're a country at war with ourselves.
I was just going to say the same exact thing.
It's going both ways. There's people outside, but there's people in here. When they want to go on a statement about the enemy from within, I'm like, that's part of the Constitution, from fight foreign and domestic. And unfortunately, I think there's a lot here.
He's talking about illegal aliens that are committing crimes. That we need to arrest people who have broken the law, and we need to send them home.
Yeah.
And then it's remarkable how, hey, the people who are here illegally committing crimes should go home, and they're like, that's cruel and unusual. What? Just get them a plane ride or a train ride home.
Get them out.
But I do have this from CBS News exit poll in Michigan. Younger voters age 18 to 29 are narrowly going for Trump right now. The deficit for Harris is in large part to younger men in Michigan who are more for Trump. Men!
Let's go, boys.
So proud of the men.
Let's go. Get out there. Finally, right? Where you guys been?
The boys have shown up in Michigan for Trump.
Republicans did such a good job at making it fun to get out, to vote, showing up to college campuses.
Right.
Shout out to Turning Point Action and Barron Trump and all of these people, all these streamers hopping on board saying, you know what? Donald Trump is awesome.
Our future.
Let's get after it.
Good little
Kamala
bit of
Harris,
power
not
for
the
a
move.
while.
Donald Trump the move, and they made it fun.
Yes.
They made it fun for young
54,
So this is from Libs of Tick that says, Osceola County in Florida, one of the largest populations of Puerto Ricans outside Puerto Rico, and Trump has flipped it.
Wow.
Remember when the media cried for a week about a joke about Puerto Rico and how he'd lose votes?
Probably so many Puerto Ricans love that joke.
I know.
He's talking about our state.
They're like, I know. They need to clean that place up. Oh, what? I'm offended?
Well, Democrats also tried to grab onto like a few viral clips of a guy saying, I'm no longer voting for Donald Trump. And you're just asking yourself, all of us are asking ourselves, seeing that, thinking, who on earth would do that? That doesn't make any sense. It's a joke.
88% now on New York Times.
Wow.
It is 10:41 Eastern time, and I'm hoping we can wrap this up in a little bit so I can go eat some chicken wings.
We should start calling ourselves the Grand Opportunity Party now instead of the Grand Old Party, because I think those young people you're talking about in college, they have a binary choice.
That's not bad.
Either. You like that?
That is good.
It's really good. Yeah. Patent pending. No, but you see that. And it was Trump's pick for J.D. Vance, whereas Kamala picked Waltz. Just from a visual standpoint, one guy is going, I'm picking the future for you guys, and the other person's going, I'm picking that same old. So Vance actually he represents those young men who want to come up.
I gotta get these other drills going here.
And Trump goes, this is your future, guys. I got you.
To your point, not only is it just Vance, but like the support from Musk.
Need the nuclear reactor. Actually, I'm really close to the nuclear reactor. Nice.
Elon Musk is trying to do Vivek. These are all people that are forward-looking.
Yes.
Lisa, you were saying?
No, I was just going to say with the Walls pick, it was somebody that was weaker than she was.
Yeah.
Even if you can, if that can even be comprehensible, right? Like she's
was,
so
though.
brutal.
Yeah.
But who's not going? Like Vance was strong, right? He's our future. He's strong. He can push back against Trump, right? Like
And
that was
wildly
there.
relatable as well.
Wildly.
Real quick, McCormick is up in Pennsylvania by 1 point with 60% in. So this is in the Senate. This is big. Defeating to defeat incumbent Bob Casey would be massive. In Ohio, Bernie Moreno is up by 5 against Sherrod Brown, the incumbent.
Wow.
This would be 2 seats.
Wow.
If that holds. Now, it could be a split vote, but right now we've got, according to the New York Times, Trump is up by 3 points in Pennsylvania with 61% reporting, and they're projecting it to lean for Trump in Pennsylvania.
Let me say that Berks County was where Scott Pressler did tons
Yeah,
and
shout out
tons
to Scott
of his
Pressler.
work, and he's leading there 56-43. Trump is
Wow.
leading. That is huge.
If the Senate flips in Pennsylvania as well, I mean that's tremendous.
That's
Yes.
amazing.
So let's,
Casey's been there forever, and he's horrible.
I hope that it shows what Scott Pressler did and what a lot of other people. I mean, I was vice chair of the LA GOP, and we ended up gaining about 60,000 new votes, new registered voters for Los Angeles County, while the left lost 40,000, and it was a net loss of the population of 240,000 people. So it tells you that the not the transplants, but the people who grew up in LA are changing over there. So I like to give a shout out to California, LA. Like, don't be surprised if their numbers help out with this popular vote, but also that within the next 4 to 5 years, Los Angeles County and California alone starts to turn around.
Because they remember how it was. They remember how great, like, and how normal it was, and now
I mean,
it's so insane.
You don't want. One day I saw a guy walking my dog. I saw a guy walking straight butt naked down the street, just the opposite. I'm like, this is LA.
I saw a man do number 2 on a church steps in Philadelphia. I mean,
that's
it's
a Thursday.
really out of control.
Yeah, it's
Trump
really
is
wild.
at Trump is at 92.9 on Polymarket, 92.8.
And we can't go to bed, and this will change, right? Like last time.
The fact that it has to get that far in those cities where people are running around, murdering children, doing what you were just talking about. The fact that it has to get that far.
Look at 2 of those going.
Say, hold on, let's take a U-turn here because this is completely out of control. It's disappointing, but I am thankful that we're there to where people are waking up and running away from what they've originally or just been voting for the last, handful of decades.
Well, it's the idea of everyone has their different rock bottom, and people don't make the change until their stomach starts to hurt, right? And so now we're seeing people going, wait a minute, that person who's destroying my neighborhood, that's starting to hurt. Where before, when you heard about it, it was from a distance, and it's like, oh, or the story's not real, or it's just being suppressed, so people don't have no idea.
Or it's a one-off, right? Like even if they saw it on their own, they're like, oh, well, it's just
that's not
one
everywhere.
episode, right? Exactly.
One of the major wake-up calls was definitely illegal immigrants flooding people's communities that were already struggling, right? So they're saying, why aren't you putting me first? Why is this all on the taxpayers' dime?
Right.
But also
That really
Elon
broke
Musk,
them.
also Twitter, because sometimes what is it like the frog in the pot, right?
Yeah.
So you see this happening to your community, you kind of become numb to it. But then he opened the floodgates and like, oh, it's not just here, it's everywhere, and it's progressively getting worse and worse and worse. I thank Elon for so much of this because it opened everybody's eyes.
And also, it also allowed the tech industry to be openly pro-Trump as well.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
high up
going
in
real
tech,
good now.
and he's always sending me people that are leaders in the tech industry openly supporting Donald Trump. We weren't seeing this stuff in 2020.
No,
we weren't seeing this stuff in 2016. This is a massive shift.
This speaks to the same thing that we were talking about in like Philadelphia, how you see a lot of people with Trump flags and stuff like that. And that was absolutely unacceptable in 2020.
Yeah. Right.
Absolutely unacceptable.
I mean, even up until 23 for a lot of
you
places.
would be attacked. There were people that would literally physically attack you if you wore a MAGA hat. And the fact that changed was a big.
I should have seen what else I needed for some other stuff.
The permission, social permission to say, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. They don't have to go out and put a flag up. They don't have to wear a MAGA hat. They don't have to put stickers up. But they did feel like, okay, I'm not going to be treated like a pariah if people find out that I voted for Donald Trump.
It's comfortable enough to where Lisa's kid is going around.
Yeah, we don't have rain yet. But once we do, I get the water
Donald
thingy.
Trump.
Come on.
I mean,
Come on.
In Philadelphia,
people were loving it. All sorts of people were loving it.
They were lining up to take pictures with her. At least
wearing a mask.
But he's told, and the reason is
I
because
don't have any
once you
fabric.
get past the fact that he's been demonized by the left and by the media, media.
20 minutes?
Totally
Hold on.
memeable. He's completely
It's
memeable.
about 20 minutes.
So
yeah, that's it. 20 minutes.
Jeremy
you
was
get
right.
One.
Trump now has the popular vote estimate by a single point with a projection of 299 electoral votes. 87% chance of victory. Don't count your chickens, everybody. Don't count your chickens because we don't know just yet.
Don't count them, but you can estimate.
Should I go oxygen? I should probably go oxygen
We're
tank.
gonna sit here and
Super
cheer for Donald Trump, go to
alloy.
bed and wake up, and who knows what's coming next.
Yeah.
Don't
yourself,
right?
That's 100%.
How about pray?
Look,
Can we
there-
all like have like you know,
Absolutely.
12
I think
o'clock, everybody say
It's,
a good prayer.
it's too late to vote.
I think
now,
what'll
definitely, but,
happen
like,
Right.
am
is
still
I
of
think
the
Trump's going to
opinion that,
declare
like,
victory.
I mean, it's out of your hands now.
Yeah.
But I'm
Stress has been bad all night. Has Trump up with 61% of the vote. He's up by
Cobalt.
0.3 in PA.
Grab a
He's leading
Cobalt.
Wisconsin by by 1.1 in Wisconsin with 57% in. Arizona with 53% in. Kamala Harris up by 0.2, but everyone's basically saying that's because Flagstaff, Phoenix, and Tucson have already voted, and rural red districts are going to get their results in soon, so it's likely going to.
They already won.
I don't want.
I'm just saying that's what's coming through
look,
my
get out of
phone.
here. I like that one. I like that. We can
I'm
leave.
just letting you know. That's what I got. I
They
just got a
celebrate
text.
Tennessee too.
Lisa, how long did you work on the Hill for?
12 years.
Your sources are good.
My sources are very good.
All right. Well, I hope this is what's going to happen.
So CNN
sources
is
are good.
hold on,
Yeah.
CNN,
Let's go with the
CNN
oxygen.
is reporting. Oh, it could take days for Pennsylvania, et cetera, et cetera. These things should not take this long, and I don't know that there's anything one individual
That there?
it's
Put all
not
those in
a
there.
federal issue, but the individual states need to do what Florida has done. Florida is done
I
counting.
really wanna get
We mentioned this
that.
earlier. They were done counting 2 hours after the polls closed.
Right.
This is completely doable. It is absolutely something
No,
that
it's
every
strategic.
state should desire. They should want to be able to do
It's very
this.
strategic.
And if they don't, it is literally because the
They want a treat.
Democrats
Yes.
do not want them to do
mean-
that because they want to have ambiguity.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
you have room
exactly.
for, if you have ambiguity, you have room to cheat.
Yeah.
And that is what the Democrats want. It's the same thing that the left wants when it comes to law.
Yeah.
They don't want clearly defined laws because clearly defined laws are easy to follow and they're hard to illegally punish people.
What you're saying is incredibly reasonable here, and it just goes to show that a lot of the Democrat base has turned off their ability to critically think because they will buy the argument that what you're talking about
Yeah, I
right there
can't make
is
that
racist.
jump.
Right.
I don't care.
See, but
That word does not work on me. I know I'm not a racist. That word
I
does
don't care
not
anymore.
work on me anymore. I know I'm not a racist.
Right.
I don't hate anyone because of their color. I'm not a bigot. I don't hate anyone because of the color of their skin. You can call me all of the names you want. That word has no power over me.
Absolutely.
I am not afraid of
But that's what it's done.
Well,
Yes.
It's done so that it's been used so much that now people like this, like, I don't care. But like the best thing about it, and he pointed out, is like they need that chaos. That's what the Democrats
Of
they
course.
thrive. There's also why
It
they
benefits them on
emotionally
multiple
manipulate.
levels.
Exactly.
Multiple
they
levels.
need that in order to win their spaces.
I just want to say too, just to keep in mind, everybody, should what we're seeing right now play out as we hope it does, it is not just a popular mandate. It is not just winning the seats of power in this country and reshaping culture. It is that media will have fundamentally shifted to such a degree in this country that the narrative machine is broken.
Yes.
I'm looking at these poll results. I'm looking at the comments online, and I'm thinking about a post-November 5th United States.
I kind of
with
didn't want
all
to
of
do
these
the
things in alignment.
chips
And the
because
question
I
is,
kind of wanted to let
how
that
is it
explore
after
them.
everything
but
they said
I
about
have
Donald
a
Trump, I'm
feeling
seeing this
upfront's
poll
probably
from,
already
the
looted.
data coming from Florida. Florida shifted further to the right than 2022 and 2020, which means these people ignored the
Maybe
corporate
not.
press and they got their news elsewhere and they broke through the lies. That means it's not just a political victory. It is a mass media victory for independent voices and independent media.
Well, we saw that ABC, what they did in the debate, even to a certain extent CNN, and after that, it was a death knell. CBS death knell. So Trump wasn't just taking out the Democrats. He was actually taking out the legacy media because of what they have done to him and to people like ourselves over the last 7-8 years. So it was going to be a quiet whimper, but they're done. They are done. No one trusts them. No one watches them anymore. And people watch things like Tim's show, to watch Joe Rogan, to watch PVD. Like, they're done.
The amount of people that I find on the street that are saying, I'm getting my news from people that I trust on X, it's the number has skyrocketed over the years. You know, people used to say that they watch network X, Y, Z. A lot of people just bypass that. They go to the journalist that they trust, and they follow that person.
Yeah, exactly. And that's,
a new one.
And also even the style of it, right? Joe Rogan had J.D. Vance and Trump on. They had a 3-hour conversation.
Right.
What they're used to doing on these news shows are just popping emotional, like, manipulated points. Like, the border wall's racist, right? Yeah, it's racist. Well, tell me why it's racist. Even when Shannon Sharp had Kamala. Trump is gaining with black guys. Can you tell our history of racism? You're like, what? That's not a conversation. That's just a talking point.
Decision Desk has just called it for Bernie Moreno in Ohio, giving the Republicans a 2-seat Senate flip.
Wow.
Nice.
Massive. Which now, with what we're seeing already, we could theoretically be looking at 53 Republicans in the Senate.
That is
Mining
these are good signs.
Massive. These are good signs.
Well, they can do, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were
can't
talking
even
about
make
the
the
voting.
first votes.
Can't they, in a sense, do things like they can pass a law to make Election Day a holiday, which opens up the time of getting it done.
It looks like that they'll have
election
So if everything goes the way that it seems like, you're talking you're talking about the House, the Senate, and the office of the presidency. That means literally the whole conservative agenda. Everything can go.
If the House goes Republican, the Senate and the executive branch, they need only on January.
Not until after the new Congress is sworn in.
Okay,
on the 21st,
right?
Yeah.
The 3rd is when they get sworn in, isn't it? The 3rd.
Yeah, the 3rd.
Okay,
You're right.
They say voter ID. That's it. Mandate voter ID every state.
They won't do that.
The Supreme.
Why?
So, well, let me say this. The Constitution says the states decide.
Be honest.
The Constitution says the states decide.
True.
Okay.
That's what their excuse will be.
They won't do it. I'm telling you, the Republicans will not do that. I'm sorry. I love y'all, but they're not doing it.
Okay.
Even with everyone?
I will say this, though. I will say I would lean more in your direction 12 years ago. Today, I would say you're probably still correct, but the margin has increased slightly based on the populist mandate.
Yeah, I think that they'll go right to border. I think if they're going to do anything, they're going to go right to border.
If
That's
the
going to be their
Republicans
first.
enact any kind of election security measures, Democrats will never win again.
Yeah, that's it.
I
That's a
hope
wrap.
they do.
Well,
They
that
will
goes back to that question.
They will have to realign their party to actually address the issues Americans care about.
Like
Magnesium,
Hollywood.
cobalt.
You can't have them correct the ship when everything they've been doing has been woke and crazy, and these are the same people running it.
If we don't think that they're going to implement a voter ID, do we think that they would at least get rid of election month and mass mail-in ballots? Do we think that they would be successful or go after that?
The challenge, I believe, is that the state legislatures, per the Constitution, have the right to decide how they run their own elections.
Right. Right.
And so that's a challenge for federal Congress. This is why it's so important that Republicans win the state legislatures and state senates.
Right. Well, can they, in a sense, just play the political game of, hey, we want to vote that we should do this. Yes, it doesn't play in the state, but if your state goes, no, we're not going to do it now, in a sense, it shows your electorate we don't care about security, because the country federally looks like they care, but yet California goes, it's illegal to even ask for somebody.
Guys, I have another update from inside. Georgia, and this is from inside polling. Georgia and North Carolina are ours. Once PA goes, that's 270 and it's over. That's coming from.
PA's going?
That's from internal Trump polling. The internal Trump results. So when I worked for Congress, like we would be sitting down and they would be getting the results in quicker than like the news. I remember in 2016 telling my mom, like, Mom, Pennsylvania's done. We got it. She's like, they're not calling it. I'm like, I already have the data. It's in.
Tell the people the difference between external polls and internal polls.
Well, there's just somebody else who, like, the reporting is coming to them before it goes to the media.
Well,
That's basically what's happening.
So typically, internal polls are extremely expensive and extremely meticulous, whereas
they get the reporting first too. So like members of Congress or people that are running in the things, they have somebody standing there with like a live feed that comes in.
So wait. They're suggesting then they've already won Arizona. Is that what they're saying?
They're saying Georgia and North Carolina are ours. Once PA goes, it's 270 and it's over. That's all I got.
Okay,
you want me to ask about Arizona?
But it's not. So right now, if I go to 270, Arizona's leaning right. if we include Arizona in this, which was not a toss-up according to 270, it's asking about Arizona and Nevada. Do they think they have Arizona? Because obviously we're tracking the blue wall states.
Okay.
I'd say like this. I saw her text messages.
Chilly over there?
No, it's like no. Inside is warm. That's all I'm gonna say.
I just pushed my phone over.
I know, and I was like, ugh.
If Trump does not win Pennsylvania, if Kamala Harris holds the blue wall and Trump wins Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia, Trump loses. This is Ben Shapiro's worst case scenario where he says Florida then files a lawsuit because the census was done wrong and PA has too many electoral votes.
Right.
The Supreme Court will likely agree and flip it, giving Trump 270.
More magnesium
There's
and
also the
cobalt.
mail-in ballot scenario.
Why does PA look really blue there? How much is reporting there?
No. This is 270.
Oh, that's 270. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
so
Okay, you're messing me up, Tim. Don't do that.
This is the current toss-up
scare
map.
me.
Arizona. Okay, guys. Arizona is not considered a toss-up on 270. If Trump takes Georgia and North Carolina, he's at 262 without Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, or PA. At that point, it doesn't matter which. He doesn't even need Nevada. So long as he takes Arizona, he needs only one of the blue wall states, and he wins. So PA doesn't even matter.
Wow.
And this is
Well, maybe that's what they're saying. Maybe they're counting that without
But
Arizona.
this is big because we were told Pennsylvania was the state that he had to win.
The
And this is
Keystone.
where everybody went to the... That's right. But imagine this. Kamala Harris wins PA, wins Michigan, Trump takes Wisconsin, Kamala Harris takes Nevada. Doesn't matter. Trump wins 272. Trump needs... He doesn't even need PA at this point. He
needs more than that.
And he can still lose Nevada and win.
I think it needs to be.
Which is why the New York Times...
I mean, I don't think he's going to get overwhelming, but it needs to be...
CNN is saying silence at Harris HQ.
And Kamala HQ hasn't tweeted in hours, apparently.
Yeah.
That's because they all just lost their job. Everyone's packed up. They're heading home. They've been heading home for 2 hours ago.
The internal
CNN
already got fired.
I'll keep the light on.
Guys, CNN is reporting that Kamala Harris's headquarters has fallen into complete silence, with crowds of supporters visibly tense, with some seen pacing while others are beginning to lose hope as updates.
You know what? Well, no. I'm just going to say, first of all, if that's true, good. Look at how they treated the American people over the last few years. Donald Trump, not just the American people, the entire party, or the country. It's despicable. So
Guys,
good.
Well, I have the
so
rods
glad.
and uranium.
Like
I just need the
Sheehy is
alloy.
probably going to win in Montana. We don't know for sure. The data is super preliminary.
What's the number there?
It's only 5% reporting, but I can't imagine Tester winning. What do you think, Lisa?
I don't know, man. I am so black-pilled that this is hard for me to believe. I'm getting the thing that they're winning. It's so hard for me.
Have you heard of Jesus Christ?
I do. Listen.
Because he'll help you.
I have a rosary right there in my thing. That is all. I said to my mom, I said, look, it doesn't matter either way because it's God's will, right? And I prayed the rosary as Shames on the plane, right?
That's true.
I said, let God's will be done. I'm 100% there.
All right.
It's just, I have PTSD from Eagles in the Super Bowl. How many times we go? The one time might have been a fluke.
Fair enough.
So I get nervous, but
I'm over here keeping.
Yeah, he keeps me sane.
We got to keep it a positive attitude, especially for Mama Klug. She's out there. We want to make sure she's comfortable tonight. So we're staying positive, you guys.
I tell you what,
So currently, Decision Desk has 50 Republican Senate seats. Democrats have lost 2. Republicans have flipped 2. Wow. If Republicans take PA, and they're currently ahead by 0.8 with 64% in, 51. Minnesota is meaningless. Montana, I think we may be looking at 52 seats. That may be it. 52 in the Senate.
I keep thinking about what are we going to do next, man? This is it, because they call it a win. It's over, but no, this is just a step on a road.
Oh yeah.
And there is a significant plan.
What is this you're showing me?
You guys.
You can just pass it along. Man.
In 2017 during the inauguration, Lisa, you went to the inauguration, right?
Yes.
And they were rioting and blocking
They were rioting.
entrance?
So everybody was always talking about like how, the crowd size wasn't that big because the whole Senate side, the whole side of the Senate was blocked off. You couldn't even get in because there was rioting and police and it was insane. Me and my mom had to walk all the way around and then sneak past the cop to even get in to see him be inaugurated. It was awful.
Ian, piggybacking on what you were talking about.
It was dystopian.
That's next. If this is the case, if this goes well, if Donald Trump wins, that is next. Mass political,
Yeah, but
unrest in the streets.
that's their punishment to us.
I just want to stress this for the point Lisa's making. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's looking like internally, the Trump camp believes they've already won.
Correct.
That it is so tremendous right now that it's just going to come through for them.
I do expect that there will be civil unrest. We've talked to Mike Pence about it, but I'm wondering, what do we do next? Because we got a lot of authority, power, and opportunity.
Abuse it.
We?
No, we got to create something
it.
great.
Who's we?
Me, you, Tim.
What,
Yeah.
this doesn't translate to
Siaka.
power.
How do you spell that, by the way?
Siaka.
Ian, first things
Siaka,
first.
what are you going to do?
Ian, first things first is cleaning up the mess that Democrats have created the last 3.5 years. That's first things first.
3.5. Even with
probably
Trump,
last
I'm actually primarily talking about the 10 million illegals that came in the last,
Can we talk about the House and Senate races? How are we looking there? Because that was
first things first.
I just
first thing first is getting the country back on track.
Do you want the inside info or not?
Guys, right now we've got some updated data. So currently we have 50 Republican seats confirmed according to Decision Desk. Maine is immaterial and Minnesota is immaterial. But if Tester loses in Montana, if Pennsylvania flips and Wisconsin is currently Hovde is currently linked, that could be 53. But Hovde's only up 0.1 against Tammy Baldwin. I'd love to see it. I'm thinking we might end up with 52 Senate seats, but 53 would be based.
Wow. I definitely think McCormick can pull it off. I think people are going to be surprised by Pennsylvania, especially because the Amish turning out.
They came out.
I'm telling you.
Donald Trump in Pennsylvania, like 70% is votes in. He's up 51 to 48 in Pennsylvania.
I think it's going to go better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trump's up 3 points now in PA, 70%. That's massive.
Michigan, he's up. Michigan, go ahead.
Let me show you the House. This is where it gets interesting.
I want everything. I want the House.
Right.
Yes.
So
I want it all.
Okay, guys. All right.
Two-piece.
So let's take a look at the House. We have the heavy Democrat, light Democrat.
This is entertaining.
Light Republican, heavy Republican.
That's very
This is where it's
entertaining.
interesting. When you look at the expected Republican seats, they've won. When you look at the leaning Republican seats, they've won. When you look at most competitive districts, what do you see? Well, there's a lot of data that's incomplete, but it looks like there's some going Republican, a little bit more going Democrat. However, when you look at the light Democrat seats with 40% reporting,
don't need ice
Alabama
anymore.
2nd is leaning Republican. With 75% reporting, Maryland 6 is leaning Republican. Ohio's 9 with 89% is 0.37 Republican. We don't see the same trend on the Republican side of the House, which is indicative of a swing for the Republicans on the House.
You meant to
they
say
already
Democrat.
have the House. So this just makes it look
Solidifies.
like they're going to take the House. They've basically already got the Senate. 88% chance Trump wins. 1 point popular vote, 301 electoral votes. They are now giving every swing state but Nevada is lean Republican.
Wow.
Massive.
Well, to your point about what we do next is, we clean up, but we also have to continue. And what Tim's been huge in this whole, production's been huge on with PragerU and Daily Wire, Babylon Bee. We have to continue to create the culture, because there will be nothing left, and a population is really only as strong as its stories. So if we're not making stories for people to get on board with, yes, we can have people who are 1 + 1 always equals 2.
This will all
Great.
be a lake,
that doesn't move
so
people.
I'm gonna try
So
and get
now
it
we have to, as Tim's
more
done
from
music
down here.
and Daily Wire has done more comedy and more scripted, and PragerU and so on. They're making the culture. That's where we go next.
California.
We have to.
Make a movie? All right. Sorry,
What's
guys.
that? You wanna make a movie? Yeah, let's do it.
California and
Let's do
Washington's
it.
been called.
I got
California has been called for Harris with 0 reporting, but
That's how California works, guys.
Right.
That's how it works. Everyone who's been there before.
All right.
just
so
show up.
to your point, as for stories, this whole situation here, if Donald Trump does win, there has never been a better political story.
Yep.
In all of American history, this is
it's exactly what I wanted right there.
This is the best political story, or among the best political stories in American history. So you've got a president that is an upstart that has never been in political office before, right? He gets into office and he does a good job. Then he's faced with
Let's grab some more silicon.
Vindman's gonna win.
Keep telling your story, though. You have a good story.
Get back to the story.
So then he faces he faces the opposition of an entire media and government system put against him. Then he faces a pandemic. He loses in a questionable and novel election, totally under novel circumstances. Had never been an election like that, right? He loses that.
You mean rigged? Go ahead.
Well,
that's why I say you lose. He losed it.
I completely agree that it was not a normal or fair election. Okay, the details are not.
That's fine. That's all I just want.
Then he's impeached twice after he's been in office.
Yep.
He then goes and is attacked by the Justice Department, and they fail and fail. There's 2 attempts on the man's life, and then he comes back to win, not just barely, but to win.
Blow it out.
To win the.
What would you say is the defining moment that made the turn, or do you think it was like a culmination of things? Do you
No,
think it was him getting shot? Do you think it was Rogan? Do you think
standing
it was
up
Elon,
and
or do you think it was
fight,
like a combination?
The picture of him with the fight.
Right.
That will be the thing that people.
That was the turning point.
John's show, and that's credit to Barron.
It wasn't on
That was when he broke through to
it was good.
6 million new people
It
that
was
really
a good
matter.
show, but the picture, the point that
people
want,
want,
the thing that's
Fucking
iconic
Ian.
is the picture.
Oh,
the
God.
Strong leader.
The
They want a strong leader,
the
and that's
fist
what that
in the
represented.
air. The fist in the air,
Fucking
blood on
saying,
his face.
Fight,
For sure. Like-
fight. That the picture was so powerful that the left was hiding it.
Yeah.
They were saying you can't put that completely,
Trump.
totally, because they saw how powerful
They saw
that
his
was.
character.
They saw
You guys-
not just that, but they saw the story. And that's the whole point of what I'm talking about. They saw the story. That was him saying fight. And now to come back, and God willing, he wins. There has never been a political story in history like this.
And
There has never been.
To piggyback on the building culture, it's the perfect man to build culture around.
Right,
when it
right,
comes to
right.
making the Republican, this is what the Republican Party is.
He was an entertainer.
This is Donald Trump. It's badass. Come on board.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
I mean, it is never. Geez, when was the last time it was this cool to be a Republican? Honestly, not in the
never
year
been, not in my
2000.
life.
I don't
Maybe,
think
never.
yeah,
In the
maybe,
80s.
maybe
in the 80s
80,
when I was-
81.
No,
yeah.
because Michael P. Keaton was cool.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the yup, like the
yuppie.
when you think of the people that the American Psycho were based off of,
Okay.
they weren't uncool people. They
Yeah,
were
yeah.
riding
That's fair,
they were
that's
riding Lamborghinis. The Wolf of Wall Street, those were cool people. That was the last time it was this cool to be a conservative, to be a
It's a
Republican.
40
major
years
shift in
ago.
culture.
Absolutely.
Major
Well,
shift
they
in
did a
culture.
movie
Right.
kind of already like that came out. It's called Vindicating Trump by Dinesh D'Souza,
Yep.
which I'm in if you want to
No,
check
let's
that
go.
out. So it's a shameless plug. So
Just get me a
So we're
link.
kind of getting ahead. So we're kind of getting in that. But you're right. I think now we can do the fine because that one, of course, came out before the election was done. But now, if you saw that in a movie, you would think the movie was fake.
Yeah, I'll concede
Guys,
that.
real-
100%,
Decision Desk is reporting 2 House seats have flipped.
Wow.
So I'm not sure which they're referring to. However, they believe the House there's a 57.6% chance the Democrats will win the House.
Whoa.
It was trending Republican, but it has now shifted Democrat.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're projecting 219 for Democrats to 216 Republican.
And they didn't say which ones that they're talking about?
It's hard to track, and I don't know
Yeah, there's
because
so many.
there's so many. It's hard to know which ones they're saying have
that's not
flipped. However, the New York Times is saying no such thing. They have not made such determinations.
If he wins, if they take the House, they will try to impeach him again. Of
course.
Oh, yeah.
They will. In the House, they will not certify the election.
Yeah.
Because then they can hold on.
Even though he will
hold out.
win the popular vote and the electoral college, they will not certify.
Jamie Raskin said he is.
Yeah, that says if you can't be an officer of the United States if you've been part of an insurrection, and he wasn't.
Right.
Sorry.
Yes, we all agree.
I'm not even sorry. That's the way
But
it's read.
we all agree. The point is they'll do it anyway.
I want this fight in the courts. I want.
Well, I think
want
part
to
of
see
it.
him
I
try
think
in
part
the
of it
courts.
is again, they do really well at poking the bear, and someone like Jamie Raskin, when he said it that early, he's trying to. I believe it's more trying to get us to do something stupid.
Yep.
Us to react, in an
Yep.
uncouth way, because then they
Yep.
can go, okay, see, got him,
But
just like they did January 6th.
Yes and no. I mean, because like they did Letitia James, didn't she campaign on doing the same type of thing, right?
Well,
so,
she wasn't in power yet. I'm saying the ones in power, I feel like they sprinkle that stuff out to see
I
how
think
we're
they
gonna move.
mean it. I think they're deranged and they mean it.
We were talking last night, and I forget who it was. I don't know who it was. That it was someone from the Daily Wire, but they were saying that look, the Democrats do the things that they say they're going to do, and it was Jeremy. It was Jeremy Boring. He was saying the Democrats they don't just do the things that they say, but they do more. They go further. So they'll take it as far as they possibly can. So there's no question in my mind. We will, if Donald Trump wins, we will see some kind of civil unrest in cities across the country.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be less as if it's overwhelming, though.
Yeah.
Joe Kent is currently leading District 3 by 16 points.
I'm sorry. It's not just Democrat. It's an evil tactic.
Yeah.
Accuse your opponent of what you're doing. I mean, that's an ancient evil.
Yeah, and they've been doing that, nonstop. They say Donald Trump is going to do these things while they're actually doing it. Donald Trump is going to use the DOJ against his political opponents while they're prosecuting Donald Trump, while he's showing up in court, while his mugshot is being paraded around as another image of defiance.
Right.
That's something that they didn't intend to happen, but that mugshot became an image of defiance. People put it onto shirts. They put it up as their AVI on Twitter and stuff as an image of defiance. Big middle fingers, because that's what Donald Trump has been from day one. He has been a middle finger to the establishment. From day one. He said, I'm not going to do things the way that you tell me that I have to. I'm not going to lay down and just do whatever so that way I can make $1 million or $2 million like all the other presidents, because they weren't rich before. He was a billionaire and he didn't give a shit. He had big dick money when he got in, so he didn't need to worry about if he was going to be a millionaire when he got out, because he knew he was going to be a billionaire.
Now, with those moves that you say they will make, and I do believe they will make, I do believe that violence will happen. I do believe they'll try to do some shenanigans. To her point, and I want to see what you think. I think the bigger the win, the less.
I don't
not
think.
saying at all.
I don't think we
but the
saw
less of the crap. And do you think that too?
It's
the
going to
end
happen
of the game.
either way. It's going to happen either way. But 100%, the bigger the win, the less chaos.
Yeah, I got to make the water thing here right away.
And also, not only is it going to be less severe and stuff, it's going to be less tolerated by the normies that I keep referring to.
More power.
Shamoose is back.
Phil, cover. You know what's funny is they always push the he's pushing hatred, right? He's pushing hatred. It's literally the only thing that they've been campaigning on right now.
Yeah, it's exactly like like we were saying just a little while ago. It is. They will go ahead and accuse people of exactly what they're doing. They're going to say that he is pushing hatred while they're calling people Nazis, while they're saying that while they're saying the garbage people, while they're saying the maggots, and then they'll scream that you're hurting them while they do it.
And it's not just like one person, right? It's not just one person. It's the entire system. It's the media. It's academia. It's
Bob, and it actually is, and the media is a part of it. So it's the State Department, official policymakers of the United States, the media, and for a time at least, all of the social media networks and big tech were all one big blob of power. And honestly, if things end up the way that they look, Donald Trump and Elon Musk took that on, and they're possibly, and the fight wouldn't be over. I'm not saying that it's done, but they are standing up to the blob. They're two dudes, just guys. Standing up to the blob.
This is going to be very, very big for the next 4 years. If Trump does win, it's going to mean that podcasts will own the political media landscape.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Cable TV's done.
And YouTube cartoons also. YouTube political cartoons will own the political landscape.
Probably not, but...
That's right. No, well, let's just see how it goes. You can't rule that out because we haven't seen this happen yet.
Could you imagine if Trump comes out, declares victory, and says it was largely not our efforts, it was this cartoon, and he shows...
Freedom tunes. And he starts showing my videos.
New York Times just called North Carolina... And it's funny because you could have called it a long time ago, but now it's confirmed. Of the swing states, New York Times says Trump has won North Carolina.
Georgia, I just said, right?
Very likely.
Georgia's greater than 95%.
Yeah. Carolinas.
PA is about to go likely Republican any second now.
Amazing.
Not one of them is likely Democrat, and I think that's the most important thing here. There's a chance Trump wins all of these so-called blue wall states, the Rust Belt states, and that would be insane for the future of electoralism here.
There are some rumors circulating. I don't want to say too much, but the rumor circulating among some journalists is that they believe Trump has already won the entire blue wall.
Wow.
That he's going to take every swing state.
Dude, if that happens, Rachel Maddow is going to be inside the Capitol chanting "Stop the Steal." We can't certify.
It seemed like Jill Biden hedged her bets wearing all red today when she went to go vote.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Jill Biden all red.
If Donald
definitely
Trump
voted for Donald Trump.
If Donald Trump does win, then we should absolutely humiliate those people.
Hold on. You can't say that before he wins for sure. We're going to be your best friend. We're all going to be good friends together, which is how you should do if you win.
No,
guys. Just don't listen to him.
If Donald Trump wins,
he's crazy.
These people need to be humiliated and shamed. I don't care. You can disavow. Stay over there and be small. It's fine.
Seamus. Right. Seamus, you're not convincing any of these people.
I'm doing a bit. I'm obviously joking.
Yes, I get it. I get it. And I'm making a larger political point that many Republicans are more concerned about the opinion of the New York Times than their own constituents.
That's true.
So if, no matter what happens, they're going to try and throw pie in your face.
Dude,
no matter what.
I agree. Well, there's going to be Republicans who, if we win, are going to be like, I'm sorry we did that.
It was the same thing in 2016.
I know.
Where it was like, oh, we're going to be super nice. Don't worry about it.
I want to read that number.
Oh my gosh.
Polymarket has Donald Trump at 94.2%. That means that if you were to buy a share of Donald Trump, you can't in America, by the way.
Buy the dip right now.
You're going to win a nickel.
Buy the dip.
Win 5 cents.
Dude, Kamala went down like crypto. She went down like black men's crypto that wasn't protected by her policy, which is going to happen to this country.
She went down like a bad crypto scam.
Yeah, exactly. Man, she's really down there.
Hey, these are betting odds. These are event contracts. These don't mean much at all.
Right.
Don't count your chickens
before they hatch, baby.
Don't count them.
I'm mad that they're not turning Georgia red on that map.
If Donald Trump does win,
it's over 95% in, and it's a huge
margin. Well, but hold on.
Yeah,
there's a contingency of people who show up to vote at 3 a.m. and they poll very well. Kamala polls well with them.
We cannot forget about those people. That's a very important voting block to the Democrats.
Trump has not done enough to appeal to them.
Yeah.
If Donald Trump does win, these people need to be humiliated publicly.
I agree.
They need to understand that they have been rejected totally, that they no longer hold the power that they thought they had, and that they're no longer to be looked at in any esteem. Michael Malice was right, and it is true. When the job will be done, when the average journalist is looked at like a tobacco executive and treated with the same disdain.
Yeah, so Cardi B tweeted an hour ago, we need a Hail Mary.
Ooh.
I'm a question asker, right? Like that's kind of what I'm doing right now. What do you think is the thing, if he does win, if it looks like what we think it looks like, what do you think is the thing that motivated and changed people the most? Do you think it's the economy, the trans stuff? Do you think
I think there's a lot of things.
The border?
I think it was different things for different people.
I think it's so overwhelming, the list of things that are so out of control right now. It just gave people an idea. You know, they feel it in their gut. They know everything is wrong. What's going on right now?
I think for young men, it was the fact that the Democrats hate them and they know it.
Yes.
It's the fact that you cannot do anything right as a young man and get the approval of Democrats. For women, I do think that the trans issues really do matter, and I think it's more about women that care about their daughters going into the bathroom with a man, possibly.
I want to play this clip from CNN for you guys.
Abby, you and Jeff have been talking to people inside the Harris campaign. What are they telling you?
Yeah, Jake, let me just give you a gut check here about what we are hearing here as we've been sitting here reporting from the Harris headquarters. And I think the operative word right now is silence. There's not a lot being said because the Harris team appears to be searching for bright spots in the map as these results very, very slowly come in.
Searching for bright spots and also very aware of the warning signs throughout the electorate in Virginia, in Iowa, in other places. I am told that Milwaukee and Detroit and Philadelphia, that is what the Harris campaign tonight is holding out hope.
First of all, there's
Show us how
two,
it's done.
and it's It's this.
Oh, okay. You're right. I was
and
down.
and the golf swing. Well, you were driving a car over here a lot.
I'm just dancing. I'm having a good time.
I feel like he did one of these. I feel like he gave us one of these.
Enough. Everyone now is doing the Trump dancing. Even back behind the cameras, everyone's Trump dancing.
So Harris campaign put out a memo.
He also did this.
Hey, the Harris campaign.
That's true.
Guys, the Harris campaign put out a memo that says get some sleep. We need to wait until 3 a.m. to determine who won.
Nuh-uh.
So listen. Subject, what we're seeing so far. Team, as polls close across the country, I wanted to give everyone an update on what we're seeing. As we have known all along, this is a razor-thin race. Thanks to this amazing team, we have seen incredible turnout across the battleground states, and the closeness of the race is exactly what we prepared for. While we continue to see data trickle in from the Sun Belt states, we have known all along that our clearest path to 270 electoral votes lies through the blue wall states, and we feel good about what we're seeing. In Pennsylvania, we overperformed turnout expectations in Philadelphia and overperformed in our early vote expectation in Bucks County. We don't have election day results from Philadelphia, but we do know that we have overperformed turnout expectations there and have seen especially high turnout in places with large non-white and student populations. We expect to see higher turnout in Philadelphia than in 2020. Outside of Philadelphia, we have limited data on turnout and support right now, but we do know what we do have is tracking with our expectations. We are awaiting more results like everyone else and hope to get a closer read in the coming hours. In Michigan, we are awaiting a significant amount of votes to come in. The city of Detroit won't be reported until roughly midnight, but we have seen strong enough turnout throughout the early vote and election day there. Other results in Michigan are harder to parse since results are coming in more piecemeal than elsewhere. In Wisconsin, we know there is a significant amount of votes remaining in Delaware, Dane and Milwaukee counties. And we are seeing signs of strong performance in the WOW counties. We have partial data. We don't expect complete results from Wisconsin until tomorrow morning between 3 and 5 a.m.
So I have this Axios national correspondent posted a portion of this memo. So it appears to be confirmed.
Yeah. It's a long, copy sounding memo.
If you're explaining you're losing, right? But that doesn't mean that they're not going to go pull out extra stops to change the results that they're getting.
It's a cope, but you have to wait till the middle of the night.
Exactly. Well, because they've done it before, right?
Yeah.
We've seen them do it before, so this is very clearly very bad taste.
In 2018, we saw the same thing.
Yeah.
In the midterms, the day of, it looked like Republicans had won, and then we wake up the next day and they're like, "Oh, we found a bunch of ballots."
Yeah. Are they going to do that again? You said they're not, Tim.
Well, certain states have ruled that they're no longer able to do that.
No. Federal court has ruled it's illegal. Republicans will likely sue, and we're hoping the Supreme Court then throws it all out and says you cannot bring in votes after election.
With the overnight ballots, weren't most of them like 98% blue?
Yes. Yeah. And they said it's because they skew Democrat.
This is why you got me hyped for a minute. Now I'm miserable again.
Hey, don't count your chickens.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
I said
that 3
Trump
a.m.
is up
those
3
3
points in PA. With 77% reporting, Trump is up 3 points in Pennsylvania. Very good news. They just called New York Times has just called to Oregon for Kamala Harris. That was obvious. In Wisconsin, Donald Trump is up 3 points with 68% reporting. In Michigan, Donald Trump is up 6 points with 35% reporting. It is looking good for Trump in all of the blue wall states. How about we just call it the Rust Belt from now on? New York Times, officially now, every swing state is likely or going to be Republican. All of the swing states right now, it is lean, likely, or very likely.
So let's see what happens when they pause the count and then we get a bunch of ballots at 3 in the morning.
Well, we're all having a good time tonight.
Here we are.
Well,
oh, my man.
One of you guys stay.
The sound, we lost.
Cigars. I'm not ready to light them up yet.
Come on, man.
Hello? Are you guys celebrating yet?
You got to toss me one of those.
We're not celebrating.
How you doing, brother?
Something about not counting your chickens too soon.
That's right.
Someone just put a little happy in front of me.
Absolutely.
No. We have fresh cups.
Somebody grabbed me
wonderful
one,
people
too.
at the Daily Wire brought in a bunch of fresh glasses for this delicious Kentucky bourbon that I insist you partake.
Can I get
Look, I was going to wait to celebrate, but that was before Tim brought out like a $2,000 bottle.
Well, you might as well light up a cigar while you're at it.
Exactly.
I'm tempted to do
You look great, by the way. You look great.
Thank you.
He looks all right. Yeah.
Dapper is the word we use.
Okay.
This is my Mayflower cigars smoking jacket.
There we go. That's what I was looking for.
No one can get it, unfortunately. But we're doing it with Shepherd's, which is the men's clothing company that is owned in part by Harrison Butker. And I just feel that the right now, it feels good. I don't want to get out in front of my skis. It feels good, though.
I hear you. No, I'm there with you. Can I get a cigar?
You can.
Thank you. Well, I'm just asking. Listen, I'll take whatever ones I can get. It's the art of the deal. I was asked earlier.
The light, the dark, the big, the small.
What's the difference? I'll get one of the light ones.
The light one is the Mayflower Dawn. Is it Dawn in America? The dark one is the Mayflower Dusk.
You clearly don't watch his podcast because I do, and I know the things and the smoking.
Did you want to advertise it instead of it? But
no, that's fine.
My man, toss it.
2, 3.
Ladies don't smoke cigar.
How dare you? I caught that. If I didn't catch that, my career would be over.
It would be over.
Instantly. True. Humiliating. This is the art of the deal. They asked me to do trivia on camera about elections for a cigar, and I was like, I'll get something wrong and look stupid. No. I was like, I'll just ask Michael for the hookup. Boom.
And
we're in.
When it's good advertising, it's free.
Exactly. So Michael, 89% chance of victory says the needle.
I've been watching the needle all night because people said beware of the needle. The needle betrayed its partisans in 2016. But you got to remember, the needle betrayed its partisans because it started out for Hillary and then it moved toward Trump. This time, it's not that it's been totally consistent. It's kind of stalled out and doubled back a little bit sometimes, but it's basically moved consistently in Trump's favor all night, including for the popular vote.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which means very exciting.
It's pretty far over for the popular vote, to be honest, for him.
I think now we're past 1, and so the popular vote doesn't matter, and it actually offends me that we have to talk about the popular vote because that's not how elections are conducted. But it would be.
I love that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just we have a system of government here, and the libs, whenever they lose according to the rules, they say, but the popular vote.
The thing that doesn't matter.
That's right.
Mu Deng the hippopotamus actually said such and such, and you think it's not in the Constitution. And but really, if Trump wins the popular vote as well as the Electoral College vote, there's just nothing for them to say.
Yeah. I would just be incredibly cathartic for them to not be able to complain about the Electoral College.
Yeah.
Well, they could always go back to voter suppression. Let's not forget that. They could always go back old school. Guess what? Voter suppression.
The greatest number of voters in the history of American elections.
Coming for you, son of a bitch.
Oh man, where he is! Oh hey, are you coming for my cigars?
All over for you.
Hey.
Finally found your nice jacket.
Can I offer?
No, here, Ian.
Thank you very much.
Wait, hold on. This seems like a downgrade.
She's much hotter.
I love Ian, but I don't.
I like Lisa's hair more.
Thank you. Michael's my favorite.
You stop it. Get out of here. Come on.
You come back. Totally fine.
Go on.
Look at Michael. You walk in and you get all of the compliments.
Yeah, come on.
And Seamus is begging.
No,
begging. I asked him politely.
Tell me about these cigars, Michael. What is this?
Are we celebrating already?
Hold on.
I'm
Let's
not
be
celebrating.
careful.
I'm not celebrating.
We are not going to count our chickens before they hatch.
Please.
Because 300,000 eggs will be found in Philadelphia for the other side.
Yeah, what do you think, Michael? You ready to celebrate, or are you still? What do you? Jury's out. What are you thinking?
I'm not ready to celebrate. I was alive in 2020, so I'm not ready to celebrate yet. However, going into this election day, a lot of people were saying it has to be too big to rig.
That's right.
And I said, I don't know if it really can be. It's very difficult with mail-ins and early voting. Right now, it's looking pretty big. Let's put it that way. I mean, right now, I wonder if there are enough votes in Philadelphia, no matter how powerful the machine is, to really turn this thing around. Pennsylvania, right now, looks good. Wisconsin looks really good. Wisconsin, I did think earlier in the night Wisconsin could be the determining factor. By the way, if he wins Wisconsin, I think it's over at this point, isn't it? Michigan.
I think he needs Michigan, Wisconsin, or Pennsylvania, the two of the blue states, if I'm not mistaken.
But it's looking really strong right now. So there is a chance. The other thing I was wondering is, are we going to be here all night? It's going to be 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't get to spark up my Mayflower.
Yeah.
But actually, I don't know. I spoke earlier today to Senator Marsha Blackburn, our senator here in Tennessee. And I said, okay, Senator, look, I'm not asking who's going to win. You think the Republicans are going to win, but what time? And she said she thinks we get to 270 before midnight.
Wow. Listen, did you hear what the Harris campaign is saying?
Nothing. I heard
no. They said something. They sent out a letter where we were talking about this just before you came on, where they were basically saying we're expecting votes to come in late tonight, so this isn't over.
I'm sure they are.
But I want to give a shout out to Lisa, who mentioned she's got sources at Mar-a-Lago. They think they won.
They think they won. They're operating.
Internals are showing that they won already, but
Lisa, come back on. I'm going to sit.
Hold on.
Sit out for a while.
Can I get a cup?
I won't read it out loud.
Lisa's sharing secrets with Michael Lowe.
Oh, you can make faces though.
Trade. I see a picture there.
Lisa,
that is for sure.
Lisa, forward that to me, please.
Lisa, you got to show me that.
Knowles, what's going on? Come on, in many words,
This is unbelievable.
Well, the first thing that's going on is I feel very cool because I have information now that you guys don't, and it makes me feel like a real cool guy. I'm actually not surprised to read that the tenor at Mar-a-Lago is pretty Iowa in the past few days, and these kind of last-minute nonsense things. The public polls were looking good for Trump.
Agreed.
And so the public polls compared to the internals are, it's like night and day. Okay, so we're getting, probably the Trump campaign went into tonight feeling quite confident, more confident than we Trump supporters out here.
They were speaking very confidently leading into this. And I understand that when you're running a campaign, there has to be a certain degree of confidence or else people aren't going to turn out. But especially with J.D. Vance on Joe Rogan, the noises he was making didn't really make it sound as if he was desperate, exactly.
Mr. Knowles, I wanted to ask you about one of the more potent issues that the Democrats are running on this election cycle, and it's obviously abortion. I know you guys here at the Daily Wire are extremely pro-life. Nowadays, Donald Trump and the campaign is saying that they don't want to move forward with any sort of national abortion ban. Do you feel as though the Trump campaign has abandoned the issue, and do you have any reluctance supporting them because of that?
No, I don't think the campaign has abandoned the issue. Of course, there's always some confusion and confusing messages that come out of any campaign. Where there was confusion, I think it was resolved in the right way when President Trump said he would support pro-life in the ballot amendment in Florida and elsewhere. What President Trump has said on this is that he is pro-life and we have to win elections. That's what he says. And so when he says something like that, I don't think he's really talking about the substantive issue of abortion so much as he's talking about prudence as a political virtue, which Aristotle tells us is the paramount political virtue. And so if you were to come out and say, no, I believe in my heart of hearts as a matter of principle, we need to be able to kill kids up to 14 weeks, but not at 15 weeks. And if you said something like that, I'd say, okay, well, I don't know where that's coming from. Here's what I know, though, for a fact, because Trump actually has a record that I can look at. I know he's the first sitting president ever to show up to the March for Life. The Bushes didn't do it. Ronald Reagan didn't do it. He's the first one that did it. I know that he appointed the judges that actually overruled Roe v. Wade. We've been trying to do that since 1973. It actually happened under Trump. I know that when Roe v. Wade was overruled, abortion went back to the states because the Supreme Court said there will not be a federal law. This is not a federal matter. They would strike down a law. So for President Trump to say he's not going to pass a federal ban, well, okay, he's just listening to what the Supreme Court said 2 years ago. So then it goes back to the states. This totally changes the calculation. And I think this is where I am as pro-life as it is possible to be. However, I think sometimes people in the pro-life movement have just misinterpreted what it meant when Roe v. Wade got overruled. It's not as though it just pushed us down the field and that was that. It pushed us down the field, and it also reset the field. It changed the calculus on everything. To use an example, before Roe v. Wade was overruled, it was in the Republican political interest to take a strong pro-life stance in the national platform. It's a good thing to do also, but just as a matter of political prudence, it gave them political dividends. After Roe v. Wade is overruled, that might no longer be the case. So we still want to fight for life everywhere. I mean, reasonable people can disagree with that. We'll see how it pans out over the years. But the goal remains the same. We want to end abortion. We want to protect innocent life. But we are called to be innocent as doves and wise as serpents. Republican politicians are usually innocent as serpents and wise as doves. And I think Trump is just being prudent here, and he's got a good track record.
If I could follow up, don't you feel as though some Republicans are starting to run away from this issue, and are you nervous that it's losing potency in the party as a political issue? Because I think it's something like 50-50 within the Republican Party nowadays on this.
The consistent pro-life view, which is bioethically, I think, the only really supportable view, is a minority position among voters. But people are incoherent on abortion. They say it's okay to kill babies at 12 weeks, but not 13 weeks. It's crazy, but
or 14 or not late.
14 or whatever.
People hate late-term abortion, but are very okay with 14 weeks.
Right, or 20 or 18 weeks even. So it's incoherent. However, I will point out there was one Senate candidate in particular who I like personally, but I felt she was misguided on this. She was running in Arizona, Kari Lake, and she came up with a defense of abortion, in a way that was more substantive than other Republicans who were trying to be wishy-washy on the issue. And I thought this was misguided, and I felt I gently and charitably tried to guide her campaign in the other direction. And I don't think they liked that gentle guidance. And she is the most notable Republican Senate candidate to be losing right now to not be doing well, and so that might have other reasons for it. However, I don't want to wait.
Last follow-up I had here. I think it was Live Now who ended up unendorsing them, one of the pro-life groups. What's your reaction to some pro-life groups who are saying Trump is no longer sufficiently pro-life?
Unendorsing Trump? Yeah, I don't know. There were a number of pro-life groups who expressed concern. Who is one of the great pro-life leaders in the country, and she had raised a lot of concerns about the way Trump was talking about abortion. And I think she helped move the conversation in the right direction. But she came out and she said, "I'm voting for Donald Trump." You know, and so I think she showed a lot of moral clarity on that issue. It's good for the pro-life movement to keep building upon the wins that they have won and that President Trump has helped them to win. But we're not opposed here. You know, Trump is the most pro-life president we've had. And it would be good to see even greater pro-life victories.
Rejecting the amendment they were doing.
He changed his position on that. And actually, thankfully, that amendment failed.
Could you explain that through? Just because I don't know that.
So basically, what Amendment 4 did, it was an attempt to overturn the abortion law that existed in Florida, which makes it illegal to have an abortion after 6 weeks. And the majority of abortions, other than those caused by abortifacients, I should say, happen between about 6 and 14 weeks. And so it would have effectively outlawed abortion throughout the state, or I should say did effectively outlaw abortion throughout the state. And then what Amendment 4 sought to do was repeal that and make it the case that abortion was legal all the way up until the 9th month of pregnancy. Thankfully, Floridians voted against it, and it ended up failing. I'm very grateful for that. Fortunately, also, Trump reneged on his earlier comments. As far as being wise is serpents and gentle as doves, or innocent as doves.
That'll be a while.
I agree with you. That has to be the strategy. I would just say, though, and I'm sure you would agree with me on this, there's a huge difference between making some of the noises on the issue that Trump made, where he was actually speaking in favor of it or saying that a 6-week ban is cruel, and just not commenting on certain elements of it that aren't going to be politically advantageous to you without ever abandoning the principle.
Yes. Look, there's a delicate balance here, because what Trump was looking at is what we were all looking at, which is that whenever abortion has been put up for a ballot amendment, until tonight, actually, but since Roe v. Wade was overruled, whenever it's been put up for a vote in states, the pro-abortion side won, and change your strategy to accommodate that. And so I
get tired.
Seamus. You know, there's a way to talk about it. You think about the way Trump
talks try and stream as long as I can.
I kind of wish he hadn't totally tossed them under the bus. But there was a part of what he said about it that I thought was wise, which is, this thing, I don't really know anything about it. I don't know. Some of the stuff seems okay. Some of it, I don't know about. Well, anyway, whatever. I don't have anything. What are you talking about? What's that? And so he could talk about abortion even in that same way. It's like, what's going on? I'm not running in the states. I'm at the federal level, so I don't know. It seems good to protect life, but of course we got to work it out. We're going to work things out. And it's going to be really great, folks. We're going to work out the best kind of defenses of life, and that kind of wishy-washiness, that choosing what to focus on. This is the great power that the media really has. It's not that the media always lie to you to suppress. And so that's actually a political skill. And I think Trump has used it well, and we can continue to use it well.
And the reason why I want to focus and keep bringing up abortion is because I do truly believe this is one of the only things that Democrats have going for them, and it is extremely potent in their party.
For now.
That is the number one thing by far, and the 2, 3, and 4 are far down the list after that for many Democrats.
I think you're not entirely wrong, but that's
in large part
that's in large part a product of the fact that Republicans have messaged very poorly on this. They haven't been in the process of birth and in some cases after, as you mentioned. The Republican Party's been very wishy-washy and back and forth. I said this on last night's show. I think what the Republican Party has to do is lay out the most consistent possible pro-life ethic, but then say, look, your alternative is either this or the people who want abortion to be legal during the process of birth. There is no in between. And the reality is I think most people would rather have abortion completely banned, even though that's not the most politically popular position, if that is the alternative to it being legal across the board.
So right now in Pennsylvania, we got 82% reporting, and Trump is up by 3%. So it's starting to look exceedingly good for Trump in Pennsylvania. That is the last state. If Trump takes Pennsylvania, it's over.
So much red on
So right now, so let me reset the 270 to win map. Arizona is not a toss-up. Georgia is already Trump. North Carolina is already Trump. At this point, Trump need only win one Rust Belt state.
So they're saying Arizona is, they haven't called it, but it's heavily lean Trump.
Yeah, so the forecast model, you can see here, 270 uses the standard polling. Arizona is basically similar to Iowa. Well, it's slightly less than say Iowa or Texas, but it's leaning Republican. That's so if we assume Trump takes Arizona, and he's already got Georgia, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania doesn't matter. We can give Harris Pennsylvania. We can give Harris Michigan. We can give her Nevada. Trump he wins Wisconsin. It's over.
He wins Wisconsin. That was a prediction earlier on in the night. I thought Wisconsin is going to be the one that might be the easiest to pry away. The Times has had it floating all around all night. The easiest one is going to be Pennsylvania. The easiest one's going to be Michigan.
Right.
I still sort of think it's Wisconsin, but I don't know. The numbers out of Pennsylvania are very encouraging.
Well, right now Trump is up 3 points in
Get
Wisconsin
the water.
with 70% reporting, and in Pennsylvania it's 3% with 82% reporting. They're saying Arizona right now 53% reporting. Trump is up by 0.4. However, it looks like Phoenix and Tucson have already reported, and what is that, Coconino County?
So then it's done.
So it's looking like Arizona, right? That's what the New York Times is saying. Arizona's basically, Arizona's 80%.
It's just, it's.
So I mean,
at this point,
right now, I mean, look at this. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Nevada can go out the window. With these 4 states, Pennsylvania, Arizona, 71%. It is looking like Trump got it.
It is looking like they're thinking they want to pause things.
They want to say, hold on, guys. Let's count tomorrow.
How's the water pressure in the pipe?
Exactly. Is there a gas leak in here? Well, I don't know if you know this, but people watching you count the vote actually changes the outcome of the vote. It's an act of election interference. It's actually basic quantum physics.
Yeah.
It's Schrodinger's ballot. When someone sees you open the ballot, it changes the outcome of the ballot you counted.
You know, no joke. There was the chairman of the Republican Party tweeted out about an hour or so ago. There was a move in one of the counties to stop counting in one of the precincts, to just stop counting. And that was against the law. So the RNC threatened to sue, and just the threat of suing got them to continue counting. Good. So you got to give credit to the RNC here. They were not prepared in 2020 for pipes bursting. They were prepared this time, and the election officials are following suit.
Yeah, there are more things that they can do, I think, but I think that the fact that they had been ready to go with legal challenges right off the bat is an actual credit to Laura Trump and the job that her and the team have done. So
I want to talk a little bit about pro-life because consider myself pro-choice with reason. But one of the things that makes me want to have kids
before
is
this beautiful monologue,
the soliloquy that I'm going to deliver.
I'm being dragged out in here.
Well, Michael Knowles,
I can't wait to
whisper to the winds.
Thank you for the cigar, brother.
I look forward to catching up on your argument that you're about to make.
It's beautiful.
And on finishing the rest of that pappy after a good night.
You can take that with you if you want.
Cheers for coming.
Yeah, thank you for stopping by.
Nice jacket, bro.
Oh, this whole thing?
Yeah, what is that, purple velvet?
You're leaving the
nice one.
Cigar?
So it's, what I was saying about the pro-life thing is, like, I've always, my whole life been pro-choice. Like, yeah, if she wants to,
Cody Mack is back.
What's up, homie? Just in time to hear this immeasurably beautiful.
How's the party? How's the sentiment? What are people feeling?
Tim's like, I don't want to hear you, Ian.
From what I've seen outside, everyone seems pretty stoked.
Yeah, he's like, Ian, I'm not interested.
Yeah, everyone's happy.
We're chilling.
So I'll wrap it up.
I wanted to get chicken wings at some point.
You should have them bring them in.
It's
or
not
something.
I'm not eating chicken wings on this show.
You should. Do people want to see your tongue, man? That's what they want. It's a party, baby. It's a new dawn.
You ever see the chat?
So I'll end the story quickly. What I'm saying is, a reason to live, hope for the future makes me want to have kids. If I'm afraid for the future and I feel like there's no hope, I don't want to have kids to the point where I'm like, yeah, whatever. If you want to kill the thing, kill the thing. I don't care. What's the point anyway? But when I feel like there's hope, I really want to have children. So there's the pro-life movement.
I want to make sure I grab this because we got this great tweet from Tim Kennedy. A list of Kamala Harris's endorsements: Taylor Swift, Oprah, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, the Diddy parties, the Avengers, Christina Aguilera, Rihanna, Jennifer Lopez, Madonna, Cardi B, Lizzo, Cher, Mark Anthony, Lizzo, again, Usher, all of Hollywood, John Lennon,
she's
Kesha,
big enough
Billie
to
Eilish.
be named twice.
With all of this, it's looking really good for Trump right now. Again, we don't want to count our chickens, but the fact that we're where we are right now, let's pause right here and say Trump has a massive advantage. It's looking like it's in his favor. The Harris campaign is dead silent. They're worried. They're talking about needing 3 a.m. votes. All of these celebrity endorsements meant nothing.
Nothing.
The institutions have failed. They got woke and they went broke on probably the largest scale imaginable.
This is why I said that the turning point, and I agree that it was the turning point for Trump in this campaign was that moment where he raised his fist in the air. That was. but
oh my gosh,
the shows look at these numbers.
I'm sorry, Kamala Harris's poly market odds are now 2.9%.
It was
bad crypto. It's a bad crypto.
I mentioned I thought the big shift was when Joe Rogan or when Theo Vaughn and Donald Trump did the show, and Donald Trump went on Theo Vaughn's show. Shout out to Barron Trump for putting that stuff together. It was only because people got to see and hear from not only his endorsements like Cardi B. Where's the 2-hour podcast of her bearing her soul to the world, expressing why she supports
people
Kamala.
aren't resonating with these big celebrities anymore.
It's near impossible.
No, it is. They have no grasp on what's actually happening.
Yeah.
They don't know the price of groceries. They don't know what an actual normal house costs. It's these massive like $1 million homes, and nobody knows what's happening anymore. So the normal blue-collar workers are not gravitating towards these celebrities anymore.
They're very out of touch.
Yeah,
It's a part of who they are. I mean, you also look at this coalition of celebrities and how far to the left they always lean and how they lose their career if they're not. We put a joke in a video. Democratic or members of Democratic Party less likely to endorse Kamala than members of Diddy Party. And the reality is that's
91% for Trump.
Oh my God.
91%
Someone
for Trump.
Someone just tweeted Florida just counted all of their votes again for fun.
It's true, man.
It is
like
true.
you said, it's a choice,
Yes,
right?
it is
We all see an
absolutely a
example of it. And it's not just that we look at the example of Florida. We look at the example of all of these other states in almost every other year. Back in 2000, when it took days and days and days for the ballots in Florida to be counted, we considered that to be a disgrace. Now, maybe Florida had PTSD from all the criticism they were getting about being slow, and now they're on top of it.
That's part of what happened. So, like, after the debacle with George Bush and Al Gore, Florida went through and they revamped their system and they changed everything so that way they would never have that happen again, because, to be honest with you, the state of Florida as an entity really didn't like being the reason that there was all that drama. So they went and they looked into it and they fixed the problem. The problems that have happened since with voting and stuff, none of it's necessary. It is all a decision by the people in charge. And if all these states out there, if you live in a state that has an issue with counting the votes, get politically active, go after your legislature and get them to fix it, because you do have that power. If you want to try and get something to happen at the federal level, it's really hard, but it's significantly easier to get a state to make a change, particularly if it's not one of the larger states. But still, the point is, these problems are not actually insurmountable. They are decisions by your state legislature that can be fixed.
And it's not just that. They're not problems to them, right? They aren't even problems to them.
They're
part of their,
Exactly.
I think DeSantis. We got a new.
We got someone else in. Yeah.
Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Joel Patrick.
Nice to meet you.
Joel, good to meet you.
How's it going, man?
Let me cap this off. I think DeSantis is running for president in 2028 for sure.
Let the guest introduce himself.
Justifiably so.
Fuck.
He turned Florida around during COVID, opened it up. He was kind of like a leader just with the voting here. And I know it's not him alone. It's the legislature, but he's very persuasive and influential in that legislature. This voting, this system of secured voting, this rapid turnaround, like it's a benchmark for what we can be state by state. So I think he's going to be a great candidate in 2028. Joel.
I do want to add real quick the worrying thing we have. We're all cheering, we're all happy about what's going on, but Decision Desk says there is a 61.7% chance that Democrats take the House.
Oof. That's
what are they doing back there?
They're dancing around, making a scene.
Now, they're counting ballots. Cover the windows.
This is the same website that said there were 88
Just want to say real quick, Joel, I've seen
Florida.
your truck. That thing's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Big fan, dude. That thing's sick.
What's the truck?
It says white privilege on it.
I'm not even talking about
So
that.
you never
It's a gigantic white truck.
Yeah.
With,
You never
like,
get
the whole
pulled
thing's
over?
white, right?
So you never get pulled over then?
No,
the
I
truck
do.
has white privilege? Oh.
Well, sometimes, but most of the time, I just smile and I'll roll down the window, and the officers think it's so funny that.
Well, didn't you have a card for a while?
And then you gotta say, is it working?
The white privilege card.
That shit was it.
Yeah, that's what I did. So I sold a bunch of white privilege cards, and then I bought the truck with the money.
I got my white privilege card. I never leave the home without it.
Is it a Cybertruck?
No, it's a Ford F-350 on an any level lift. So it's like a big lifted truck.
So I think Decision Desk has called the Senate. Maybe not. Who's calling this? Political poll says the Senate control has flipped. Republicans have taken control of the Senate. based. So I'm wondering who's calling that. New York Times has still not called it. They're still saying 50 Republican seats.
That decision desk screwed the pooch with that 88 million people
and it
in
wasn't
Florida.
There was a bunch of. Do they still?
Earlier, they said that 88 million people had voted for Trump in Florida.
But there's not 88 million.
No, there's like 12 million or 10
Look at
million or
this.
something.
They still have Lawrence County with a tie. Trump and Jill Stein tied with the same amount because clearly Jill Stein didn't get 21,000 ballots.
So they might be right about the House. They might be off.
Wait, so is she from there?
No. It's a mistake. The decision desk has been terrible all night. But I'm seeing political polls are saying that they've taken the Senate.
What about Associated Press?
It may be AP reporting. Look at this. Greater than 99% chance. Well, I think it's because we're looking at, holy crap, 74% reporting. Hovde is leading by 2 points in Wisconsin. Rogers is leading by 0.3 with 47% in. Michigan is still, who knows. And in Pennsylvania, leading with 51.1 to 48.9, McCormick. It looks like we may flip Wisconsin, PA, and Montana. Montana, I don't know for sure, but we're looking at 52 or 53 seats. Massive.
By the way, I want to follow up on something. You mentioned earlier that Cardi B tweeted, "We need a Hail Mary." Great response. Lila Rose retweeted, "Cardi, Mary is pro-life." Prayer emoji.
Are we allowed to talk about Cardi B?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what you're going to say.
Right, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so...
That's our one rule on this show. We do not talk about Cardi B.
Well, so fundamentally, I don't think I've ever seen a more tone-deaf, ignorant celebrity than Cardi B. And when I saw her failing to be able to read at like a 4th grade level on national television, at first I started to feel bad for her, and I was like, where is her like personal assistant? Why did they let her? She literally called for her personal assistant from the microphone on stage and then proceeded to not be able to read what was directly in front of her. And I was like, yo, this is like beyond poor planning.
I thought it was a very strange choice to when she endorsed Bernie. I think it was Cardi that came up for Bernie early on.
And then she switched to Kamala?
They all did after the decree came in.
I have one thing to say.
Butler County.
But I mean, early in 2016 or 2020 or something.
Something about, she was like,
Trump's got PA.
Yeah.
You don't think they could get a ballot drop?
I mean, look, Philadelphia's got 78% in, and it's 77% Kamala to 22% Trump. So that's big. Trump is up 219,000 votes.
Yeah.
So with 22%, we're looking at there's not enough in Philadelphia alone to come in. Montgomery, it could, but Trump's up 3 points with 84% reporting. I think this is why they're basically saying it's looking like PA is going Donald Trump.
Wow.
In regards to Cardi B, I have one thing to say, that is, I wonder how pee tastes like. That was her actual tweet.
She tweeted
it? Did she tweet that?
Yeah,
well,
she did.
Didn't she acknowledge on a podcast that she used to provide men with substances and then remove their wallets?
Yes.
While they were under the influence of said substances?
That was a very polite way of saying that.
Illegally.
Everybody, let's look at this. I saw this tweet from Ryan James Gerdusky. New Jersey with 88% reporting. Harris is up 5 points. It's 2 million to 1.8. I mean, that's remarkably close.
What was it in 2020?
Let's do the shift. Look at this shift.
Oh my gosh.
So these little arrows show you the direction everything is going.
Oh wow.
In this country.
That's it from 2020 to now?
Yeah.
That's a benchmark. That's an analytic. That's fascinating.
It surely is.
So look at all these arrows shooting to the right. I mean, that is massive.
Nothing moved to the left.
I mean, you got some in some places outside.
I'm gonna go take a pee.
Very few.
Gotta pee, it's a bio break. I've got to take. Maybe a drink, something from the sink, something cold, maybe fizzy. Gotta be, now things are fuzzy. Nature's call can't go unanswered. There is no voicemail to take. If back doesn't go, the stream becomes a lake. Gotta be, I'm in B.O.B. It's a bio break I've got to take. Maybe it's food to get in the mood, or a board back attack to scratch the cat's back. Whatever. his wish from the bottle of fizz. That's what this is a bio break. Gotta pee, I'll be BRB. It's a bio break. I've got to take it. It's food to get in the mood, or a horse-bag attack to scratch the cat's back. Whatever it is, Beck will return to his bits after his wish from the bottle of fizz. That's what this is a bio break. Gotta pee, 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 I'll be BRB. It's a bio break. I've got to take maybe a drink, something from the sink, something cold, maybe fizzy. Gotta pee, nothing's a fuzzy. Nature's call can't go unanswered. There is no voicemail to take. If Beck doesn't go, the stream becomes a lake. Gotta pee, I'll be BRB. It's a bio break. I've got to take. Maybe it's food to get in the mood, or a orthag attack to scratch the cat's back. Whatever it is, Beck will return to his biz after his wish from the bottle of fizz. That's what this is a bio break. Gotta pee, gotta pee, gotta pee, gotta pee, gotta pee.
Wait, repeat Detroit? That. Look up Project Veritas on X.
Oh, man. And again, shout out to James O'Keefe.
But let me ask you this, because
you,
you mentioned a huge part of the campaign strategy for the Democrats is like, well, this is a black woman, so black people have to vote for her. Like, how is that received? Like, I would imagine you'd consider that kind of setting, but I'm just curious, like, what's your perspective and what do you usually hear?
Is this real? Cenk
It's
Uygur
so
is
offensive.
Guys, Cenk Uygur is crying? Is someone going to fact
Really?
check this?
Stop that.
I don't think he wanted Kamala Harris to win.
No, it's fake. It's fake.
Yeah,
Oh, come on, man.
He's pretty straight
But
up.
yeah, I want to ask
See,
you about that. Like, how is that regarded?
Well, I watched a video where this lady said, I can't believe Kamala had to tell y'all people that you need to vote for her. These black men, they ain't voting where they supposed to be. And I was like, listening to her, and I was like, so your argument is vote for somebody because they share your skin color? That's not an argument.
No, yeah, it's embarrassing.
Vote for somebody because they share your values.
That's right.
And if you can't even articulate what those values are, why am I voting for you? She didn't give any policy. It was just like, oh, look, celebrities are endorsing me. I'm black. Celebrities are still endorsing me. I'm still black. And it was like, she's like, oh, we can't do 4 more years of this. 4 more years of what? You've been in charge for these 4 years.
You know who got a lot of votes because of their skin color?
Obama.
Adolf Hitler. Well, you might be right, too. Adolf Hitler. He was all about that Aryan race, man.
It was funny because I heard he was not, like, pure-blooded. I heard he was like...
Really?
That was the October surprise in the Hitler election. They were like, he's not really pure-blooded. He's like, it's not true. Don't look at the 23andMe.
But yeah, he was all about identity, identitarian politics.
Actually, I think what really happened was he was just mad.
What is
that
this?
he didn't make it as a
MSNBC is reporting 50,000 ballots to be dropped off in 9 minutes.
That
When was this?
Where at?
That's in Pennsylvania.
Oh
and
my
also,
gosh.
they said while on air, possible new ballots just arrived. It's on the top of my Twitter page.
What percent of Pennsylvania's reporting?
Like something like 85% is what it was, I think.
Is that 50,000 enough to flip it?
Not right now. 50,000 isn't enough, but it matters.
I will say, guys, at this point, based on the sentiment we're seeing from the left and the right on X, it would be the most psychotic, deranged thing if we wake up tomorrow and it's the same as 2020. Back in 2020, everyone's saying, no, it's the red mirage, chill. Democrats were not giving up.
Back in time.
They were telling Trump, they were saying, don't declare victory. Right now, the left is saying we lost. Right now, the right is saying, haha, we won. If after all of this, we wake up and some shenanigans happens, how do you rectify that in the record? Everything right now on social media is Trump won.
I think it's indicative that
they're skilled gaslighters.
America wants what Trump is selling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think.
I guess I was wrong.
Even the voting machines, I've had a lot of issues and concern about electronic voting machines that we can't identify the code and that they can flip the dude. States are independent and they're doing it right. A lot of these are just like, you cannot seize the power from the people in this country. You can try.
Let me play.
But that's the essence of this nation.
I'm gonna play this clip that Phil just pulled up.
50,000 ballots to be released
Super quiet.
In the next 9 minutes, and then 37,000 tomorrow. I want to just quickly show you.
Tomorrow.
You know, it looks like
Okay,
actually
well, that's still not enough. Trump is up 200,000 in PA right now, so that wouldn't change anything.
What do they mean the ballots are to be released?
Yeah.
They're
coming in.
Where are they coming in from?
Vans, but I do want to show you, Rachel. Just come take a look through the window here, because this is the one angle you can see election workers here in Philadelphia that is not their camera processing the ballots, and they're all in there now going through the process.
Okay, well, any ballot received, it is currently 12:05 a.m. So every ballot received after midnight should be challenged to the Supreme Court.
That's
and
correct.
should be
Yeah.
disqualified. Because
Right.
let me explain something to everybody. Here's how it's supposed to work. You go to your polling location, you cast your ballot, it goes
Right.
into a machine or into a box. They count it
Check,
there, and they report the
X is what
totals.
it looks
Those
like.
totals get sent up. It goes up through a decentralized system, and then they say, they've all reported, here's our numbers. That's how we do it so fast. The idea that there is some location where trucks bring ballots to, where did those ballots come from? They're mail-in or early ballots are now coming in. No, we cannot run elections that way.
Nope.
You show up, you vote, we count it on the spot. It's decentralized, it is secure. This is insanity.
This is not over until it's actually over.
That's right.
This is not like, as much as we want to be excited and we have our hopes and stuff. This is not done until everything is counted and they stop counting. Actually, technically,
And a
it's not over until
Kasparian,
it's certified.
turns out no
in
one likes
January.
neocons.
That's exactly
Who
right.
knew?
So like, this is not done. Expect challenges. It's entirely likely
Even
that
some
tomorrow you're gonna
Alberta,
wake up and
one
they'll
of the
say,
Alberta
well, it
parties
looks
feels like
Trump won,
Keystone.
but there's challenges here, there's
Yes.
challenges here, there's challenges here. Expect that. Anticipate that. Because the last thing the left wants to do
Yes, how we doing
is leave
power
any
for
possibility
30?
of losing. Because, again, if they lose, this is a mandate for Donald Trump.
That's right.
If they lose, this
Rose.
makes their entire agenda, everything
Oh, I
that
need
they've
one
been
more.
pushing for the past probably decade, it makes it almost impossible to get that back.
And Trump's lead has shrunk by about 25 to 30 or 5,000 votes or so. So he's currently up in Pennsylvania with 3% more reporting. 3% more have come in. He is up 173,000 from 210 or 220,000. So it's narrow. We will see as more data starts to come in. Looks like those votes came from Philadelphia County now with 86% reporting. There's, man, I don't know. I mean, they have Montgomery County with what looks like maybe 100,000 votes may come in, less than that, 70,000. Allentown, much less. I don't know if they. This may come down to them being able to call it.
How many people total are they waiting for? Like, what percent is Pennsylvania at now?
85.
85%.
And that's before these, what were the 80,000 votes roll in?
Something like 80,000, yeah. And they're right now the difference is 173,679 votes, according to New
So
York Times.
they've got 27% in Montgomery County that is yet to
What
be
am I
counted, and
waiting
we're looking
for
there at about,
now?
I don't know, let's just give it 350. So that could be 70,000
it's gonna
ballots
take a while.
potentially, and it's 2-to-1, which means they're
That'd be a
looking
good
at
one.
potentially picking up
63, that's gonna take a
45,000
while.
when those come in. Then you've got Delaware County, 91%. That's negligible. Philadelphia County's got 14% remaining. They're looking at about 600,000. So that's only about 60. So it's 130 between these two districts.
more aluminum.
These counties, I don't think they can bring enough based on the amount reporting. If we look at the additional red counties where there's small
I think
numbers,
I'm going to call a stream
I don't
here.
think enough ballots exist in these two counties to actually beat Trump. And
It-
that's
it
also
looks
not
like
considering
Trump's gonna
that
win.
20% of those ballots are going to skew Republican.
And,
At least, yeah, slews of these ballots
but
are Republican ballots.
unfortunately-
This is why they usually. This
Excuse
is how
me,
they end up
I am
calling
just-
races very early when there's limited voting, because they
excuse me,
know
wiped right
hey, look,
out.
not enough ballots exist in the rest of the state to overcome. They're not calling it just yet, but the percentage
So-
we're getting from the needle on PA is 75% chance Trump wins.
I don't know why they haven't called Georgia yet.
I
I'm
know
gonna
that is
call
really
it.
weird.
Maybe
but Georgia
they're
has,
waiting
yeah,
on
Georgia,
some
And
magic ballots to
drift
show
off
up.
to sleep as I listen to
everywhere
this,
else.
I'm
yeah,
sure.
Trump's up 120,000,
And
there's no votes left for Democrats.
we'll see who officially
So-
wins,
so
probably
Chatham
tomorrow or
County,
the day
maybe there's
after or something
10 or
like
20,
that.
10,000, 20,000. That's not going to overcome 120.
Yeah, so you guys have
Atlanta's
yourselves a good night where we happen to be.
95% in. DeKalb is 95% in.
Trump wins.
It ain't happening. Gwinnett's 95.
Anyways.
Man, it was
95 across the board.
the illegal